Alright, Joe here from Don't Spoil the Ending. Just a quick word on this week's episode. When I came to edit it, I noticed quite a few phone signals. So in future, I'll be banning phones from the studio. But yeah, about an hour in, you'll notice a few more phone signals coming through. They do slow down and they do get less obvious. But I'm just letting you know before you get there. It does get better. So stick with it. Enjoy the show. So we've managed to basically break down our favourite comic book films and make a top 20 list as per what podcast group thinks. So have a listen and let us know what you think. Cheers.
Right guys, episode 9 of Don't Spoil the Ending. We're here for the big comic book episode. We're going to talk about some comic book films and put them in order of our favourites. Are we all down for that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sounds good to me.
I'm Joe, the host this podcast deserves, not the one it needs right now.
References.
Who's here with us?
I'm Nick.
I'm Josh.
Thanks, Joe. Glad to be here. I'm John.
And I'm Jono.
Fantastic. So yeah, we've got a big list of films to talk about this week. We're not going to go in too in depth with all of them, unless they're really good. And we have a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
But yeah, should we just dive straight into this?
Get
Or should
straight
we
into
explain
I was
the
thinking
premise first?
It's like a fantasy draft, isn't it?
It is.
Oh, yeah.
Let's perhaps explain what
Explain
we're
the
actually doing
premise.
here. Like,
Okay, well, what we're going to do, what I would like to see if we can do is, together, we combine our brains, not physically, mentally.
so between us, we've got like one whole one.
Yeah.
Yes, this is basically going to be, what's that phrase about?
Like Brainiac from Superman.
I'll be like morphing together.
No, I was thinking more like,
Pinky
you know,
in the
like
brain.
a camel is a horse designed.
A camel is a horse designed by committee.
Yes, so this is going to be
Is
a
that the
list.
same?
This is going to be a list.
I hope so.
Otherwise, that's just completely been made up.
So this is going to be a list designed by committee.
Yes,
Essentially.
so this is
Are
going to
we
be
the committee? No one said it. This is
Finally,
fresh.
I've joined
This
the
is
ranks.
fresh.
Yeah.
I'm in the inner circle. Fuck you, Dad.
So what we're going to do, we're going to talk about comic book films and we're going to rank them and we're going to see what together we all agree or disagree. We're going to argue our points and try and get a list in a good order.
Okay.
And then at the end of it, we'll have a look at it and go, yeah, this is the Don't Spoil the Ending list of the best comic book films ever.
Okay, I'm
Yeah.
down with that.
That's the plan.
I'm referring to this as the comic book manifesto.
Yeah.
Mentioned that before.
But we're going to give our own lists of 5 at the end so people can agree or disagree. This is just going to be our collective list.
Yeah.
So,
I feel as well, we've probably all got our own ideas of what a top 10 should be.
Yeah.
And you mentioned about the camel being the horse designed by committee. We'll end up with a bastardised list that we're all going to be fuming about.
That's what will
That's what
likely
will-
happen.
Yeah.
We will probably
But
end up-
that's the committee, you know, that's what...
we will likely end up with a list that nobody's 100% happy with.
No.
But then as a podcast, if the podcast was a person, that would be their list.
Yeah.
And that will be the comic book
to be
manifesto.
honest, no one's list is ever 100% concrete, even if you did it on your own. You'd always think a day or two later, you'd be like, oh, should have put this in the list.
Yeah.
Forgot about that one.
Yeah. Well, we've
One question actually.
Yeah.
Me and Nick mentioned this. What if we go and watch Wonder Woman next week, and it's the best film we've ever seen? Do we
Okay,
have to
well-
revise our list at that point?
Yeah, but this is a
No,
list
this
of
is
current films.
right now.
Right.
this is as of
Right now.
the 30th of May 2017.
Okay.
I've dated the list.
Yeah.
That's
Got a
fine.
date.
So in future, we can then maybe in a year's time look back at redoing this list and
Yeah.
any inclusions, any
Yeah,
I'm good with that.
We could do it every 30th of May.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
From now on, this day will be known
It's comic,
as Comic Book Manifesto Day.
We've got quite a few like films on this list. We've narrowed it down first of all to
About 50.
it went from a list
Yeah.
of about 100 to 50. So I'm just gonna shoot down the list now.
Yeah, there's not many comic book films, is there?
There's no. Some of these we're gonna put sort of straight through because we think they are a top film. They probably don't need discussing just yet.
It's called Bye Week.
They'd at least make the top 10, 20, something like that. So if we think it's going to reach that top end of the spectrum,
Yep.
then we'll
give them a
skip
bye
that
round,
For,
yeah.
we'll sort of skip them for now, and then we'll go back to them later. But this we'll just narrow it down first.
So to go back to the draft analogy, you've got some of the big boys here will be like the Adrian Petersons.
Yeah.
And you've got some of the absolute dreck, which will be the Ryan Leafs, basically, that just don't go anywhere.
Do you know what I'm gutted that we didn't actually have a draft board? like an actual physical board, we could have wrote it down and got through to the next round.
I don't think that would work on a
That'd have been
podcast.
Do you know what I want? No. What I want,
I don't
what I
think so,
wanted,
benefit.
I wanted an actual like whiteboard with
For-
like
for our
the
benefit,
little
yeah.
magnet, the things in it, so we could all see it.
Yeah.
This is that everyone does the draft, even though it might not be for the listeners' benefit. It'd be for ours to help us out moving
Yeah,
through
a
the rounds.
visual cue.
And we can keep it there all year round until next year. We're like this
Like you
is
say,
changing, guys.
Nick, do not move that for your.
Yeah, that shouldn't be there. That should be higher or lower
Right.
or thrown out.
Well, I've got some of the big boys here that we're going to
Okay.
start with. Where Logan, I think we all agree that's got to be in the top end of this film. So
Get it in.
I would say so. Yeah.
We'll go back to that. Deadpool. No,
Woo!
we're a fan, aren't we, Josh?
Oh yeah,
We like this one.
good film.
Are we going to agree that this should be in the top half at least for now?
That would
What?
be
How many
my-
films are in the top half again?
At the moment, too many. So I'm trying to narrow it down first. But I think this should be in the top end.
Kick it out. Kick it out.
Let's put it
wait. Are you saying that Deadpool should be in there?
Just moving
Not
to
in
the
the top,
discussion point.
Yeah, it's got to be moved
Like,
into the
this is-
discussion. Not for the best comic film,
Okay.
but I think it needs to be in the discussion.
Okay, that's
That's
fine.
good. Yeah,
Go on,
we'll do
I'll
it. I
agree
mean,
with
you know, it's common knowledge. I'm not a fan.
Neither,
so I don't
I'm
want
not
it,
really.
But if you want, you
Yeah,
can
yeah,
pop it in.
yeah.
Yeah.
We'll come back to that.
Yep.
Sin City, another good film.
I would
Another
say so.
fantastic
Yeah, brilliant.
film,
Yeah,
Move it through.
Come back to that.
I'm the only outlier on that one, but
You like your points. Of why not?
X-Men: Days of Future Past.
get it in.
Best X-Men film.
Definitely.
Yep.
Okay.
I might be the one that is opposite to everyone on this one.
Oh, that's why it's good though.
We've got Batman 1966 version now.
Well,
Right,
Is that
that's
the
it.
series?
No,
Yeah,
they
well,
did a film
In
It's a
96?
film.
partway through
yeah,
the series.
after series one.
So
yeah.
it was with, what was his name?
Adam West
Adam
and Burt
West.
Ward.
Adam West is the most crackers. You know, like if you have a mad granddad. That's what Adam West is. Mad granddad.
Now, personally, I wouldn't mind it going in, but I mentioned to you off the pod, I've got a bit of a personal rule that I don't want too many films from the same franchise going in
Yeah.
there.
That's fine. Yeah.
I've got a lot of Batman films, so I'm fine with this going out at this point.
Yeah.
I love it, but
What I would say is that this list is a film of comic book based films.
Yeah.
So I know what you're saying about picking. I think you made a point off the pod about the Christopher Nolan trilogy counting as one film, but
no, not so much
That
count as
one
one
film,
film.
but he
just that
wants
I would
to-
only count one of them.
Yeah, I'm not.
I'd have to
having
pick the
that.
best one.
I'm not having it. No.
No, not that's just how I'm working it. You know, my personal
That's
take.
fine
on
how
it.
you're working it.
I can't justify putting all three films in.
See, all three of those films will be in that top 20.
They should be.
Definitely.
See,
But we'll
in the
see.
top
Okay.
20
I'm
maybe,
cool.
I couldn't imagine them all in the top 10 though.
Oh, that's
Well,
that's what the
there we go.
discussion's
Like,
for.
I don't want to show my hand too much, but
Yeah, you
Alright,
don't show your
Well,
hand.
let's just
Yeah.
carry on with what we're doing.
Wait,
That's
maybe
fine.
skip them and move on to the next
All right.
film. and we
Well,
won't
do any of us feel that strongly about
No.
Batman's version?
are you okay with it, John? Obviously,
Yeah, I
you
know
were
I put
down
my
for
name
it.
next to it, but that was purely if John's making a basis of should be too many from the same sort of.
Okay.
Yeah,
well,
I mean,
let's-
I'll be honest. I'd love it to be in there, but I just can't justify it with the other films we've got
in
coming up.
All right,
comparison.
let's we won't let that one through just yet. 300. I know it's a popular film in the room.
I'm
I didn't know it was
thinking,
part of a comic.
I'm thinking that should be
I think it's a
Definitely on
definite
the
by
list.
week straight through.
Definitely constructed.
Yeah.
Just to let
See,
Josh know,
just like Josh said, like I weren't originally aware that it was part of a comic, but because obviously it was a true event, but obviously they've just turned it into a
into a comic.
comic.
It's Frank Miller who did Sin City. He wrote the comic for. It's amazing, the comic.
We'll come
Yeah.
on. We'll come
You
on
can
to
see
it.
it.
I'm gonna I'm gonna treat this like a board meeting, and I'm just gonna be the chairman for this one. We'll go back to that because we've moved it on.
Okay.
You put it through.
that's
Okay.
What you were saying before, John, about the only including maybe one in a list. This is where I'll come off a bit of a hypocrite
No, go
by
on.
agreeing with you. Whilst I preferred Guardians of the Galaxy 2, I think Guardians of the Galaxy needs to be included in the top list. But with the Volume 2, I don't think should be.
We'll definitely discuss this on the podcast.
Yeah.
I think
But I watched it last night, and I would have put my name next to it to move to the next round of
Well, Guardians of the
discussion.
Galaxy 1.
Yeah, I watched it last night for the first
I'll tell you
time.
what, I think enough of us are a fan of that film to just move it straight on.
I mean, I wouldn't put it through, but that's
Yeah.
cool.
But
Yeah.
that's discussion points. We can add that.
Ant-Man, have we seen that? I love that.
I watched this week. I've actually got some notes on that, so I'm up for talking about that.
I
I
haven't
didn't
seen
know
it, so-
it was the same director as Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz.
Oh no, it's not. It was meant to be. Edgar Wright was signed on, but he ended up leaving halfway through.
Oh,
or something,
really?
Yeah.
Right.
He fell out with Marvel and got kicked off.
Seems like a good choice.
We'll come back to it.
We'll add that.
We'll add that as to our sort of higher list. Now, I've been watching some Batman recently this week, and Batman from 1989.
The original Batman with the Michael Keaton one.
This was the original sort of. I wouldn't say original reboot, but it's.
It kind of. It's the Tim Burton one.
Yeah. Well, I watched Batman Forever last night, and I'm sort of.
The one with Jim Carrey.
Yes.
Yeah.
What a film.
We'll come on to that, but do we think the original Batman film from 1989 needs to be in this?
I think
Yes.
so.
This higher end list.
Personally, I'd rather have Batman Returns, but I think put this one through. It's the original film.
Okay.
I think
I'm
if
fine with
it's
this.
significant.
Have we even got?
For now, we'll.
Oh yeah. Have we even got Batman Returns in it?
Yeah,
I think Batman for the significance of the film.
Okay.
Yeah, first Batman, Tim Burton.
Yeah. Batman Begins. Now,
In context, I wouldn't put it through on the basis that I don't see it as good as the previous Batman we've just put through, so I wouldn't see it in the list.
Ooh.
see,
Ooh.
No,
it is a
but
great
no.
film.
For me, I'm not comparing this with Tim Burton's Batman. I'm comparing this with The Dark Knight and The Dark Knight Rises. I think they're better.
Okay.
That's why I'm not.
See,
But that's my own
But you're,
personal
you're,
opinion. You know?
you're of the opinion that we should only have one Batman film in there.
Well, not so much that we should have, just that that's what I want.
That's
You know
his.
what I mean?
That's
That's
fair.
how I feel about
That's
it.
fair.
I still feel like this film is strong enough in its own right to end up on the final list.
Just to go off what Nick said, not so much that I only want the one Batman film. I only want one film from each series.
These are
So
these sections.
I'd be happy with Tim Burton's Batman and then a Christopher Nolan Batman,
So,
because they're from different series. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
Yeah.
it's just like the way we'd say about a Spider-Man. Or
Yeah.
maybe.
I get what you're saying, but like personally, don't think.
No, it's cool if you want to go with that. That's
I mean,
how you want to take it. like.
I think Batman Begins needs to be in the top
Oh,
list.
I think
'cause
it's good enough to go through.
it's a fantastic film.
For me, that's the best film I've come to so far. So,
Okay.
well, Batman.
For now, I'll put it through. We'll come
Yeah,
back.
yeah, that's fine.
Batman: The Dark Knight. I don't think any more needs to
Get
be
it
said
in,
about
get
that.
it in.
That's
Nope, that's
one of the best.
straight in.
I like yeah. I'll speak about that later, but yeah, I'll
This
say
is
that.
like
That's I would,
MVP stature.
I'll say my piece on that later, but I think that should.
we'll come back to it. Batman: The Dark Knight Rises. I also think goes straight into that.
Same logic with Batman Begins. I wouldn't have it, but it's definitely good enough to be in there.
Yeah,
so.
well, it's good.
I'm staying with Jono, JT. I wouldn't put that in. But
Watchmen. I think
that's
That has to be up
categorically
there.
going in. That.
Ooh, see, I wouldn't myself, but
Oh,
Did you wouldn't put that in the
tasty.
top 10?
I think John in his head has a list. Already,
Well,
a pre-conceived
another
list.
rule, I'm just going by my own take on
okay.
it, is that for me, every film I'm putting through is a 5-star film. That for me, Watchmen,
not
is not a 5-star film. So
I'm sure you gave it 5 stars.
I thought he did as well.
Four,
Sure,
I'm
you
4.5. Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah, for director's cut. Yeah,
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
I mean,
Alright,
we'll
well,
add it to the list anyway. See what happens.
it's going through.
yeah. No, yeah. Stick it through. Yeah.
That's good.
We'll come back to it.
Yeah.
Definitely. Superman, the version from 1978.
You know I'm a big Superman fan, so
You are,
this
John.
is the original for me. This is the
I'm with
Christopher
John.
Reeves. You know
I-
it's significance in films again.
I mean, I personally, I'd much prefer number 2 to go in. I think that was a much better film.
I think
I love them both. I think they're
think
both
they're equally
amazing.
as good to both go through to the next round.
Yeah, yeah.
I think they're both on the list. So.
Welcome back. Superman 1978 version. We'll put that straight through.
Yeah.
The original Iron Man.
Right, this is another new watch for me, and I again would put that through to the next round because
I agree.
I don't know why it took so long to watch these films.
Again,
Are you talking the Marvel specific films? Is that the ones?
Not specifically, no. I for some reason I missed films out. You know, like I never got around to watching them, and Iron Man was one, and like I said, Guardians of the Galaxy was another, and I don't know why I missed both of them out.
Okay. Well, do we think Iron Man's strong enough? The first film to. go
Yeah,
through?
definitely.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I would definitely put it through, but again, by my logic, I want Iron Man
You don't
3.
have to keep reverting back to logic, John. Just Iron Man 2, and let's read these together.
Right, those two I don't think we should put through at this point.
Iron Man 2 and Iron Man 3.
I'd put Iron Man 3 through, definitely.
Would you?
It's
Would you
probably my favourite Marvel film.
feel strongly about it?
Yeah.
See, I think we've done all the ones that need to go through like straight through.
These and more.
These ones we need to have a bit more of a discussion about. These next few films we've got higher on the list.
I think Iron Man 2 you can bin off completely, but Iron Man 3 is a definite.
I'll tell you what. Before we go through them, I'll just read out the list, and then we'll go back to the start of the list.
Okay.
So on this list we have to go through to the last sort of chapter. Iron Man 2, Iron Man 3, Captain America, sounded like a football score. That. Iron Man 2, Iron Man 3, Captain America, Civil War, 4, The Avengers, Hulk, the 2003 version. We've got Batman Forever, Superman 2. Now we have quite a few Spider-Mans. We've got Spider-Man 1, the original Tobey Maguire one.
Yeah.
We've got Spider-Man 2, the second Tobey Maguire one.
I love at this point how the number 3 is just not even.
Yeah,
Spider-Man 3
Spider-Man 3
That's
is
just not even.
If we had a worse list, that might be.
We can do that next week.
The Amazing Spider-Man and The Amazing Spider-Man 2, like, yeah. They're right. The Crow. We'll come back to it. Road to Perdition. Weird Science. Kick-Ass. Kick-Ass 2. Blade. Hellboy. Don't know why I said boy.
Hellboy.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the original film from 1990. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows. That's a recent one. X-Men, the original. X-Men First Class. Fantastic Four, not the remake, the 2005 version. V for Vendetta and Constantine. There's our list there that we need to join the films we've just spoke about.
Okay.
To put together our sort of final list. So let's start back at the top. Iron Man 2 and Iron Man 3. I know, John, you're a fan of Iron Man 3 and I'm a fan of Iron Man 2. Does anyone feel strongly about these films?
I feel strong about Iron Man 3.
I've not seen
Shane
it,
Black, it's a masterpiece.
Okay. See, Iron Man 2, the one with Mickey Rourke in it.
Yeah.
Where he attacks the Formula 1 race, pretty much.
Yeah.
Very
I love that
good.
bit.
It's good
That bit's
scenes.
great, but then nothing happens for the next 90 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, if nobody
I
feels...
mean, I feel like number 2 is the one with it's where what's his name? He pretends to be the do you know, he's an actor that's pretending to be
And that's...
oh god, I can't even remember what I'm trying to say here. Like there's a guy that does a video and he's like, oh, I'm gonna kill you all, basically, kind of thing.
That's Iron Man 3.
Was that Iron Man 3?
Yeah.
Sorry, my bad.
Yeah.
See, I think the problem with some of these films, which goes hand in hand with the logic you're trying to promote, John, is that some of these films, especially the Marvel ones, in my opinion,
They kind of combine.
Yeah.
they merge together
Yeah.
like far too much.
I was thinking when you're going down the list then, I was just thinking
Like-
a lot of these are going to have to get cut away.
Well, so a lot of these are going to get cut now.
Yeah.
right.
I'm quite happy just having Iron Man 1 go through.
I'd prefer Iron Man 3 personally to Iron Man 1, but
I mean,
It's
like,
such a different
well,
film
we've
to
got
Iron
we've got
Man-
our
to
list
Iron Man.
now. We've got our list now. Maybe we can try and discuss this, and you can put your argument forward when we get to that point as to why Iron Man 3 should
Yeah,
be
yeah,
instead of
exactly,
Iron Man 1.
yeah.
All right, well, and as the only one here who probably thinks Iron Man 2 should be on the list, I'm quite happy dropping that back.
That's
That's
fine
fine.
by me.
So we'll drop that one back
Undrafted.
now. Iron Man 3. I mean, I remember...
Have you guys watched it?
Yeah. That's the problem, is the Iron Man films for me,
Like,
a lot, like, even though I just said the Iron Man 2 one was good, we've got Iron Man 1 in. Iron Man 3 was just a bit forgettable for me.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's
I
nothing like the first two Iron Man 3. It's like The Nice Guys, basically. Shane Black, who did that, did Iron Man 3. It's basically a buddy cop comedy. It's nothing like the first two Iron Man films. And that's why I prefer so much the other two.
it just bugged me because, like, the bit I was just on about, he was supposed to be, what character was he?
The Mandarin.
The Mandarin, and then he basically just fucked over the entire audience and was like,
Yeah.
he's not actually the Mandarin, he's just an actor pretending to be the Mandarin.
Yeah,
It fucked everyone off.
yeah.
I hated that, I'm not gonna lie.
But
Yeah,
see, I'm on the flip side of that. Hated Marvel. I'm like, yeah, I don't give a fuck about the Mandarin. Treat it like shit. Like, you know, that's why I like it. It doesn't feel like a Marvel film. It's like a buddy comedy, kind of like a.
I think
comedy.
that's to do, like, we've discussed it on previous podcasts many times. I think that's to do with your hatred of Marvel, though. Like, well, not Marvel, but of Disney's
Oh, no,
Marvel.
I think it is like a genius move in the film to do that. You know, not just in case of hating Marvel. I think it's actually a great move the way he does it. That like everyone thinks of this terrorist, and it's just not. Like, you know, do you remember this?
that just turns it into more of a comedy, though, doesn't it?
Well, that's what it is. It's
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 not, though, is it?
basically Lethal Weapon. That's what it's made.
It's
with
a
Iron Man 3.
superhero film. It's not supposed.
But again, that's
to
why I
be.
like it. Because it's
No,
not,
no,
it's not a
that's
superhero film.
no,
Like,
no,
it's
that's
literally.
fine.
I can tell you've got strong feelings about this, but it's only come from you at the moment. So I'm wondering whether this makes this sort of final list.
I'm cool with you dropping it. Well, I'm not cool with you dropping it because it should be on there. But
What about
If
we
you're gonna
leave
drop
it
it,
for
like-
now and we go through the rest of the list just to see
Let's
if we
come
make
back
a
to it.
20?
Oh.
Let's definitely come back.
Yeah, you're right. Okay, let's come back to that. Captain America: Civil War. Now, is this the second Captain America? This one, or is this
The
the first?
third one.
Or is
It's
this
the-
the
it's
first
One after
one?
Winter
it's the one
Soldier.
with all the superheroes having that little war.
Yeah.
Apart from Thor and Hulk.
Ah, yes, they're off doing their own thing. Aren't
Yeah,
they?
they're off. They're off being foreign help.
Okay.
Like-
Is this the one where Captain America and
It's
Iron
the-
Man have the little?
Yeah, it's the,
Yep.
it's the first appearance of Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Well,
And Ant-Man did it as well.
Tom Holland's.
But-
Yeah, well, Giant Man.
Is this the film where it's called Civil War but no one dies?
yeah,
Yeah.
Right,
Well,
like I've obviously said like this is one that I've put forward myself.
Yeah.
I only put myself forward for it because I could talk about it, but I don't think it should be top 10 by a long shot. I'm happy for that to be dropped.
I'm happy for it to be in the discussion though.
Okay, no.
I think it needs to be in the discussion. It's a
I'm
great
actually
film.
happy for it to be in the top 10.
Yeah. I reckon we put the
I'm
forward.
totally against it, but
This isn't so much the top 10 we're putting together though, this is the discussion. For the,
No,
I
that's
think
fine.
Iron Man 3 is much stronger than this, but
well, yeah. We'll come back to Iron Man 3, John. I reckon we move Captain America Civil War over for now.
Or
Put it-
civil
put it on
dispute, it
Even,
should be called.
we can we're going to cause a civil war in this fucking studio. But I reckon for now we need to put that through.
Put it on.
4, does anyone enjoy 4?
I
no.
didn't like it.
Did you not?
Really didn't like it.
I was surprised how much I liked it.
See, right, I'm a bit biased because I've just got an unfounded love for fucking Marvel films. I don't know what it is, but I love them all. Like, they could probably just show Tom Hiddleston as Loki having a shit, and I would just watch that film and enjoy that film. Like, I wouldn't give it a top 20.
Would you not?
I would not put it top
I'm
20.
gonna take that opinion without looking around the room and say, if Nick is such a fan
And he won't even put it
and
in.
he's not putting it through,
That's
then
fine.
I'm gonna drop that back.
well, I mean, my thinking with that is it's probably the second worst Marvel film.
That's harsh.
Oh, it definitely. Well, my third worst behind Thor 2. But
4-2's awful.
the
but-
point being, there's 10 other Marvel films that are better than that. So
I,
it shouldn't really,
yeah, I agree.
Okay.
And that alone should be a point you listen to because of his hatred of Marvel.
All right. Yeah. Well, we'll drop that one out of the discussion.
Okay.
The Avengers, the original Avengers, the 2012 film.
Yep.
How do we feel about that?
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good
Yeah.
film.
I
It's a good introduction to the Avengers, I think.
All right.
That seems simple.
That seems like a straight to
It
the
seemed
sort of
pretty
final
easy. It was just
discussion.
yeah,
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
That's true.
Okay. Hulk from 2003. No, is this the Edward Norton one?
No,
No,
this is
no,
Edward
this is-
Fallon.
this is the
This is
Edward
the one with the
Oh.
really bad animation as Hulk. Like
first
it
one.
looked too green. It looked awful, didn't
Oh,
it?
really, I don't mind. I mean, it's 2003, isn't it? But
I think the only
Still,
thing
it was
good
a
about
bad
the film
film.
is the fact that he's called Eric Banner, real name, and Bruce Banner's Hulk. Other than that, worse. It's not-
Yeah,
it's not
I
great.
weren't a fan of the film.
I'm more of an Edward
I
Norton.
wouldn't. I would definitely not include that in the top.
No.
mean,
Although it
yeah.
was the very first Marvel film I've ever seen.
No, that was before the MCU. That wasn't.
Yeah,
it?
this is
so
not
that
the
that was
MCU, this
before like Marvel.
I thought it was
even
bad, put it
existed.
that way.
Yeah, it wasn't. A good
As somebody
film.
who's not seen the film,
It's awful.
I'll be honest, that's like a 5-star film for me.
Oh.
But there's a theme with this, though. The reason I love it is it's not a superhero film. It's
That's
like
why.
okay.
it's basically like a father and son, like Greek tragedy kind of thing. Like
So the point
It's,
the point we're getting from this is like the films that John's going to put in the top 10 aren't even superhero. The films
not
that
really.
are,
Yeah,
are,
but
No,
that,
no, it's
that
not
are
that.
meant to be superhero films, but
A
they're
different
not.
slant.
it's
It's
not
like
that.
the
It's just doing
story
something
based.
more interesting than normal comic book films for me. They're not just.
I mean, we'll
the
discuss
basic,
it
like-
basically on the podcast later.
But I
on,
think because this is based on comics and that goes away from the comics, so it doesn't have relevance in the story.
No, I'm cool with dropping it because I understand nobody else likes it, but it is quite a respected film. Hulk 2000.
I just don't think it has relevance
Really?
if it goes
Yeah,
away
it's
from the comic.
who's the director? Ang Lee, who did like Life
That's-
of Pi and loads of dramas and stuff like, and it's just really different for a superhero film.
yeah, I wouldn't include it.
I
It's not
wouldn't- I
canon,
don't
is
think-
it?
Well-
As far as Marvel's concerned, it's not canon.
No, it's not canon. No.
I've dropped it out of.
Yeah, no, I'm
I,
cool
would-
with
I
that.
don't see its
Well,
relevance in the list.
yeah.
So.
Next film, I reckon, Batman Forever.
Ooh,
No.
that's
So the one
No,
with
wait.
George Clooney.
No,
No,
the one before that.
this is one before that with
Yeah.
Val Kilmer playing
who
Batman.
may be the worst Batman.
See,
Are
now
you sure? I'm pretty sure George Clooney was probably
George Clooney
the
was
worst
worse,
Batman.
There's a debate between those two.
See, I've not seen it. Was he that bad?
Oh my god.
I actually like Val Kilmer's Batman.
you know, I
I
thought
like
it
Val
was-
Kilmer as a person
Yeah.
and as an actor, but not in this.
sorry, no, like with the Batman films though, I think it's less about Batman like a lot of the time. It's more about his enemies and who
Yeah.
he's facing because that adds a bit more of
Yeah.
a variety to the film.
And it's who's
Well,
playing that character.
yeah, you, like Jim Carrey as the Riddler,
He's
fantastic.
he's
I know he's playing
amazing.
the same character who played in every other film in the 90s. He's
And
Ventura the Mask.
Alex
Riddler.
Schwarzenegger as well.
That's
No, he's
Mr.
in
Freeze.
Batman,
Mr.
Batman and Robin.
Are you sure that's not? I thought
No,
that's the
like-
same one.
I
man.
know,
This
I
is
watched-
Tommy Lee Jones and
Yeah.
Jim Carrey.
Oh,
You're
okay.
getting Two-Face.
In my head, those were the same film. I don't know why.
See, I like nostalgically, I feel the same, but I think this film needs to be in the discussion for the top list.
Oh,
I don't
We've
think
literally
so.
got 5 Batman
No.
films that are better than it.
But if there's five,
So it's just a Jim Carrey. Like I like Jim Carrey, and like any freaking performance he does, I'm a fan.
As
of
the
that.
Riddler, he's amazing.
I
So
wouldn't rate the film though.
No. It's not
But you
rateable.
thought Mr. Freeze was in it.
I know.
That's
but
how bad it was. You
That's
couldn't
how
even
bad it is.
reference which
I've
one it was.
melded these two films,
They're two
which
shit
both
ones.
weren't all that.
They're not.
But I'm kind of with Joe. I like Batman Forever. People hate it, but I like it. I think it's just a bit of fun kind of thing. But it's not got a chance of being anywhere near the top 10 though for me.
I wouldn't even want to
Okay,
discuss it.
I'm reluctantly...
Just purely because there's so many other awesome Batman films.
I'm going to
that are better than
reluctantly remove that from our discussion.
Yeah.
that. Okay, I'll give you that.
Fuck you all.
I'll give you that. I'll concede Iron Man 3 then. You take out Batman Forever.
Are we removed? Should we go back to Iron Man
go
3
for
and
it.
remove
It
that?
should definitely be in the top 10, but you can take it out. Oh, yeah.
No. If you think it should be, we'll leave that.
No, go for it.
Joe's just
I'm-
conceded.
Yeah, me and Joe doing a deal at it. So.
Yeah.
This is a bit.
Yeah, well,
We've still got a lot more films to get through.
Yeah,
so.
we've not even got
the
to the list
feeling,
yet, have we?
the feeling in the room is not strong enough.
But like
for
you
Batman
said, this was a
Forever,
manifesto.
so-
Trade relations.
Yeah, the feeling in the room is not strong enough for Batman Forever, so
No.
it needs to be removed.
I like it. It's just not amazing.
Superman 2, any strong feelings about that? 'Cause
Yeah.
I'm going to say I haven't seen this.
I think of the what's his name? Sorry, the actor.
Christopher Reeve.
I think of all of his films, that was his best one.
It was between.
Like that was
He's such a
an
good
amazing
actor.
film. It had amazing enemies. Had the villains were amazing in it. Like it was just not around good.
I thought it was the start of the amazing villains that came in because the period of time in the 70s so good.
Can I ask you, have we put Superman 1 through yet?
Yes.
I forgot where we're up to.
Yeah, we did. We put Superman 1. It was just further up.
Well, I'm with you. Put 2 through as well.
Yeah, because I think for
Two
me
should definitely go for
as a
it.
fan, I feel like they're equal.
All right. Well, let's put that straight through, and we'll talk about that further in a bit. Our next film on the list I have here is Spider-Man: The Original.
Get it
film.
out. Get it straight out.
Out of which list?
Moving on.
Out of this one because I want Spider-Man 2.
Again,
That's fine.
I'm perfectly fine with that because all of Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man films are god awful because he's in them.
To be honest,
strong
Tobey
opinion.
Maguire shouldn't be in any films unless
Right.
it's a depressing film.
Spider-Man 1 out. Spider-Man 2 in.
I'd say both of them out. And the Amazing Spider-Man in.
Oh,
That's where
God.
mine-
Okay,
That's what I thought
let's have a talk now about Spider-Man. So we got 4 films on this list that have made
Yeah.
this list, which are Spider-Man films.
Yeah.
Which is 2 Spider-Man 1s and 2 Spider-Man 2s essentially.
Yeah, essentially that's what it is. Now I'm going to say now. We did speak about this.
We
last
have spoken
week on the
this
show
in the
about
past, yeah.
which Spider-Man was the best Spider-Man.
Which was the best film is more relevant.
So
to
this
this.
is for this
Nothing
discussion.
to do with the actors.
For this discussion, you are right. It's what is
Yeah,
the
it's
best
the
film?
film.
It doesn't like the actor.
It's not the best
claims
actors
to it.
list. It's the best film.
No,
list.
of course, but I'm looking at this list and now.
And these
Spider-Man-
2 are god awful. So
You're pointing at the screen.
Spider-Man
Which 2 are god awful?
The Amazing Spider-Man
2.
he's saying.
Both of those series,
Right.
Amazing Spider-Man.
I'll agree with you.
They killed the franchise.
I'll
Get 'em
agree
out.
with you on the Amazing Spider-Man 2. Because they forced far too many villains into there. I don't know why they tried to put they put the Rhino in it. They put.
I know.
Can I?
Yeah, they've got Jamie Foxx in it, isn't
They've
it?
got so many enemies
I-
in there, and there was just no point in it.
Electro's a joke in it, isn't it?
Yeah, and
He kind of is. It is a bit of a
But
joke.
the Amazing Spider-Man 1 was actually a good film. I thought.
I don't mind it.
Yeah.
Was that the one with the what's his name? The doctor, scientist, lizard guy.
The Lizard.
The Lizard.
Is that the first?
But the
one?
person who plays it, Reese Ifans, is
See,
a good actor.
yeah. See, when I watched them, I watched Amazing Spider-Man 2 in the cinema, and Jamie Foxx, like Jono, you've mentioned, plays Electro. Now, I don't actually know who Electro was before I watched the film, and now the whole way, when he first gets attacked and he's holding blueprints, and the entire thing, I was thinking, oh my god, this guy's called Blueprint, it works. And then he called him Electro at one point.
That's pretty good.
And I was like, Blueprint was such a better name for that character, which is not the film's fault, but I mean, I'm looking at these Spider-Man films now. Spider-Man 2 is like a critically acclaimed.
Yeah, it's adored. Yeah.
film. Now I'm going to say I don't remember that film.
I'd go as far to say that all the MCU is based on the success of these 2 films. And,
what?
like, they took the format from those films and made Iron Man and all the rest of the films based on
Is that a joke?
the look and no, genuinely these 2 films are critically acclaimed. Like,
Yeah, really? Critically.
oh yeah,
Spider-Man
what
1 and 2
critic?
are.
they're all like you've got like 85 on Metacritic, I think. Spider-Man 2.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
No, you.
I'm not.
I mean,
arguing against that.
I won't like
Whereas
argue.
these 2,
I won't argue against that, but like I just can't vote for him when Tobey Maguire's the lead man. I
it's not
just
to do
can't.
not to do with the actors. It's not.
I know,
actors,
but
it's-
for
But
me,
it has to be at some point.
for me,
No.
for me,
He does because you compare
Too
him.
much talking. I'm doing my Yeah.
Yeah.
For me,
One at a time.
for me, if like for a good film, you need a good lead actor. And if you've got a shit one, which is Tobey Maguire in a nutshell, you've got a shit film straight up.
I like him. I like Tobey Maguire.
I wouldn't say that Tobey Maguire's a shit actor.
He's just the wrong actor for this film.
I don't agree with that either. I think he's perfect as Peter Parker.
No, I agree with Jono.
I just think he's the
he's
wrong
not a bad
actor.
actor. It's
He's
just
meant
the wrong
to.
actor.
Peter Parker's meant to be a dweeb. It's meant to be.
No,
a
I never
geek.
said he's not. He's not a dweeb in this. He's really miserable.
But I don't
if
think
his
he
life's
is. I
not
think you're
supposed to be
misremembering stuff
miserable-
here.
I'm not.
There's a couple of scenes where he cries when his uncle dies.
No, that's not what I'm talking about. His whole demeanour through
He
both
cries
films
like
is the same.
He cries through the entirety of
Or
the
he
film.
looks like he's
just
about
really-
to cry.
I'm going to go ahead and say that like the room and the vibe in the room is very much that Tobey Maguire is not a good Spider-Man. I don't think he's a bad Spider-Man at all.
He's just not a great one.
He's not a bad Spider-Man.
It's not about the
No,
best actor.
No, of course, yeah, of course.
But we're putting two different Spider-Men against each other, so we have to go on the actor because the
You
film.
don't. It's the films you're basing.
The first two
It doesn't
films
matter
have the
who's
same
in
storyline for the first part of the film. The uncle dies in both, so
Yeah.
effectively they're kind of like the same film for part of it. So you then have to compare the actor because half the story's the same.
I would
No,
definitely
can't
vote
agree
on
with any of
Andrew Garfield.
Andrew Garfield, if he was in the first two Spider-Men, the way they were made, would it have been a better film?
Yeah,
No.
in my opinion, yeah.
Not
In my
mine,
opinion,
no way.
if Andrew Garfield was the lead actor in Spider-Man 1 and Spider-Man 2,
They would be
they
amazing.
would be better films.
Spider-Man 2 would be over 90.
Spider-Man 1 and 2 are known now as amazing.
That's
films.
amazing.
They're
films.
already known.
No
as
one else
amazing
thinks this
films.
way. Like they are critically acclaimed.
But
you know.
I can't comment personally on the second one. I know the first one's a good film, but it's like
The second one is
But
better.
no
than the
one.
first
they are
The general
critically.
consensus on the two follow-up films are garbage.
Yeah, well, no, sorry, right. The general consensus isn't that they're garbage; it's that they're not as good as the first two Spider-Man.
No, they killed the franchise.
As it
I disagree with this.
As it happens-
disagree with that.
So do
As
I.
it happens, though, we're not talking about what people are generally saying about it. We're talking about what we're saying.
This is our
about
opinion.
it.
No, but I think it should play a factor. General consensus.
No,
But this is our list.
So it's our thoughts. We're not everyone else. We're not these critics. Like
No,
you're saying.
again, though, like what I am agreeing with those points that were just made, but Spider-Man is definitely. I like I said, Spider-Man 1 or 2, I don't know, but that at least one of those films has to make the discussion for the
It'd be
next
two.
part.
It'd be two. if it's going
I
through
will
for me.
allow Spider-Man 2 to go in the list.
Should we put Spider-Man 2 through?
And I'll allow the points to be put forward later on, but I don't think that. should even
I
be top
expected it
20
to go
myself.
through. If it was given a choice, it'd be number
We
two.
can't be dense about this and just
Yeah,
look at it
that's the
from
point, yeah.
from this angle. We have to look at it and go. It's not just a list of what we enjoyed. It's you have to take into account, even if you didn't particularly enjoy the film, or if you misremember it, you've still got it. It's still part of the discussion.
Yeah.
Like, it has to be.
Oh, and I didn't misremember it. I watched it again last year, so that's pretty close.
My question
Close
is:
enough.
are you not living off nostalgia?
Not at all. No.
I've got another point about
I've
nostalgia.
got notes for the film.
Well,
here.
my nostalgia's more. I read The Amazing Spider-Man, not the original. When I read the comics. That was mine.
I like. Okay. Let's. I'm quite happy having Spider-Man 2 go straight
Yeah,
through.
I'm happy with that. Yeah.
I expected it to go through, and because I know how strongly John feels about it, and it's fair because I want to hear what you.
No, but
want.
like-
I want to hear what you would say about
I've
it.
got to admit, just in a general term, I'd be embarrassed if that didn't go through and the other ones did.
I agree with you.
No, that's totally fine. I want to hear what you say about it. I'm intrigued by what you want to. Your point.
Amazing Spider-Man 1 and Amazing Spider-Man 2. I also think one of those needs to go through.
I can discount two. I'd say I wouldn't put two in. I think one's better than two.
I mean, personally, I don't think
I'd
I'd
agree
through.
with you.
But
Because what you're trying to do is one, which like I said is like the other Spider-Man one, is a better version of that one.
Do we think Amazing Spider-Man 1 should be going at least through to the discussion?
Yes, because I don't think two should
No.
go through because as a second sequel Spider-Man it's not as good. Whereas
Do you
the
have
other
the first
Spider-Man is
one?
better.
Nick, what are your thoughts on Amazing
I
Spider-Man
think
1?
the first one.
It's general
I think,
consensus.
well,
The first
we-
one is better.
This is like what John was saying about Spider-Man 2. Like, this list would be embarrassing if we didn't have it. Totally agree. But Amazing Spider-Man, I think, is underrated.
It
No,
is. It is.
It's really
People
not.
are doing general comparisons to the other when it's a different comic series. It's a entirely different thing.
Right.
So I feel like it should be looked at as a different type of film.
I think the Lizard is the worst villain in any comic book film ever.
Let's come back to it.
Wait for that one. You can say that.
That's another podcast in itself.
It is.
Worst villain ever.
Got The Crow from 1994 on the list.
That was one of my choices
Right.
to put on the list, but that's
It's a good film.
yeah.
It is a good film, but it's a good film for 16-year-old goths.
Literally.
Wait there.
Literally that. It goes side by side with Donnie Darko.
I was gonna have a point that because it was so early on. I think it led this. Right, this might be controversial, but the way the darkness is in The Dark Knight it's got to come from somewhere. Some types of films that have helped build a film. I think they kind of benefited from this film. This film's like a trendsetter in the way it was.
When I was a 16-year-old goth, I enjoyed the film.
I love the fact that
I enjoyed the film, but like I feel like a lot of the
as you age,
I feel like a lot of the attention the film's got is purely because of the thing surrounding it, the fact that he
The actual
died
death.
on.
Like a mythology's built up. around the
I
film,
don't think it's got its popularity due to it actually being a cracking film. I think it's got its popularity because of that.
it literally is a cult film.
It's not a following.
Yeah.
It's not a general consensus film. It's a cult film. I've put it on there because I have nostalgic feelings, but I have no hard feeling if you just move it off the list,
I'm happy
which is fine.
I'm happy for that to not be on the list.
Yeah, me
Are we all in agreement with that?
Sucks.
I'm fine with that.
V for Vendetta.
Now,
I think it has direct comparisons, like John said before, with another film.
See, I think it's a prequel to Bonfire Night. I just get rid of it.
I personally put it through. I can understand if you want to bump it off. I don't think
Try to
made
make
the
a
top.
case.
Not really. I don't feel that strongly
You don't feel
about
strongly?
it.
Yeah.
It's a great film, but you know,
Okay.
I'm
It's
not
not
gonna.
going to miss me.
Yeah, ignore that then. Road to Perdition. What do we think about that?
It's totally different from every other film in this list.
Yeah, gangster film.
It is based on comic though.
Yeah.
No, that's what I mean. That's why I put it in. I put it in because, well, Tom Hanks is in the film. No, and
Paul Newman is the
and
Crown
it's
Chief.
amazing. Like I love it. I love gangster films, but this is the one that I love.
Jude Law's pretty creepy as the killer assassin.
Listen to the names that he's dropping, and it's such a good film. And if you haven't seen it, I do feel like you need to watch it.
My own feeling is that I really like it, but it's like V for Vendetta. I just don't feel that strongly enough about it. So.
I was thinking more just on a discussion. I might not rate it highly, but I feel like because it's nothing like the other films in the list, like not at all.
Can you
Like
make
you
a
said before.
compelling argument for it?
I can in the next round.
There's some kind of
See, I don't
Sin
know if
City,
it's gonna
maybe a
go
couple of
through.
comparisons with that, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll let you off. Yeah.
At the moment, I don't see it going through because you're gonna have to convince us here.
You need to give us a compelling argument now to put it to the next round.
That's fine. Then we'll just skip it on.
Okay.
Do you not feel too strongly on it? Maybe move it on.
I do, but I don't know if you're.
Like, if you can
Right.
convince us now as to why you think it should be in the next round, then by all means we'll put it in.
I can't. I'd have to get you to watch it.
Let's
You'd
move
have to-
on.
You have to watch it.
Hellboy.
I mean, I watched it when it first came out, and I remember loving the film, but I can't at this point because I've not watched it so long, I can't rate it, to be honest. Like,
Actually, I've never seen it.
it
I
was
like
a good
it,
film,
and
and what's the guy's name?
Guillermo del Toro.
No,
the
no.
main guy, Ron Perlman.
Ron Perlman is amazing
He's
as hell,
amazing.
but he's so good.
His little quips in it, isn't it? The way he's dead sarcastic, the way he's got, he's quite moody.
And I mean, obviously,
It's amazing.
just what last week is when we found out about a remake
Yeah, the reboots in
being done
Hellboy.
with
Yeah.
someone else, and I'm furious. If I'm
Because
honest. I wanted Ron
You
Perlman.
can't follow Ron Perlman and
But-
how good he is as an actor.
But I don't know. I don't think that should be top 20 either.
I mean, I love it as well. I think it's amazing.
In its own right, yeah, really good film.
Personally, I prefer Hellboy too, but I can understand if it might not be top 10.
All
for
it is,
me, but
the only thing is, I've not seen it in a while, so I can't.
I've not watched Hellboy 2 for like nearly 10 years. And I loved it at the time, but I do need to rewatch that.
Alright, I'm not seeing that make the sort of final list we're putting.
That's fine.
Hellboy.
Yeah.
I think, I'm not trying to be awkward, but I think it could, but we're letting it go.
I reckon in a different setting. We had the argument about Spider-Man then. Like that has one of those has to go through.
Yeah.
With Hellboy, I don't think it's strong enough.
No, that's cool.
So for our list, I reckon leave it out. Weird Science.
That is mine, and I don't know if John will agree with me. This is the one I'd rather put through. You know, like I let Road to Perdition go.
Have you got a reason for this? Going
Weird
through?
Science, when it was made, it was like it's got Robert Downey Jr. in as well.
I'm with Jono on this. It's
See,
Anthony
I've
Michael
never heard
Hall.
of it.
Yeah.
John Hughes.
This
like
is based off of a Marvel comic, isn't it?
EC Comics.
Yeah, well,
They did like horror comics in like the 50s
Alright.
and
yeah,
60s.
they were all about like aliens coming down and picking normal.
like, yeah, like weird stories and stuff.
I mean, I
like
don't
that.
know why I
50s.
feel like Weird Science is something that Iron Man originated from, was it not?
Maybe, but it's Downey
Could be.
Jr. So.
Yeah. Do you know what's? That's why I was gonna say.
Also, I don't want to mention Downey Jr. Sorry, he wrote the comic.
Yeah, he's in the film, but it's just the concept of the film about it's like how it's like two kids in it and the way they make the woman and stuff. It's just
give me a rundown of this one because I haven't seen
Wait,
it.
like
Can I back you up here, John?
yeah, go on.
Is it 85 or something?
85, yeah.
85. John Hughes is like known for like amazing teen comedies. He did like The Breakfast Club, Ferris Bueller's Day Off. This was St Elmo's Fire, one of his first films, and it was like a bit of a like phenomenon, a cultural phenomenon.
It was yeah.
Anthony Michael Hall is like a young dude who's a geek, can't get any friends.
He's just him and another friend.
Him and his pal, and they basically make the perfect girlfriend, kind of thing. So they make the perfect girlfriend with this like a high-powered computer.
Yeah.
And it's all about them and their hijinks with this perfect girlfriend kind of thing. But it is amazing, to be honest.
It's such a good film for its time. It's a
5-star film for me. I would want that going through, to be honest.
Okay, like just to cut you off at the legs there. Is that a phrase? John, you're obviously calling this very strongly. Jono, you're also calling it very strongly. Josh and Nick.
I've never seen it.
Never heard of it.
So I'm happy for it to go through.
I think we have to pull this through if you two feel this strongly.
It's nothing like the comics really, but it's based off that comic. I know it sounds.
Yeah, the idea of the
idea
the girlfriend.
I'm fully.
I'm fine going that through.
Fully on board with it going through.
Even if it doesn't get high on the list, I think you should watch it. Just give it a little go.
Yeah, I'm happy with that.
Fantastic Four, not the remake, the 2005 version.
This is the one with Chris Evans, isn't it?
Yes. So this is where he's playing the Torch.
Yeah.
I am not a fan of Chris Evans.
I mean,
I'm not a fan of Chris Evans as the Torch.
I like him
As
as
anything.
I like him as Captain America. To be fair. I do
actually like him.
Do you know what I see him as? Old Scary Movie Chris Evans.
Was he in Scary Movie?
Yes. Oh my god.
But like,
He's like a little bit.
for the film
he's
though.
he was like a comedy actor, isn't he? He's more like back then. Chris Evans was a comedy actor, and that's what he is for me.
For this film though. Like, I know like, the Silver Surfer was like the sequel, wasn't it, for this series?
Yeah.
I don't know why it's not on there, but to be fair, I wouldn't have rated either of them. I would have rated that higher than this film, the Silver Surfer film.
Okay.
I probably took when I've looked at this and I've sort of put this forward. I probably had the same idea that John was looking at films saying, well, which one of these should be going through, and I picked the original.
Yeah, but I think that's what I did with Hellboy, to be honest.
Yeah.
But with this, I would have picked the Silver Surfer over the two, but I still wouldn't rate it top 20.
I'm guessing there's no strong feelings for this.
No.
Yeah, I mean, I actually kind of like it. It got slammed when it came out, but compared to some of the stuff that comes out nowadays, I think it's quite
I
good.
mean,
But
compared to the
not.
2015 version.
Oh, exactly.
That was even worse.
Yeah.
That was like so bad.
So I'm fine with it not going through.
Feelings not strong enough. Let's kick it back. Now, Kick-Ass and Kick-Ass 2, we're gonna treat as two separate films.
Yes.
So at the end of the day, if both of them were in the top 5, then they will both be in there. But personally, how do we all feel about these?
Right, I would rate the first one higher than the second by a long shot.
Yes.
I love Jim Carrey, but he just wasn't all there in the
No,
second
he's
film
not.
at all. But the first one's a lot better.
Do you prefer Nicolas Cage?
I hate Nicolas Cage.
Do you like him?
I fucking can't stand the guy. But
Not the actor, not the acting or the acting, just the actual guy.
But you should like it then if he gets burnt to death in the first one.
yeah, but like, no, it's a good film. It's a bit daft, but it's different from all other comic book films.
Yeah.
So I'd be genuinely happy with it going in there for discussion. I would be happy, but I wouldn't rate it too highly myself.
I think it's the most realistic of any potential superheroes. If you was going to be a superhero, like Iron Man's really... When I watched it the other day, quite unrealistic. But this, he literally is just a normal, geeky lad. And he does get beat up in it. That is I don't know.
That in itself, though, is where it's not
flawed.
realistic, because some geeky lad would be in his basement, in mum's basement, playing World of Warcraft, not out fighting crime.
In the
Come
second
on now.
one, he does get into pure shape, doesn't he? You see him he goes from being an actual geek
I
into
mean,
being ripped. So
to be fair though, it's got a good cast apart from Nicolas Cage. It's it's got a good cast. It's a good film.
I think Aaron Taylor Johnson's an underrated actor as well. We've seen other films with him in where he truly is.
Just
He
to
was great in Nocturnal Animals.
Exactly.
Just to ask just a general question though, do you see either of these two films hitting the top 20 for our personal?
I don't see either of them personally.
See, I don't. I enjoy them.
Yeah.
But
I think I added them to the list to keep the whole diversity of the the things we were talking about. I kept the diversity.
I reckon we kick both of them back for now. I mean, I enjoy the films. I know they're really well.
And I don't like. I'd be fine with one going through, but I'm fine either way.
Yeah, because one is
nobody seems that bothered. So I really don't think we should.
That's fine. We can move on. We don't even have to talk about number 2 because you can class it with the other one.
Yeah, I think one's definitely better than 2.
We'll move straight on from those two kick-ass films. So I'm gonna. Whilst these two films that I'm about to mention were 26 years apart, these are the 2 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle films that we've actually put through to this little short.
I just need to ask a question about it. Like,
do you want me to mention the films first?
No, go on.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles from 1990, or I'm not saying all, you could both put through, or the Out of the Shadows, which is the 2016.
That's the sequel to the
reboot. Yeah.
The 1990 version, is it live action or cartoon?
Live action.
It's live action.
Yeah.
I've not seen it, so I can't rate that
For
one.
its time, so good.
Is this one with Kevin Nash in it?
No, that's
the
Secret
second
Views.
one.
He plays Super Shredder.
Is that part 2 for that series?
That's part 2 for that
But
series, yeah.
Nick, if you watched it in comparison to this one now, I just feel like you'd like it so much more for its time. For the 26 years difference, I feel like it's better. And
I'm the only one by the 1990 version. I absolutely love it. I think it's amazing.
Yeah.
if you have to compare them,
but
I don't think either of these. I'll be honest. I have not seen the
No,
2016 version. I haven't heard massive ratings for it. I don't think either of these should be in our discussion for the top 20.
Personally, I would 1990 version for me would be very high on the list. But I'm fine with losing it. But have you guys seen it?
I love it. It's a nostalgic film for me.
Like, to give you an idea of how dark it is, the turtles kill Shredder by crushing him in a garbage compactor. Like that's pretty like.
Is that not in the comics as well though?
Yeah, it's a direct adaptation of like the original Eastman and Laird comic. Like
And as a child, I had every toy from that series.
Toys were from the cartoon, Jono, not from the film.
Matter. The film and the comics led to me buying the toys.
But the film was nothing to do with the comic though. The film was its own weird entity. The
I
cartoon
don't know
was this kid's like fluffy
I don't know why
thing.
you're arguing about it. I was just saying I liked it as a film.
No, I'm just saying like the cartoons. People have got this image of the cartoon being this fluffy thing, but the film is like really dark. Like
yeah.
I know what you mean, Jono.
I just meant as a collective, I was a big fan of it all. It didn't have to be the same. It just meant I completed the series by having everything that there was to have about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. That's all I meant.
Yeah,
I meant being nostalgic. I wasn't saying it had to be a direct
right.
comparison.
So we're agreeing that they're not on the list, right?
I think
like I say, I think that should be, but I'm cool with.
I was fine with leaving it go. I was just telling you.
I'll be honest, I do like the characters and like I do have a nostalgic feel for it, but neither of those for me.
You don't like the new way they're saying the characters, do you?
No, I've brought that up in the past about all these renames. Blade.
Right, I enjoyed Blade.
I haven't seen it.
I wouldn't rate.
I think it's a good film.
It's not exactly a comic book film to me. It's just a vampire film kind of thing.
Yeah,
Have I got in my head Ryan Reynolds is in that film?
Yeah,
That's
in the
part
third
3.
one.
That
He wears no top and has a big beard, and so's Triple H out of the WWE. He's in it as well. He's a bodyguard, vampire bodyguard.
Like, as much as I wouldn't rate it as a comic book film, like it was a good film.
Yeah.
Still wouldn't put it in top.
Do you know what's funny?
Personally.
Do you know what it is to me, that film? I used to come home drunk after nights out, and that'd be the film I'd watch.
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea why.
Is this why you stopped drinking?
Basically,
because you chose that film.
No more Blade.
No,
I
Blade.
get why you stopped drinking, John.
Yeah, I don't know why.
I'm not feeling a strong feeling
No.
in this
No,
room.
I like it, but
I put it across so we could
It's
have a
not in the
little
top
mini
10.
discussion
Yeah.
before we.
Yeah, I like having a discussion about it, but I reckon we drop it.
No, that's fine. I just
happy to
wanted
drop
this
that.
mini discussion. That's all.
Next film on our list is Constantine.
Right, I've never seen this film. I just need to ask. There's a series, isn't there? Called
TV show,
Is it the same
Hellblazer.
thing, Constantine?
yeah.
Like
I
it's,
know
so
that.
it's
I've not
so
heard
it's the
this.
magical side of the DC unit. Well, it's more the other comic, isn't it?
DC Vertigo, was it?
Vertigo.
Is that right?
It's Vertigo, isn't it? Is it the same thing?
Yeah, it's a
It is.
Vertigo title, yeah, like Sandman and Preacher, stuff like that.
Is this
Sorry, Vertigo. Just to jump on Vertigo, Vertigo did Fables as well.
Yeah, Fables,
which is one of the best comic series I've ever
Yeah.
seen. Now, if they had a film, that'd be on this list.
Oh, but as comics, that is good. But the film, isn't that the Keanu Reeves film?
Keanu Reeves.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's why it's bad.
See, I haven't seen it.
No, I like the film.
That's why I love it. Yeah, Keanu Reeves.
I like Constantine. I
Yeah.
think it was a dead good film.
Right, we've got 2 people here saying that this is a really good film.
You can totally
Can
put that
we go to
through.
Josh for this? The devil at the end. How cool is the devil at the end of the film when he Peter Stormare playing the devil comes on like a white suit?
Yeah.
Would like Josh and John? I'm looking at you two as the two who are pushing this one. Would you put this in your top 20?
Compared to everything else that's been put through, no.
Okay.
But I'd recommend to watch it.
I'd recommend to
Yeah.
read the comics as well.
So it's a recommend, but it's probably not making the list.
No.
Going back to
Yeah.
my rule from before, I wouldn't give that 5 stars to be honest.
Do you want to know my rule before? Change the fucking actor in it. Take Keanu Reeves out and it makes
See,
it
I've
better.
got no problem with Keanu Reeves because he plays a certain character. If it worked in that film, which I haven't seen,
It does.
I think for me with Keanu Reeves, like he can be a bad actor, he can be, but like the fact that he's just an all-round nice guy just makes me love him.
Yeah.
I think
That's
it's just a
not-
likeable presence.
Well, when
He's
you
just,
said
he
that-
just, it's just, I just like watching
I
him.
think
I
Nick
do,
Cage
yeah.
is me. I don't think he's a great actor, but I like the man.
I like Nick Cage.
I
as
like
well.
Nick Cage. Have you seen Con Air? It's like an amazing
I know.
film.
Have
I
you seen
think-
Knowing? I love him in
Oh,
Knowing.
Knowing's boss when he's like running around the house, he's like trying to.
We need to have a proper discussion on Knowing or something.
We
I've got some very strong opinions about that.
We
film.
will have to
film.
go on to these ones at another time, yeah, I reckon.
One of the greatest films ever until the last 10 seconds.
Yeah,
We'll
it makes
move-
it daft.
Move on for now. We'll drop that. Now we're going to talk about these two as treat them as separate
They're
films.
completely separate.
Yeah.
X-Men. Well, they are very separate if you think about it. X-Men and X-Men First Class. They're the last two that are going to sort of join our list of. There's around 20 films in our sort of final shortlist at the moment.
It's like polar opposites, them two.
They
so
are.
They are very, very different films. So do either of these films make it into our list?
The first X-Men does for me.
The one from
Oh, really?
2000.
Oh, no, I
Can
disagree.
anyone refresh me on the first one?
First one,
I
Lion
also
Soul
like- yeah.
goes to the Statue of Liberty and tries to mutate all of New York. Does that ring a bell?
Nope, really. I have seen the film, and on the basis that I have no memory of what you've just said, I'm going to not put that forward.
I mean,
It's not great.
I've got to admit, I love them both.
What about
They're both
first-
5-star films.
That's
for
why I
me.
put them across.
What about First Class? Can you refresh me
I
on
love
that one?
First Class as well.
Set in like the Cold War in 1967, I think.
Yeah, it's the one with the younger.
The younger
Yeah,
cast.
young cast. Michael Fassbender
It's the first time you see them.
is Magneto when
So
he's.
as Magneto, he's still good in that
Oh,
film.
he's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I don't mean as an actor. I mean he's still on the good side.
Oh.
I'm not a big fan of the younger cast either, so on that, I'm not putting that forward.
I would have to agree with Nick. I love First Class, but I'd have to agree with Nick. I wouldn't put either of them in.
I've got to admit, I mean, I love them both, but I've already put through Days of Future Past, so
Which
I think
is-
you can get rid of them both.
It sounds like we're all in agreement that whilst we've all enjoyed those films, they're not getting through to this list.
I mean, they would do for me, but I'm fine.
I feel
with
like
these.
Jono's got more points. Have you got any
Yeah.
points to put these forward? Have you got any reasons why these should go into the shortlist?
No, because you know what I'm doing? I'm thinking of the other films in the list, like we've
have
that
some
we've
top
already
films.
put through. I think for me it'd probably they'd just be outside that list.
Okay. All right. Well, we have our final list together for our final discussion here. Look like you need a break there, John. We've actually randomly managed to get a list of 20 films.
Oh,
so we actually do.
We've actually got 20.
I just counted them. We've got a list of 20. So we are going to make our top 20 list that year.
That's perfect.
Which is a perfectly. I'm very OCD with my numbers, so I'm very happy about that.
Happy with
But
that.
let's take a quick break and then come back.
Fantastic.
All right, let's go through the list again. Iron Man, the original Iron Man. Go for it, Josh. Open your beer.
Thank you.
Live on the air. Iron Man. Definitely makes top 20 for me. I'm going to call it a strong film. Do we all agree it's a strong film? 'Cause if it is, I'll leave it at the preliminary top spot, and we will replace it as we go along if we see fit.
Yeah, that's not.
I think it's a great film. I think in regards to an origins superhero film, it's the best.
Yeah.
It's good. It's a good point. I think it's possible. I'd have to think further on that, but
It was an amazing kick-off for the entire MCU. Yeah, like
if you look at it with that,
because I'm obviously a big fan of the MCU, and I thought it was a brilliant start to it all. Like,
I agree.
I'm an amazing fan of like films that you don't have to be. You've got money. You know, if you're a standard person and you want to be a superhero, there's ways you can be one, and this, along with Batman.
I mean, you say standard person, but like he's not exactly a standard.
I know.
He's
He's
a
a really
multi.
rich man.
He's a multi-millionaire.
Like I say, like best superpower to have is money. because you can buy or make whenever you want. Like, he's a genius as well. Like, from
So,
watching the film, like,
Are we putting that
Preliminary, top.
It's just gonna start
first
then, we've
place.
got
It's
to
going to start
replace it.
off in first place. Then
in?
we'll replace it.
Okay, we're leaving it in first place.
Do we think Superman from 1978? How I don't see personally. I don't know how high up the list this is going to go.
Like I was mentioned before, I think it was a good film, Superman 1, but I'd definitely put Superman 2 higher than that on the list. Like, I'd even potentially put Superman 2 as higher than Superman 1.
yeah,
Like,
it's as you were saying, it's an
Yeah.
origins film, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's
How do we feel about that?
Pretty much the first comic book film.
Yeah,
Real comic book film.
yeah.
Do
and
we feel Superman 2 is a better film than Superman?
I
think-
don't, just because it's a bit messy. It gets a bit messy at points, but they're both amazing films. Superman 1 and 2. This is why I was kind of sticking to my one film thing, because I can't decide between these two. They're both so good like that.
I equally put them before. I said I couldn't split them, so it'd have to be someone else that would split that for me. So I'll abstain from saying which one's better.
I have to abstain because I don't remember
That'd
watching
be-
these films.
Well,
Down to you, Nick.
okay then. For me, Superman 2, it's got amazing villains with the oh god, what are they called, John?
General Zod.
General Zod. That's it.
Zod's
Obviously, we've seen
Kneel
him,
before Zod.
we've seen him recently in Batman v Superman, have we not? Or is it Superman 1?
Oh, sorry, yeah. Batman vs. Man of Steel.
Man of
sorry.
Steel, sorry. We've seen him in the new ones, which
Yeah.
was, in my opinion, awful. But that's another story for another day. But General Zod and his little crew were amazing. Like, I just like when they first flew down,
Yeah.
like in their little tight leather suits, it was amazing. And
So just a bit of a fact on that as well. Originally, they were filmed back to back, Superman 1 and 2.
oh, yeah.
But Richard Donner got fired halfway through. And the original plan was, at the end of Superman 1 would be them landing on the moon, going free.
All right, okay.
And then it'd tie into straight into part 2, but because they changed directors, they didn't do that. But
No, that's fine. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I thought you were going to
No,
say
no,
something.
it's just, yeah.
You're like,
No, I wasn't doing it to do have a go.
Oh.
Like,
John, I get the point you were saying before about having to try and split these films.
that's the thing, they were filmed back to back. They were almost like one big film in a way, you know what I mean? So it's just so hard for me to do it, but...
Like, if I was to put my vote forward, I would definitely put Superman 2 like higher than Superman 1.
I'd go forward in saying that these films could very well be films 19 and 20. I don't know yet, but maybe the feeling seems more passionate towards Superman 2 being higher than
I'm
Superman.
cool with that. I mean, personally, I'd put them both ahead of Iron Man, but...
Look at the microphone when you're speaking, John. you're looking away from the microphones.
But yeah, I'm cool with Superman 2.
Okay.
I was saying, like I was going to say, Superman 1's got Gene Hackman in.
Yeah.
He's Lex Luthor. But
2's got a Terrence Stamp as General Zod.
yeah,
Just to, like, off what you were just saying then, I would, like, as much as I am an MCU fan, I would probably put Superman 2 above Iron Man myself.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, really?
I would actually put that above Iron
DC.
Man.
Yeah.
I think there's a factor as well, it's with it being the first comic book franchise. It's just so iconic, you know, Christopher Reeve, everyone
Yeah,
knows,
really
like,
is,
you know.
Are we going to put the argument forward that Superman 2 and Superman 1 should be above?
I wouldn't put, I personally wouldn't put Superman 1.
Are you splitting these
I
films in the
think-
order?
I would. I would put Superman
happy
2
with that.
first
Yeah.
and then Iron Man.
If I was going to delve into that, I'd say it's because of the villains within the film, because Lex Luthor's not really got any powers, as he's just a really
is he?
rich, high profile figure.
He's still great though. I mean, he kills Lois Lane in the first one.
Yeah,
so.
but I'm talking more like General Zod and the other two people that he brings down with him. They're from the home planet that Superman's from, so he's got to beat 3 people.
Yeah, 3 Kryptonites.
Kryptonians.
Kryptonians.
I'm still looking at the 3 films we spoke about, which is Superman 2, Superman 1 and Iron Man. And in the wrestling world, we would call these jobbers.
What?
Oh,
I'm calling these jobbers.
They're not
No,
jobbers. We'll
these are
see.
not
We'll
well-
see later on.
Josh mentioned earlier, in terms of origin stories, these are the best for me.
Yeah.
Superman and Iron Man are probably 2 of the very best origin
So this is
stories.
for both superpowers in the comic industry. They're the origins for both.
No, I understand that, and I understand what we're saying. Like I said, I agreed with Josh when he said that Iron Man's origin might be one of the best origin stories.
Yeah.
However, in my Iron Man would probably make the top 10 for me, for my personal list.
Yeah,
It wouldn't for me, but
I agree.
I mean, I would put Iron Man above Superman, but that's because I haven't seen Superman in
Yeah.
decades. Right?
That's literally it.
I think just in terms of being iconic again, Superman basically made the comic book franchise, the whole comic book
Yeah, of course,
movie
of course.
franchise kind of thing.
Josh?
It's just a stupid question. You can cut this out. What's a jobber?
You probably don't have to go to that.
A jobber or a jobby?
A jobber
just make up the numbers?
Well, a jobber in wrestling terms is the one that loses to make the winner look better. So for me, I'm looking at the Superman and Superman 2 and Iron Man. That these are not making the top 5 in my world. Now, save your opinions just now.
Okay.
But these are your
Benchmark.
mid-level.
Benchmarkers.
Yeah, they're your subs. They're not
Right.
getting in your first team.
I mean,
So-
we've only mentioned 3 films so far, so like
It will get.
it might be worth going through more of them before
Yeah.
we
Okay, well,
start talking about
let's-
top 5.
But yeah, current order seems fair to our
like
discussed.
for the ones we've talked about, I'm happy with that.
That's
Superman
so far.
2, Iron Man, and then Superman.
So far.
We're splitting the Supermans. Are you happy with that?
I am happy with it.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the Avengers. Now, for me personally, I think the Avengers jumps above all of these in the list, but I'm quite happy to be told I'm wrong.
It depends how you look at it, because you couldn't really have an Avengers without
Iron Man.
Iron Man.
But we're trying to look at this as in this is our comic film list.
As a
Now-
as a film, I think
Yeah.
we're talking.
Are you going as a film? Then?
You don't want to because then if you're gonna say, oh, what's the most important superhero?
It'd
It's just going to be
obviously be-
Superman and Batman at the top, and then that's
Yeah.
not the way we.
Because it's going to be
Okay.
the original, isn't it? Yeah.
Then that's how I would look at it. That I enjoyed the Avengers film. I remember enjoying it quite a lot when I came out of it. I said that's one of the best superhero films I'd ever seen at that point. Now my opinion sort of waned a bit over the years on it, but it's still up there in the conversation. The first Avengers.
I'm inclined to agree with you.
Sorry, I
Really,
said the
huh?
first Avengers as if it was the Captain America film.
Ah,
the
right.
first Avenger. But the actual first Avengers film definitely, I think it's up above.
Okay.
I'm with you. I think
I
it's
actually agree.
better than all of them.
I've not seen it, so I can't comment.
Well,
If
preliminarily,
you just want it above,
yeah,
Well,
preliminarily we put it
I'm
forward.
happy with that. Yeah.
Another point as well, I wouldn't normally bring like box office and stuff into it, but I think it's quite relevant for comic book films. They're so kind of based around how much money they make, in terms of whether they're going to get sequels or not. The Avengers is the second biggest film of all time.
I don't.
behind
Yeah.
No,
Titanic, so-
I don't think you can.
Sorry,
use
third
that.
biggest film of all
I think it's
time.
worth bringing up. It's definitely worth
I
bringing
don't
into
think
the
you can
discussion.
because look at the age gaps between the films. You can't base box
Oh,
office
even
on age
even
gaps.
inflation taken into account,
Are you sure?
The Avengers is still the third biggest film of all time.
Really?
Yeah,
That
it's like nearly like $2 billion
is that after Titanic and
behind Avatar and
Avatar,
Titanic.
yeah.
Yeah.
Which, I mean,
Are they the biggest films of all time?
I think that's
Yeah.
a fair argument you can make that is a better film than, let's say, Superman from '78.
Well,
So,
I mean,
that's
that
the
was,
argument.
but that was massive. That was probably
No,
one of
yeah.
the biggest films of the time when
At
it
its
came out.
time.
But,
Yeah, probably a bad example of the list that we've already done.
but like the Avengers, it was massive, and Joss Whedon did such a good job of like balancing how many heroes was it? 7 or 8 or something.
Yeah,
Four.
it was a lot.
He's got Captain America 4. He's got Hulk.
Hulk,
He's got Iron Man. He's got there's a lot of heroes
Black
in that,
Widow.
and he did a fantastic job with them all.
And that is the most fun I've had with a Marvel film coming out of the cinema. I loved the Avengers when I
And you're
first
not a
watched
fan,
it.
are you?
I'm not a massive fan of the
And
MCU stuff.
that alone, the fact that a guy who's categorically
Yeah.
against
I
Marvel
wouldn't say you're categorically against
No, he just-
Marvel.
No, yeah, not against Marvel, but
Just doesn't like them.
we've mentioned comedy before as well. Like this film's funny.
Yeah.
When Loki's in the middle of a speech, like trying to berate the Hulk, and he just picks him up and starts whacking him on the foot.
Yeah,
That's just visual humour. That's
Yeah.
not like
I mean, for now, I'm quite happy having that as our sort of number one.
I'm game with that.
I agree.
Let's move on to Captain America: Civil War. Can I just
No.
make my point known about this first?
Go ahead.
Captain America 1, I really did not like. Really did not.
I
like.
agree
Agreed.
with that.
Absolutely agreed.
Winter Soldier is the second one. Am I right in saying
Yeah,
is
that's
that
correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, not seen it, so
Civil
can't.
War is the one that feels to me like it's an Avengers film.
Yeah.
So it's like an ensemble
I
cast.
feel like that's the way it was meant to be.
Yeah, so I remember watching this film thinking, this is the best Captain America film I've seen. How do we all feel about that? Do we think this is
agreed.
the best?
I feel like the reason it's the best one is because he's not a good hero at all. I don't enjoy watching him at all. Like the Winter Soldier was good because the Winter Soldier was in the film. He made that film. Captain America is a crap hero to watch.
Right, I've
He
never
really
watched.
but like this one, we've got Black Panther, we've got Iron Man, we've got Captain America, we've got Black Widow, we've got Hawkeye, we've got all of these. Spider-Man made an appearance.
Yeah,
Ant-Man, Giant Man. We've got all these heroes that made an appearance, and like that made the film. But I wouldn't put it top 10.
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
See, I would. I'd put it above Avengers.
Oh well, yeah. I think the Avengers does what that film does, but a lot better. Basically, the Avengers already done what that did.
So
You're saying Avengers is above
I think. I mean, for me, it's bottom of the list so far.
just
Civil
for a reason.
just to remind myself, Civil War is the one where Ant-Man turns up in like a van. And
Yeah.
They all have a big fight
Yeah,
scene.
yeah.
That fight scene's incredible.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't agree. I think
See,
it's
like-
boring, visually
Really
uninteresting. Yeah.
Interesting that. Yeah,
It
I
looks
love
like
that.
shit. The whole film looks like shit. It's digital.
Oh,
Digital photography.
strong words that. As fighting
Be
words
fighting
then.
in a car park. It grey, boring, bland. I just don't like any of
Okay,
it.
yeah, fair, all right.
Right? I love MCU, we know this, and the fact that all of these heroes are in this, like, gave me a bit of a nerdgasm. It really did. But the fight wasn't good. It just wasn't. Like, it was just like, we had Ant-Man, and it was like, okay, he can go big. Like, that like, they were just basically feeding the nerds.
Alright, let's just make the argument now. Is that some of these films are going to be twinged with a certain set of nostalgia, right? So we are going to have to encounter that. I think this film, the point you're making, is that there is a level of fan service in that film. Where it's like, look at this superhero, look at his cool thing, look at his cool thing and his cool moment, and then all the fans go, "Oh, that's amazing," because that's what I did. I was like, "That's dead cool," and that's Josh. That's what you've done because you've enjoyed that fight scene as well.
Absolutely.
On the same thing, like, I loved Tom Holland as Spider-Man in this film. I thought that was the absolute pinnacle of Spider-Man. I thought that was brilliant. Like, Spider-Man, like, if that was Spider-Man how Spider-Man should be in that film. I thought that was absolutely brilliant. Like, if anything, Spider-Man might have been the highlight of the film for me.
Is that not a bad thing because the film's not about him?
I know, but like like John said before, the fight scene seemed very much car parky.
Can I jump in there? Like, I don't know why, how they pulled it off, but the Avengers, the fight in New York at the end feels like it matters. Like, there's lives at stake. That fight to me just felt like a play fight almost. They even reference it in the fight, don't they? Like, we're actually punching people here. Like, they're pulling the punches basically in the fight.
That's it. They weren't trying to do anything. They were just fighting for no apparent reason, and it didn't make sense.
And at the end of it all, Black Widow
It felt to me like it was a big film, and the whole point of the film was to introduce Black Panther, Spider-Man, and that was it. There wasn't any other reason for it apart from as maybe a precursor to the Infinity Wars.
Definitely.
I think if anything, it was a precursor to that film, and it was basically saying, right, the reason Infinity Wars is going to be so good is because of this. I don't think any other reason for it being a good film.
And that's another thing why I like the Avengers so much. It felt like the culmination of all these heroes coming together and the pinnacle of something, whereas that just feels like more set up for something to come in the future.
Yeah, that's it. It was a big setup for a future film. It wasn't a film that...
Yeah, do you feel that the Avengers was kind of like the first peak, and then this was a smaller peak of the ensemble cast? Maybe?
Well, for me, it's peaked with the Avengers, and it's been gradually downhill.
Gradually, like with little peaks, but the peaks again. It's like
but
diminishing.
not up, for me, not up where the Avengers was kind of thing.
I can agree with you on that.
Yeah.
Do we like of the films we've discussed? Are we saying this is the worst?
I'm putting that at the bottom of the list.
Are we really? Because I still put that above. Again, I personally would put that below the Avengers, but above Superman 2 and Iron Man.
I would definitely put that at the bottom of the list myself.
I can agree with you on it.
I'd put it above Iron Man. I would have put it at the top, but after Nick's argument, I do agree with him, to be fair. It was an introduction to other films, but I still put it above Iron Man.
I can't agree with that at all. It's got, like... I can maybe stretch to it going above Superman, but it's got to go below Iron Man. It's got to.
I agree with Nick, but I'm in like a weird zone here because I think it's not better than Iron Man, but I think Iron Man 3 is better than Iron Man. So I just don't know. I don't know what I think anymore.
Just vote.
Should we put it to a vote? I mean, I think it looks like it's either going to go above or below Iron Man. That looks to me where it's going to go. Superman 2's going to stay above it, and Superman 1's going to stay below it. That's just the madness of how we're going to do this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's fine.
Even though we were all saying earlier, we don't know how we're going to split these films apart, right? But I think Captain America Civil War goes above Iron Man. That's my personal vote. Let's go around the room, Nick.
I'm voting for it between Iron Man and Superman. So, like, just below Iron Man.
Just below Iron Man. Josh?
Above Iron Man.
I'm with Nick, below Iron Man.
So we're down to a final vote with Jono, who's not actually seen the film.
John, do you want a beer or anything, mate?
Do you like some money?
On the argument you've based, I'd put it below.
Okay.
Because it doesn't endear me to want to watch it. From the argument you've made, it sounds like they're trying to put so many people into one film with no actual purpose other than for something else that's to come. Build it for that film, not for something else.
For now,
Does that make sense?
For now, I will go with the tide on that, and I will just say Iron Man was a better film than Captain America.
And I know we'd agreed that because I've not seen it, or if you've not seen it, you shouldn't have an input.
It's
but
not so much that you're making the final input on this, but like talking to you about it and like, having to listen to this, having to listen to it. I made a bad choice. Like, I get how the arguments are coming across, and like listening to the argument can sort of.
That's how it has to be for me. That's how, I can't base it any other way.
Iron Man's a great film. Do you know what I mean?
That's something I've seen and I did like it, but the way you've made that other film out, it didn't come above it for me.
Let's move on to the next film. This is going to be like quite a polarising discussion.
Yeah,
we've covered this on its own episode on its own.
What episode was that? Do we know?
If
anyone wants to go, if anyone wants to have a look,
episode 4 was it?
Let's go past that. It's fine. Let's just talk about the film.
We covered this on episode 4 of Don't Spoil the Ending. So we've all watched this recently and talked quite in depth about it.
Yeah.
Watchmen.
See,
for me, this goes straight to the top of the list on the films we discussed.
What?
Straight to the top.
Wow.
I can't agree with that.
Right.
I'd love to. Let me make my points, and then we can.
I'll listen to your points. You'll go ahead.
Watchmen is it's a film that's been crafted with a lot of care. I think you can tell that. It's got great characters. It's got a dark tone to it. It's got a lot in that film. We've all watched it and we've all enjoyed it to a maximum amount. Well, maybe not that maximum amount, but I gave this 5 stars. I wasn't the only person who gave this 5 stars. This film, for me, is one of the best comic films ever. One of the best.
Yeah, on that, for me, Watchmen is the only film we've covered so far, I think, that's a direct adaptation of a comic book.
Yeah.
And the reason it's so good, it's nothing to do with the film. It's Alan Moore, the author of the comic book. These other films were all they are loosely based on, comic plot lines, but they're very much their own thing. Watchmen is word for word from the comic.
Yeah, it'd be
so I find
there's only that slight adaptation, isn't there? Where it's the change towards right end.
That for me doesn't take away from the film though. That still makes for a fantastic film. That film is amazing. It's cool. Categorically, that is a 5-star film. I mean, I might have probably rated it lower at the time, but I still think it's a really highly rated film. In my opinion.
No, I agree. Just because it's based almost like John, you're saying, you know best about this because you've actually owned the book. Just because it's based very, very closely on the actual comic, that is not a negative. That is not a negative at all. You have to look at the film and go, did I enjoy that film? And think you gave it 4.5 on the extended version.
Yeah. All my films are 5 stars. I didn't give it 5 stars.
For me, it's got to be in the discussion for the highest part of this list. In the discussion,
for me, at least. No, I don't think it's top 10 for me personally.
I mean, if I were to just put my input, if I were to give it a place in the list that we've given right now, I would plonk that straight at number 3.
You put that below Superman 2 and
I
Avengers?
Would place that below them 2, yes.
I don't like this.
Yeah, personally, I go number 4, but...
Really?
Yeah.
Fuck me. I mean, Watchmen for me is a masterpiece. For me personally.
But that's you. I'd put it at 4, what you're saying as well.
I go 4.
So
I didn't give it a 5.
No, yeah.
Right.
I'm not saying like everyone gave it a 5. I'm saying like I personally gave it a 5.
So at this point, right, we're at a stalemate again.
Yeah.
No, it's not. We're not at a stalemate. No.
But we've got one person who hasn't seen the film.
Nope.
So we need to try and explain the film to Josh and try and get another point like we've done with Civil War.
Yeah.
To see if we can get a rating based on that.
Josh, let me speak to you directly.
Okay.
Hi, Josh.
Okay. Hi.
Basically, Watchmen. It's a film. Obviously.
No.
The Watchmen comic, as we should do. Listen back to episode 4.
I've listened to a lot of it.
Yeah, well, Watchmen is a film that it ticks a lot of boxes that a lot of other superhero films I personally don't think tick. There's a lot. It's a long film. It's a 3.5 hour long film, but Nick, you said this. I remember this from the episode we recorded. We'd sat there and watched it, and were just absolutely, completely absorbed by the film. I know you're saying it should be lower in the list than I think it should be. Nick, I'm looking at you.
No, I fully agree. Like, I was fully absorbed by this film.
Absolutely absorbed, and that film for me is a masterpiece, 5-star film. Now, it's because there's so much in there that is just not seen normally in a comic film. You've got dead children, right? Nobody likes dead children, but that's what's happening on there. You've got nuclear war almost, you have strange relationships going on between like godlike creatures and like a human. A lot of the characters in the film don't have superpowers. Like they've not got superpowers on it.
It's largely a film about. I think someone said it in the podcast. It's a film of like the superheroes are more mental issues. Like it's a collection of like personality disorders rather than superheroes.
It's got a lot on there. It's morally, we've spoke about it on episode 4. Morally, that film, you can come out of that film with a very different opinion of what you thought you would have going into it. It's got an element of politics in it as well, and what is the right decision to make.
I'm not trying to catch you out or anything, but everything you've just mentioned is why the comic book is a masterpiece. Not so much what's good about the film that you like technically the film, anything.
There's no adaptation involved. It's like
that's not a negative. That's not a negative.
No, I like where the majority of it comes from the comic. But this is bang on everything.
Sorry, can I just jump in back on this? Like John, you're saying that. What's your opinion of the comic?
Well, for me, the comic is an absolute masterpiece.
Okay, sorry, can I just stop you? You just said the comic is a masterpiece, right? Yeah. The film is a direct adaptation of a masterpiece comic. So you're rating the film lower than the comic, saying that it's not a masterpiece.
My next point was that the comic is an absolute masterpiece. The film, in a lot of ways, botches some of the adaptation. It's a good film, 4.5, but I mentioned on the show, it didn't convey to me a lot of stuff in the film successfully the way it did in the comic. I mentioned the Ozymandias bit at the end of the film. It just doesn't feel the same the way the film does it.
Yeah,
I feel like that's a bit of open for debate, that, because in the podcast that we did, you said at the end he did this big speech and you felt like
I felt like he regretted what he did straight away.
But me and Nick didn't get that.
We literally felt this when we watched the film, didn't we?
Yeah.
We felt that was portrayed.
Yeah, I mean, I might have got a bit of that, but it's just not to the extent I got from the comic. The comic was so much better at conveying just everything than the film was. It felt like they were going through the motions at parts, just...
Okay, well, I sort of made my argument for... I feel like I made most of the argument that I needed to make for that to be a highly rated film, and like I said, for me, it's an absolutely...
Are you going for top spot, though?
For now...
It's a big shout out for top spot.
For me, well, for the films we've talked about up to now, this is the best film. That's what I'm just going out and saying it.
Yeah, I don't agree.
Everyone won't agree, but I think this is the best one we've discussed up to now. But let's look at the films and see where people think it should be dropping. I think it should be top of the list. It's easy for me. John, let's come to you.
Mine was fourth. Mine was below Iron Man.
Below Iron Man, better than Captain America: Civil War.
From what you
lower than Iron Man.
Well, I've seen Watchmen, so I know it.
Yeah.
John,
I'm going 4 as well.
You really are?
Yeah.
I'm going for number 3. Spot number 3.
Above Iron Man.
Just
better film than Iron Man.
Sorry, below Iron Man. I'm
below Iron Man.
Just above Superman 2.
So you're going 4, like us.
What?
Well,
Iron Man's 3rd.
Right, sorry. That's what I'm saying. Number 3.
So you
below Superman 2, above Iron Man.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I for the sake of argument, I'm going to have to fall on that side of the fence that it's better than Iron Man, but not as good as the Avengers or Superman 2. Whilst I feel sad saying that, for the sake of the podcast, the list that we're creating, I understand the feeling about it. Yeah. I'd be happy putting it above Iron Man. I think it's a better film than Iron Man. It's a better story adaptation. I know Iron Man's a really, really good film. Watchmen for me is better.
I personally prefer Iron Man, but I'm cool putting it there though, number 3.
Because you've gone for top spot, so to have a
compromise again,
balance, third is.
I'm saying third.
Are we having the final decision by Josh by the arguments that we've given?
I don't
based on the fact that Civil War was based on that decision.
But it is only 3rd or 4th, yeah. So.
But this is it.
So I feel based on what you've heard, Josh, would you say Iron Man's better than what Joe has put forward?
I think that's a bit of a duff argument though, because Josh has seen Iron Man. He's not seen Watchmen.
I know,
I mean,
but
Josh
but
Iron Man.
but Jono hadn't seen Civil War.
Oh no, but that was like 2v2, and he was the deciding factor. This is like 2 4s, a third, and a 1. You know what I mean? It's not a kind of 2v2.
It's like that. That's yes.
Yeah.
Like, that's what the
I
point I was trying to get. Is like, I honestly think this.
But
Should
yeah,
be
but
really
if we're gonna do this, like basically we're saying like, is it higher than
third
Iron
or
Man or
fourth?
lower than
That's
Iron
all
Man?
good.
So
Oh
we've
yeah,
got-
yeah, I'm cool with that.
So,
yeah.
so
3 or
like
4.
like
Yeah, Josh could have the final say on that.
that's
Yeah.
what I'm saying.
So I thought you meant like Josh would say it's number 1 or
No,
something.
no, I'm not saying that. Basically, Josh, from the arguments you've heard, would you say that Watchmen is higher than Iron Man or lower than Iron Man, based on what Joe was told?
Just based on the one argument I've heard, and to be fair, I'd like to hear someone else's
I mean,
counter argument.
I mean, I will put mine forward, and what I'm saying is right. It is a fantastic work of art. It really is.
work about that's what I.
It is a work of art. It really is. Like Zack Snyder has done a fucking amazing job at this film. It's a dark and it's a gritty film, and it proper makes you feel. It makes you feel. It does. It gets you think. Like there's this one scene where like one hero walks into the thing, and it's just like it's basically a dead child's like remains almost in like a fire, and like a dog eating this child's leg, and you're just like going fucking hell.
There's a scene where there's an attempted rape of like one of the characters by one of the other main characters who's a bad person who does bad things during the film, but he's one of the main characters. It's like Nick did make a few sort of supporting points for that, but to sort of get the other side across, should we get a sort of a more negative?
No, I've not got a negative one. I've got a statement. I would have said this is Zack Snyder's best film
I agree.
that he's ever done.
Definitely.
Now, I will say, it sounds like a brilliant film, but from what you've all described, and again, I'm probably completely wrong, because bear in mind, I've never seen the film, never even seen a trailer for the film, so I literally know nothing about the film, but you've described to me a lesser Sin City.
Oh, it's better than Sin City. We'll come on to Sin City.
It's definitely higher than.
It's a good comparison though. Definitely, it is comparable.
I would say comparable, but I would also say Sin City is the poor man's Watchmen.
So based on just what, again, the little I know, I'd put it below.
See,
Iron
like
Man.
that's that. You're all making the argument for fourth and third, but I'm making the argument this should be at the top. So I honestly think that should balance out at third.
Wait, are you saying this should be
third
at number 4 or number 3?
4.
You're putting it at number 4.
Yeah.
See, I'm saying 3. I'm saying 3 after we've.
I'd say
Again, you
general
can class-
consensus is fine.
I'm happy either way. I'll be honest.
You can class mine as
I
half
said
of a
4,
vote
but I'm
because
happy
I've
either
never
way.
seen it.
I'm not gonna lie. I want to put this at number 3. We can maybe come back to it.
No, right, go on.
Yeah.
We'll let you have number 3 because I don't have. It doesn't bother me either way if it's 3 or
To be
4.
fair, we've got
Great.
more films to
got more
to cover. I'm perfectly happy with it being number 3 at this point because
You said the same.
that's number 2.
You said the same. It doesn't matter to you whether it's 3 or 4.
I'll compromise either
We'll
way.
let you have number 3.
I'm telling you now, Watchmen's going. For my personal list, it's in the top 5. I know that will not be in the top 5 for this list the way this is going, but
Let's
I'm
just
happy
let's
for
just
that at number 3
let's
at the
just
moment.
continue.
We'll let you have number 3 because we'll.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's just continue at what we're doing.
So we're going to go on to the Batman Begins. This is the Christopher Nolan trilogy.
Right.
Now we're also going to argue about this.
Yeah.
Can I put my point forward first?
Of course you can.
Because I didn't like the trilogy, like as a whole. I
Can I just
just
point in?
wasn't a fan of the trilogy. Like, right, I like Batman. He's a good hero and all. The first film I just didn't care for. The second
Right.
film I liked because what's his name?
Heath
Joker.
Ledger.
Heath Ledger was absolutely amazing as the Joker. He was phenomenal in that role, and that made the film for me. And the third film, The Dark Knight Rises, like Tom Hardy, brilliant.
Bane is.
But that film in general was just crap. It was just boring. It was just a whole film of Batman in a hole, and I'm not into that.
I don't get this argument at all.
Right,
So
so
we'll come to you, John.
I will put The Dark Knight at. I'd give it a generally good rating, like purely because of the fact that Heath Ledger made it a good film, but I wouldn't rate it. All.
Should we, all right, like we'll go on to Josh. Josh, let's talk about these 3 films and sort of decipher which films are higher and which ones are lower, and then we can put them in the list.
So I'd ask anyone to disagree with me and interrupt, but I couldn't agree more with Nick. First one was I couldn't even remember it. It was that. Well, no, I can't remember it,
That's
but
not
it
an
was.
argument, though,
It
is
was
it?
no. I can remember it, but it was forgettable.
Yeah.
It was that type of film where it was completely forgettable. And I asked myself, in regards to The Dark Knight, yes, Heath Ledger was great, but is everyone saying that because he died?
Like,
I went there.
And the same with number 3. Don't get me wrong, it was a good film. In my opinion, it was the best of those 3. Number 3 was the best. But, again, if it wasn't for that cinema tragedy, would everyone just say it wasn't the best thing?
Can I jump in?
Yes, no,
Give an
please.
opinion? You've both said Batman Begins was forgettable.
Yeah.
Batman Begins is a good film. It's forgettable. I agree. It's the worst of that trilogy
Yeah.
for me personally.
It's a builder. for me.
Batman: The Dark Knight, the one with Heath Ledger as the Joker.
Although I don't agree with that at all. But
John, we'll come to
forgettable.
No, we'll come to you, John. Wait your turn.
Go.
Batman: The Dark Knight is one of the best films ever made. Forget comic films. This is one of the best films ever
No,
made.
it really is, yeah.
Dark Knight should be. Dark Knight is.
Wait,
just,
we're not even on the Dark Knight yet. We're doing all in one go. Sorry,
yeah,
okay.
we'll come to you, John.
No, I thought we were doing one by one, but we're doing all 3 at the same
We're
go.
sort of giving our opinions on all 3.
Right, okay.
But yeah, like I said, Batman: The Dark Knight is one of the best films ever created.
Yeah, I
because
agree, I
because
agree.
it is. It's not just because Heath Ledger died.
No.
He may have won the Oscar because of that. I wouldn't know. But in terms of that film is. I know I've just spouted me fucking nonsense about Watchmen being one of the best films ever. This is one of the best actual, not just comic. This is one of the best films ever. And for me, this Batman: The Dark Knight goes straight to number 1 on this list that we've discussed up to now. It has to go right to the top. I watched this recently. This film is a masterpiece. I'm just saying it. This is a 6-star film.
You've used masterpiece twice, but this.
But you can
this
have more
isn't-
than one masterpiece. Watchmen and Dark Knight for me are both masterpieces.
But-
Watchmen is Snyder's masterpiece. This is Nolan's
This
masterpiece.
is another level of quality to Watchmen.
Yeah, no, I agree. Well, let me. I'll give me opinion on Dark Knight Rises, then we'll move to you, John. Dark Knight Rises, for me, amazing film, really top film. Tom Hardy as Bane, great, loved it. Even though there are strange things about it that don't correlate with the old Bane, but if you look into why they've done that, it's to make him more understandable in the film. Because the first edit of the film, you can hear him and he's just like, oh, and you can't really hear what he's saying, but they ended up remixing the sound so that you can hear him properly. But that also meant that he, at some points, if you don't like it, you could say that's a stupid voice.
The really posh voice, they've added that because that
Yeah.
was not how it was supposed to be.
I was not born in the darkness. I was moulded by it. It is
I
mental.
didn't know there was 2 different versions.
So yeah, if they ever release the first edit of the film, that's not what he sounds like.
Oh, the
It's
only...
supposed to be really gruff.
No, they only did that because it was literally unintelligible.
Yeah,
when
that's
they,
what I'm saying.
The first one.
Yeah, but they literally re-edited
Well,
it.
the first trailer they did was with the original audio, and no one could understand what he was saying.
No.
So they went back and redubbed the whole film.
I had no problem with how Bane sounded because it just
I love
added
it.
an extra layer of just insanity to it.
It was weird, wasn't it? It was almost this chilling, posh voice that kind of sticks with you. I've heard the original edit and I know it's supposed to sound like he needs a lozenge or something like that. But this, for some reason, it's like the voice sticks. I don't know what it is.
I'd go as far as saying that I don't think this is the best film we've discussed.
No?
But that voice is probably going to go down as one of the sort of iconic Batman enemies, even if he wasn't the best of even the Christopher Nolan trilogy, because he wasn't. But it will go down as one of the iconic enemies that Batman has encountered, and
Is that down to Tom Hardy?
that's down to Tom Hardy's interpretation of that character and how Christopher Nolan's directed that character. But John, we'll go to you with the Nolan trilogy.
Well, I'll be really quick. For me, they're all 5-star films.
Look at the microphone.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Fine.
They're all 5-star films. They are the top 3 films so far, but going back to my logic of picking one film from a series, I don't care about Begins, don't care about Dark Knight Rises. The Dark Knight should be number 1.
I agree. I agree with you.
You guys can do what you want with them too. That should be number 1.
John, have you seen the trilogy?
Yes.
And what are your opinions? Go from Batman Begins right the way through to Bane and Catwoman.
Right. When I heard about the trilogy being released way back, I didn't know how they could do it because, especially with Christian Bale. Right. Christian Bale for me up to that point was never the way he was supposed. Do you know what I mean? In the films you'd seen him,
Christopher.
he Christian Bale.
Christopher Bale.
No, I was no, Gareth Bale. No, Christian Bale. Like John, we'll go back to your point, but like Christian Bale for me, like a lot of people don't like Christian Bale as Batman. Like I personally have no problem with him as Batman, but there are certain aspects of that.
He's just no Batfleck though, is he?
We'll come on to
Wow.
that.
Do you think he was better?
Definitely.
We'll come on to that.
I agree with that, but but it's the voice in it. People don't like his voice.
Yeah,
as
it's his
Batman.
voice.
Yeah, it's the Batman voice. Isn't it? I'm Batman.
But Christian Bale up to that point had played like American Psycho, stuff like that. Genius. He's a genius,
Yeah,
but
great.
in a weird way. I feel like the way he is in Batman Begins is like how I imagine him in real life. I feel like he's a bit of a moody ass. Like he's always in character. Like he's just a dick.
To be fair,
He's a
But
dick.
like,
in Batman
yeah,
Begins, he's
he
a
is a
massive
dick.
dick.
But that's surely that's the point.
Yeah, that's the-
No,
point
I
of the character,
love
yeah.
Batman Begins because it's just class. I class it as a builder. It just builds for the next film. It just starts something off.
I mean, that's a good point, and that's why that won't be the top of this list
No.
because
Of
it is a
the
builder.
three though,
This is the worst.
of the three, which one would you rate the highest?
The Dark Knight.
Dark Knight. I agree.
Right.
Because
Can I just jump in?
Yeah.
Like Batman: The Dark Knight. Is this the best film we've discussed up to now? Because it definitely is.
it's one of the best films that I've ever
No.
seen,
I disagree.
and I've seen it
I
in cinema.
completely disagree with that.
What would you put above it?
I would put all of the ones we've discussed so far. above it.
Literally.
Oh, we're gonna fall out.
No, I would. I put Civil War. I put Avengers above that by far.
The Dark Knight is known as being one of the best films.
I'm
ever
sure.
made.
But
Again,
in my opinion,
is it just because?
in my opinion, though?
No, it's not just. I've watched this recently, so I've got a fresh memory of it. Like Heath Ledger as the Joker is absolutely fascinating.
No, he is.
insane.
No, I can't argue with that. He
well
is
written.
an absolutely fascinating part of that film. He really is. But the film it's a good film. I love it, but I don't think it's as good as Civil War and that.
Nope. I
I
agree.
mean, it's that good. It's barely even a comic book film. It's basically a crime drama, like the Dark Knight. You know what I mean? It's not in the comic book genre. And that for me is why it's so good. It's like
The Dark Knight needs to be high up in this list. There's no other way around.
for me, it's number one. Like,
I would definitely put it at maybe number four.
I mean, I do
maybe.
like.
No, I agree with Nick.
I
put
do
it
like The
probably
Dark
lower than
Knight
that.
Rises, and it's still, again, one of the best. It's definitely a cinema film, and you need to go and watch. You need to experience it with a packed cinema to see the way people react to the film. I prefer the reactions to people in cinemas to the films. It sort of helps it along for me. But
Can I just jump in and say, let's jump to Batman Begins. Like, I said it was a really good film and I enjoyed the film.
Yeah.
But I agree with Josh and Nick that it's a forget.
I don't agree with
it's
that.
not forgettable. I feel
I
like
could
it's just
tell you
a
scene by
film.
scene that entire film.
See, I don't think Batman Begins in our podcast list is going high.
Yep, I agree.
Well,
I
think
mean,
it's
I'm
gonna-
happy to compromise with that, but for me, it'd be like it's better than all of these. But
I agree.
all I care about is the Dark Knight.
Well-
Like, forget the other two for me.
Let's concentrate on Batman Begins. I think Batman Begins in our list this show, it looks like it's falling below Captain America, Civil War, and Superman. It's going to be lower in this list.
Wait,
now I'm happy with that.
I said before it's a building film, but without it, how good would The Dark Knight be? Without it.
No, yeah.
See what I mean?
It's an interesting
It's
question.
needed. It's
I
a needed
agree,
film.
I
It's an
agree.
essential film.
But that it is in our list, but it looks like it's going to be lower in the
No, it
list.
can be lower, provided that The Dark Knight is the top
Should
of
we
the
leave-
That's
three.
my I'm happy with you doing whatever you want with Begins and Dark
The
Knight
Dark Knight
Rises.
Rises.
But that should be right up there, the Dark
Has to
Knight.
be.
Let's skip that night because
It's a real film, the Dark Knight, basically.
Like,
It is.
I completely agree. But Dark Knight Rises, where should we put that in the list? Because that is a great film.
I think
Bane.
that should go right down there somewhere.
No, I agree.
Like that should be potentially even taken off. The
I mean,
list
If there's
I
two
love
people,
that.
if there's two people saying it's should be at the bottom of the list, and the three of them saying it should be the top,
It'd be in the
even
middle.
out.
Yeah, we'll middle it.
It's going to be a middling film then
Yeah.
if you two are so
I'll
strongly
middle it.
against Dark Knight Rises.
I agree.
Because I think for me it's in top 5 for me.
Well,
Dark
were
Knight.
we-
For me, it's
No.
third behind Begins and Dark Knight.
I class it as better than Iron Man, to be honest.
I
From what I've
agree. I
seen.
totally agree.
No,
But I don't want to push that
It
too
has
hard
more
because
depth to it. It's a layers of a film. There's so many layers.
I've managed to argue Watchmen above Iron Man. I don't know if I'll get.
Yeah, don't you manage that?
I don't know how I'll get Dark Knight Rises above Watchmen, above Iron Man, because I understand the feelings about that.
I mean, I like it, but I just feel like this has more layers to the film than that does.
I don't know if it's just my I don't know. I just don't like the series as a whole.
But
It's-
why don't you like it though?
It's like like Christian Bale isn't a good Batman. Like
but
the
it's
first film, like it was just not enjoyable. I didn't care.
Well, there's
for
not
the
reasons
film
for you not
whatsoever.
liking it. Why don't you like it? What are the reasons?
Because
why
the
you don't like
first
it?
film wasn't enjoyable.
Shouting the microphone, Nick, you're gonna peek it.
That's not a reason though. Why didn't you enjoy it? What did you enjoy about the film?
I thought it was
It
engaging.
just wasn't fun to watch. I didn't care for what was happening in the film at all.
Well, so, I can understand that point of view. What did you think about the scene where the American football stadium like just
As he-
Oh,
It's
sorry.
just war.
Wait, I was talking. Wait, were you
Well,
talking about?
Begins, weren't we?
I was talking about Begins.
Yeah, when I
Oh,
was
sorry then.
I was talking about the Begins. I
Yeah.
didn't care.
I thought Begins we pretty much agreed was going quite low in.
That's
Yeah.
So I reckon you should leave that at the
But
moment.
that's just. But I
I'm cool with that.
Let's talk Dark Knight Rises.
As for the Dark Knight Rises, right? I loved Tom Hardy. I thought every scene he was in, it was amazing. But the whole fact to the point, like the whole fact that Batman was just in a hole for an entire film.
But he wasn't in for the entire film. He was in for like half an hour.
And it was a-
So it felt like he was in it for the entire film for me, and I didn't care what was
But it
happening.
was essential to the story, wasn't it?
I didn't care about
was
what was
needed.
going on. with
I've
it.
got to admit, I kind of agree with him. The stuff in the hole, I was like, I'm watching a Batman film and he's stuck in a hole for half an hour, but it's not enough for me to bump it down below all this
But it's
stuff.
all part of the story.
I agree.
That's why I prefer
For-
the Dark Knight over the Dark Knight
For the
Rises.
sake of argument, I'll have Dark Knight right at the top if you put Dark Knight Rises right below. Like, I will accept that.
I would not have either of them even near the
This
top.
is what we're gonna have to do. This is gonna be a diplomatic thing. I
I-
don't know whether we need to just come back to these three films.
I will literally,
No,
no,
I will
you can place
literally
Begins.
allow you to have like one of them films in the top 5, but I would not allow both of them being. In the
I'm
top
putting
5.
Dark.
When I say one of them, I mean you can have the Dark Knight.
I think the Dark Knight Rises is better than the Dark Knight.
No,
Well, what about if you leave,
definitely couldn't agree with that
No, I do.
whatsoever.
what about if we leave Begins where it is, and we talk about the other two as separate? Because the Begins, as we've already decided, is
I mean,
nothing.
personally, I think just forget about Begins and Rises. We all
Right.
agree. Well,
See
sorry,
what I mean?
Do you know
It's
what?
just
Do you know
That's it,
what I would say? I would say the Dark Knight would go right above Iron Man there.
I think it'd be at the top.
I could allow it to go just above Iron Man there, just like that, yeah, and like the other one like can just be forgotten about.
I could put like I sold Watchmen as very high. I would still put Dark Knight above Watchmen.
Do you know?
Yeah,
Do you know what's funny though?
well, I'd put it above the Avengers.
I'm, wait there, I'm one of the biggest Superman like fans ever, but that is the singular best
The Dark
film
Knight.
on that list. In
The
my
Dark-
opinion, I would,
So are three of us in agreement?
I'm
that
sure
the
Mike
actual
has.
best film on this list at the moment is the Dark
without
Knight.
that,
Yeah.
best
I-
list
I-
is a whole.
I cannot concede to that being at the top whatsoever.
I disagree, but I feel like we've been outvoted.
I
If that's how
can't
we're
allow
working.
it to go at the top. I just can't.
It's just because I can't.
If you're
see,
being outvoted this far though, at the moment Dark Knight has to go to the top.
I can't see.
Basically, to put it the other way, though, there's no other film that three of people vote for number one.
I
So,
can't
like,
see enough of an argument for Avengers being better than it. If someone can tell me Avengers is better than it and prove to me,
I mean, I love the Avengers.
I've
Yeah,
never
but-
seen Avengers.
No, I like the Avengers. I would fight for, but it's like the Dark Knight is
That's what I mean. Can you if you put them in direct competition, which one's better?
the Dark Knight every day of the week.
I mean, okay, as it's a podcast list, and
If
I've
we-
been outvoted
If we
3
leave
to 2.
Batman Begins at the bottom of the list of a current
No,
list,
I-
Get rid of the other two.
If I'm honest with you, like I agree with John, the other two can go.
but they need to go
Right.
in order.
Well, like Dark Knight Rises for me, like just let's very quickly run through Dark Knight Rises though. Dark Knight Rises, is that better
It's
than
better
Batman
than
Begins?
Superman.
Yes.
It's better than
Batman.
Definitely.
I don't think so. I think Begins is
It
better.
definitely is better than Batman.
Do you,
For,
is,
for
is,
what Nick was saying, the whole stuck in the hole bit is what I don't like about Rises.
well,
but-
do you think Batman: The Dark Knight Rises is better than Captain America: Civil War? Because I
I think it's
personally
better.
is.
I think
yeah,
it's definitely better
no,
than Superman.
I actually do think that, but it depends as to whether.
I'm with Nick on this. Get rid of him. Bottom of the list.
Are you
We've
sure?
got the Dark Knight, so get rid of the other ones.
No, but is it not better than Superman?
I think like we keep one of the trilogy because like I agree. I think it's better than Captain America: Civil War. but I
What if I like in our list that
That
we've got
seems
here,
fine with me.
Dark
where-
Knight Rises is we're putting it below Iron Man in the list, but above Captain America:
Yeah,
Civil
ah,
War. So it's a
because-
middle.
It's a middle of the road one.
I'm totally cool with whatever you guys want to do with them.
Because
too.
we will come back to the Dark Knight because if somebody makes a strong enough argument, that won't be the top.
I think you could put it in the top. Not now, but if you took out that section, like you're saying, the whole section could have been. If it's just some action, it would be so much higher. It's just because it's a drab part of the film that people have to sit through.
I agree.
It drags it down.
I
That 30 minutes drags it down.
I don't know if that drags it down, but it definitely slows it down.
That's the point. It's
But there's a point to that.
there's no. I don't think there's any slowdown in the Dark Knight, which is why it's top. There's
Yeah,
no.
I mean, Rises, I love it, but you feel like you spend an hour and a
You're
half waiting for
waiting.
Batman to come back. He comes back and gets put in a hole.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That,
yeah,
that,
yeah.
that was what it was with me. Like I didn't care what was happening because you were just waiting for shit to
You've
happen. and
lost
nothing
your
happened.
train of thought, haven't you? You know, when you're watching a film, you're not engrossed in it because you then get lost with just a series of blank.
Just to move this along, I'm going to move. Well, I'm just telling you, I'm moving along. So we've just had a good chat about the Batman Christopher Nolan trilogy. How do we feel about Batman from 1989?
Go ahead, I'll start this one off. I'm not going to be like a movie geek, but cinematically, it is quality to the comic. It's like the way a comic should be portrayed and visually, you know, in a visual aspect of a film. The steam grates, the fact that it's just like he appears from nowhere. Well done.
Yeah, like the look of Gotham in this film is amazing.
That's-
I'd go as far as saying that I brought Fables up earlier.
Yeah.
There was a game based on that called Wolf Among Us. Now a lot of that film is shot with it's got neon lighting and the strange sort of darkness surrounding it, and also flashes of bright colours. Now, I've not watched this '89 film in a long time.
Yeah.
But that runs through those films.
It does.
The neon kind of comic-y.
It's that little.
I've got to admit, you're thinking of Batman Forever.
Am I thinking more
Yeah.
Forever
The
here?
neon stuff's not in Tim Burton's Batman.
Is it not?
It's all black,
Okay.
like a neon noir, just steam
Steam
everywhere, like
grate,
1930s
movie.
kind of.
I'll be honest, like I've not like for me, there are a lot of them merged together because I saw a lot of them a long
That's the
time.
look and feel I have about it that I love. You know, that 1930s style you've
Yeah.
just been going on about, John. That sort of adds to the film. It makes it more classy. It has a bit of an edge to it. Like,
And with this one, a lot of Batman fanboys hate this film because he kills people in it. It's not
Yeah.
the Batman that we know from like current films and stuff. He literally murders people out.
that's what I
point
like.
blank.
I like that
No, I love it. Yeah.
because it's great.
This is my favourite Batman film.
Oh, is it?
I prefer this.
Right.
But I know I'm never going to argue you guys.
Because-
To
No,
get
but
to number one, but
let's turn to Nick and Josh. Like,
I have seen the film many years
It is
ago,
many.
but I can't talk about it. I have no memory of
I
it.
can't.
It's one of them, isn't it, where it's like, because it's so far back, but I've seen it several times since then because I love the layout of it. And I think Michael Keaton, really underrated.
And again, people didn't like Michael Keaton because he's like 5'9" or something.
Yeah,
He wasn't
you
tall
can
enough.
sort
He had
of-
curly hair.
The way he shot him, they were able
But
to
he-
get
he-
away with that.
He's great.
Josh,
Yes,
have you got any thoughts on this?
No, not particularly, mate.
Okay.
I can't remember when I've seen it. I know I have seen it, but again, like what Nick said,
the
can't
car.
remember it.
It's the car and everything, the cars.
Oh, the Batmobile's amazing.
it's
isn't
so
it?
good. Like
The Batwing.
Yeah.
The Batwing's
The,
awesome.
the one in the Christopher Nolan trilogy is just really like modern day look shit. These are exact.
If we were to rate this film like above any of the other ones, would you put it higher than Batman Begins, for example?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, I would.
Would you put it above Captain America, Superman?
Yeah.
I can't comment on Captain America. But
Personally, I'd put it above The Dark Knight Rises.
I'd,
but
Would you
I'd
actually?
put it.
I'm not having that.
yeah.
Well, it is like John said. It is. a
I'd
really
put it
good-
above Watchmen. Sorry.
I'm gonna say that it Batman from 1989 is probably better than Superman from 1978. Is
I
that
was
correct?
gonna go. I was gonna go. For
I will actually agree.
That was going to be my
I
point.
reckon
Because I don't know about Captain America. I can't put it above that, but I'll put it above Superman.
For now, let's put Batman above Superman.
Yes.
Are we happy with
Okay,
that?
yeah.
For now, we can always come back.
Okay.
Let's move on to Ant-Man. Now, Josh, Nick,
I-
all the three of us are fans of Ant-Man.
Oh, yeah, love it.
I've got some points written down about
Okay.
Ant-Man because I watched this just the other night. As
Some small points.
yeah, small.
I was thinking.
Right, it's got a great cast. It's got an amazing cast. This film. It's got Paul Rudd.
Fantastic.
That's
Best casting in a long time.
No, it's got Paul Rudd as Ant-Man. It's got Michael Douglas as Hank Pym. It's got Evangeline Lilly.
Oh, she is a peach. And
Corey Stoll as Yellow Jacket.
Oh, from House of Cards. He was
Yeah,
in,
he was like all of these are amazing in the film. Like
Yeah.
that's amazing. It's got the macro photography in it. You know, like the photography in the bathtub and stuff. I thought that was absolutely phenomenal. You know, like the like the when he's small and like you see like the train
so-
around him and stuff.
Yeah.
I thought that was absolutely like amazing.
The fight scene on the train is amazing.
That's
Yeah,
what I
It's
mean.
funny. It's
that's,
funny. Yeah.
That's
It's
amazing.
nice, yeah. And sorry, Nick, just on one other thing as well, in terms of photography, the bit at the end when he's like he's falling through the it's going smaller and smaller.
That's what I was going to say.
Oh, sorry, go on.
It's got the quantum realm in it,
Is that
hasn't
what
it?
it's called?
The quantum realm, like that was the introduction for the MCU. For me, like that's amazing because like that's the first introduction of the quantum realm in the MCU.
Yeah, and it's a great introduction to it.
Yeah, and I feel like the look of that is where they've gone with like Doctor Strange and stuff. The look of that thing is what they've.
I
used
thought
for the
that was
future
absolutely
films.
amazing. Like the humour though, that like I don't know if you'd agree, but I thought the humour was on point as well.
Oh,
I thought
yeah.
it was amazing.
Definitely.
Fight scenes. We're talking about the fight scene on the train track.
Yeah.
like that in itself. Like it weren't just a fight scene. It was the humour within it. Like when the train went around to hit the yellow jacket and it just kind of fell over.
Yeah.
And that for me was amazing. I thought that was hilarious.
The Thomas the Tank Engine.
It's an all round good film. I'd put it quite highly.
Can I just jump in there? Like Josh mentioned earlier that it was originally meant to be directed by Edgar Wright.
Yep.
And there's a couple of jokes in the film where I can't think now how it's worded. Maybe you guys will know where it's like Chinese whispers. One person says, "Have you heard this from somebody else?"
Oh, yeah.
It's that.
You do that twice. It's the Mexican guy.
It's the Mexican guy, the friend of Ant-Man, isn't it? And he's like, "Oh yeah, I was at the art museum and I was looking at this art piece. I don't really like this art piece, but
You remind me. It ends with Falcon, doesn't it? Falcon's on the bench and he's the last person. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that right? Yeah.
think so.
Falcon's like they tell him about Ant-Man, and that's why he's in Civil War. Kind of
I don't think that you.
Oh, is that something
I don't
different?
think you've got it right at all because.
Oh, it's been a while since I
because
watched it. But...
Falcon's only in it because he fights him.
Oh, is there not a scene at the very end where
There
they
is a scene.
I know
You
what
are-
scene you're on about. I just don't remember.
I don't know who the
where
actor
it
is, but
was.
there is a
Right.
scene
It's
where
not
word after word.
Falcon literally like only fights him, and then at the end of it, he kind of like in the after credit scene, he's talking to Captain America. And he's like, I think I know a guy who can help us in this thing. But yeah, he's not very often.
But also, just one last thing, that joke you mentioned there, that to me feels like a hangover from what Edgar Wright was meant to do the film. That's like such an Edgar Wright joke from like Shaun of the Dead or something. So I think he had a lot of involvement before they booted him off the film, kind of thing.
Like for me, this film would be like a really highly rated film. I think this is quite highly rated.
It's interesting to see that you say that, John, because Google still says that he directed it.
Really?
Yep.
It should be Peyton Reed who directed it. I don't know.
Oh, he says he directed it.
All called out on the live show.
I'm 100% sure it's Peyton Reed, but I'll have a look.
Like you rate this quite highly.
I do, yeah. No, I reckon this is up there. This is probably. Ooh, I wouldn't know what number, but it's definitely top 10. Easily top 10.
I'd put this above Avengers, personally.
So you put that's number 2 at this point.
Sorry, Josh.
You put that number 1.
No, I'd put it number
sorry.
2.
I'll show you that Peyton Reed.
But like for me, this film, I would probably put that about number 5, maybe.
Do we think I'm like?
So just behind Watchmen, I'd put that. Maybe.
Would you put Ant-Man behind Watchmen and above Iron Man? Because I would.
That's about where I'd put it. Yeah.
That's where I would.
I'd put it just behind Watchmen, above Iron Man. Yeah.
So do we?
Because
are we happy with that at the moment?
because at this point in time, like MCU was getting a bit of flack for just being a bit boring. It's the same old kind of stuff. And I for me, this film, it kind of broke the seal a bit, and it was completely different to the rest of them. For me, it just go a bit above. It goes number 5.
I can't disagree with that at the moment.
So is The Dark Knight still number 1?
Yeah, British. Yeah.
I'll abstain. I mean, I'm not a big Marvel fan anyway, but Nick conceded the point of The Dark Knight, so I'm going to concede on this one.
Who did you say directed it? Sorry.
Peyton Reed.
I just want someone. Yeah. Are you recommending for me to watch?
I would give this a recommend. I would put this.
I put it's number 5 at the moment in the list. I reckon.
Yeah, I'd definitely put that just behind Watchmen, just before Iron Man.
Right,
I'm cool with that.
I'm gonna watch this later then, and I'll just text you mine.
That's my rating because I think this should get like a pretty high rating.
Do you know what? I think I might love this because Paul Rudd's in it. Because I think I love him.
And that's what I mean.
he's
Like
great.
his comedy comes through in it as well. It is funny. It's a funny film, and the fight scenes are amazing. The photography's amazing. Everything about the film is just amazing. To be honest, it's a really good film.
Let's leave Ant-Man there for now. It's currently sitting number 5.
You know what's really good though? Of all the films that I've not seen, and you've given me an argument of why they're good and where I should put them, this was the best of the ones that you've told me about. Because it sounds like it has everything. It sounds fun. It sounds different.
It's good.
Just sounds.
No,
just
it's a
sounds
good
genuinely
film.
like
It's definitely a recommend if I'm honest.
Definitely, that's
with
what I'm going to watch later then.
Let's move on to Guardians of the Galaxy 1, which...
I watched this again last night.
Yeah, so Jono, you've seen this recently.
I thought it was funny. I like it.
It's a good
But you know
film.
what? I don't usually like comic humour. I don't think there should be too much of it. But I like the way it was placed in this film. I love it.
For me, right, it's an amazing film.
But it's not. It's
No,
not high in
no.
the list.
No, it's an amazing film. It's got an amazing. It's Chris Pratt. It's what's the who's Gamora? It's
Zoe Saldana.
Zoe Saldana. She's amazing. It's got the wrestler
Dave Bautista.
Dave Bautista. That's it. It's Bradley Cooper.
It's
It's
the
got
voices, yeah, Vin Diesel.
Vin Diesel. It's got an amazing
Yes.
cast. And the film in itself is amazing film. I would genuinely put this quite high as well, if
Yeah.
I'm honest with you.
It's so different to anything I've seen.
I'd probably, if I'm honest with you, I'd probably put that almost just behind Ant-Man, if I'm honest with you.
I
I'll
I
agree.
agree with that.
I-
I can't.
I'd put that like just behind Ant-Man, just in front of Iron Man.
For now, Josh, how do you feel about that?
I wouldn't rate it. I honestly think Guardians of the Galaxy 2 was superior, and I mean on a different page, in a different library than number 1.
That's no, that's
I think I agree that it's a better film, but like I don't.
if I can just put my 2 pence forward about the second film,
Yeah.
right? It's not better in the slightest, purely because it's just a film of special effects. It was just showing like what could it was just a load of special effects. That's all it was. And what's his name? Sorry, was the what's his name? His
Director.
dad.
David Hasselhoff.
Kurt Russell.
Kurt Russell.
David Hasselhoff. That's amazing.
He was in the film though.
Yeah, he was in the film, but he was amazing. Kurt Russell was absolutely phenomenal
Another
in that
genius.
film. But as a film, the first one was better. Like the storyline was better. Everything. Like the second one just seemed to just rush this weird shitty story along.
I feel like it's falling in our list, probably below The Dark Knight Rises, but above Captain.
Because it's not
America
strong
Civil War.
enough argument. But like I said, I like when people join. You know, like when there's a story of how they join and how they meet and stuff.
I personally, I would put it just behind Ant-Man. Personally,
Yeah, I mean, personally, I put it one before Ant-Man, but I'm cool with it going behind
Right,
it.
I think it's better than
Just
Iron
because
Man.
I
but-
think it's probably the second best Marvel film, but I'm cool with it going just behind it though.
I'm quite happy for that to be below Ant-Man and above Iron Man.
That's
I
fine
think
by
it's better
me.
than Iron Man
Yeah.
from what I've watched.
Josh, I'd feel on that. It seems like we're almost content. Like
No, I'm
general
happy. I'm happy
consensus.
to agree with that.
Because they're my 2 recent watches, and I do slightly put it
For
above
now,
Iron Man.
yeah, for now we'll say Ant-Man is better than Guardians of the Galaxy, which is better than Iron Man.
Cool.
Let's move on to 300. Now this is going to be an interesting discussion because I haven't seen this film since it came out. I know you all rave about it,
Right.
but let me just.
Whoa, don't be pointing at me.
No, pointing in like a general direction. Like 300, I know there are people in this room that love it. I've not really got an opinion on it. I remember liking it at the time, but I was like, oh, it's a film. Like it's not.
Really?
I'm not that strongly feeling on that. It's just. Do you know you said Batman Begins was a forgettable film? I forgot what happened in 300. I should have put it on.
To be fair though, that was probably 10 years ago when he was.
That's true.
Right, for me, 300. Right, I watched this like when it first came out, and I've watched it probably a good 20 times
Yeah.
since then.
Same.
I would rate that very highly, very high. I think it's an amazing film. Zack Snyder, fucking he outdone himself in that film. Like, I think that's probably. Actually, no, I wouldn't. I was going to say it's better than Watchmen, but it's not as a
it's
film.
not.
It's definitely not better than Watchmen as a film.
You know what, I think it is.
In Zack Snyder's library, I don't think it's better than it. But like, it is. I could I've not seen it in maybe 10 years, and I could still give you a scene for scene run through of that film. I think that is an amazing film. 300. Like, if like you've never seen anything about like that before it came out.
No.
It was amazing. Like. Since then, you've had like Spartacus, which was literally a TV show, basically that film, the TV show, and so things have come off it. But that film was the first of its kind. It really was, and like obviously it took an actual historical
Oh yeah, I love historical
It
standpoints in a
took
film.
a historical thing and made it into a film, but obviously it came from a comic. Do you know who the comic book writer was, John?
Frank Miller, who did
Fra-
Sin City.
Frank Miller did the
can
comic,
see
and,
them.
and I think it's amazing. Like the little blood splashing against the screen. I think that's amazing. Like it felt very comic booky to me.
Yeah.
But in a good way. And do you know what I like? You were saying, like, I think it's an iconic film because other things have branched off from it.
I agree
because
with
of
that. It's a very iconic film.
And it obviously had Gerard Butler in it.
Gerard Butler is insane.
Like,
isn't he?
Yeah.
I think he's an amazing actor.
Did this part kind of make Gerard Butler who he is today?
I actually think
it does.
The action star. kind of thing,
I
like,
think
yeah.
it was the
Absolutely.
pinnacle.
Not as the action star, just generally as a world star.
It was a stepping stone of his complete career.
He's
Yeah.
made him for what he is.
My argument would have been, like, from listening to this discussion, it sounds like the room split more or less down the middle, that some people think this is Zack Snyder's best film, and some people think Watchmen's his best film.
Well, I don't even
of the
close.
two,
And some of us think Batman v Superman is his best film.
no, we don't.
No one thinks that.
Like, I'm sort of looking at this in the context of.
I think personally, I think Sucker Punch is his best.
Of 300 and Watchmen, I'd pick Watchmen above that.
Yeah.
No, I definitely would
Yeah,
think Watchmen was the
I
better.
agree.
So it sounds like this one's probably going to slot in below Watchmen.
And this is why it gets so confusing, like, for your personal ratings and stuff, because I wouldn't give that 5 stars, but I'd put it ahead of Watchmen, though.
Oh
But,
no.
you know, it's,
So what we're saying is, like, you would put it about. Would you put it above Superman 2?
where's the top? Where are we here?
That's top.
would-
That's the top one there. That.
Would you put it above Superman 2 or?
No.
So
I wouldn't.
what you're saying is it should be number 4 at this point.
It's not the.
I'm cool with number 5, to be honest. If you guys
5
want to put it at
for me.
5, I'm cool with 5.
I wouldn't even put it at number 5 personally.
Oh,
I wouldn't. I'd put it below Watchmen.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, isn't that number 5?
No, yeah, that is number 5.
It's
What I'm saying is, I'd put that below Guardians of the Galaxy. If I'm honest with you,
Yeah, I would actually.
I think I would as well.
I'd put it below that. I wouldn't even put it that.
Do you
high.
think? All right. Like,
I agree
let's-
with
No,
Nick.
honestly, like this for me, it's an amazing film, and I rate it very highly. Like, it's probably one of my favorite films ever.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't put it as like the top 5 comic book films.
I totally agree with you. It shouldn't. Where did you say it was? Below Guardians?
Yeah.
But I think it should be above Watchmen. So Watchmen down to.
no, not giving that one up here.
Just before we go on, I feel like Josh has got a completely different. I feel a bit of thing coming from him. You've got a different opinion this time, haven't you?
You're actually completely wrong. I
Oh,
think
oh.
it should be like number 3 of this whole list.
No, that's what I mean. You've got a different opinion to us. Do you think?
Oh,
it's
right,
quite
sorry.
high up?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think it's a brilliant film. I only found out today that it was part of a comic book.
Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't ever justify it being at number 3 ever.
I can't just like.
I think
I can, just based on its higher than Watchmen.
I wouldn't. I'd
That's
put
how
it.
I'm
I'd
justifying
put it
it.
as 5.
Okay.
I'd go 4.
Pers-
I would go 4.
Why?
4.
personally, I would put it behind Guardians of the Galaxy like it is now.
Yeah.
Okay, can we compromise, right?
Well,
I'm going to suggest, that 300 will go below Watchmen, but it's in the top 5 currently.
Yeah, currently, because it
Currently.
is below Watchmen because there's just lacks a little bit of story that Watchmen has.
No,
Yeah, I
it
agree.
doesn't.
Yeah, it does. It
It's
does.
better for that.
I
Watchmen is
agree.
too convoluted.
Guys, you're all interrupting. If you're going to talk one at a time, please.
300 is a more streamlined film, gets to the point a lot better. It's a better comic book adaptation than Watchmen is.
Yeah, I totally get your point there, but there's more depth to the other film. He has a lot more in it. In
It's
Watchmen.
longer, I'll give you that.
Yeah, it's longer because it has to be longer
Sci-fi.
because it has a lot more content.
How would we feel about the list if we were to say the current top 5? If I said this to you, John, and said our current top 5 list is The Dark Knight, The Avengers, Superman 2, Watchmen, and then 300.
I'm not okay with that.
Yeah, I would
whatsoever.
disagree.
You're not okay with it.
So hard. But again, it's part of a vote.
What are
So
you putting 300 up or down the up?
I would put it up personally.
So I
No,
put-
I'm sorry, that's got to go down.
I put it
It's-
down.
it's
Is
definitely
that
gotta
why
go
we're
Which one's
middling
that?
it out?
300.
Yeah, 300's got to go down.
I would,
John, should
I
it be higher?
can't.
or lower?
I can't agree with that being above Ant-Man.
I
No, I
know what
agree
you
with
mean.
Nick.
Yeah.
but I put them both up, to
This
be
is the
fair.
thing, I agree with you. Like, I think it maybe should be a bit lower, but I think it's better than Watchmen. It's so conflicting, you know.
I don't know if it is.
Right.
I think
but-
swap
right,
300 and Ant-Man.
Yeah, I think you
yeah.
should definitely should go. I also think you should go below Guardians of the Galaxy. I can't.
With the strength of feeling on 300 and the lack of strength of feeling on Guardians of the Galaxy. Whilst I agree with you, it's not happening.
Okay, that's fine.
I'm cool with
300 at the moment. I'm going to put it number 6.
That's fair enough.
Okay.
That's fair enough.
We'll move on.
Okay.
Let's go to. Let's talk about X-Men: Days of Future Past.
It's been a while since I've seen it, but I remember thinking it's one of the best, or if the best X-Men film.
It is amazing.
I'm with you both on
Such
this.
a good film. If I'm not wrong, is it the last film of like all the actors?
The old
Yeah.
cast, yeah.
Isn't it in both of them though?
Yeah, the old cast and the new
It's
cast.
got both
The
of the
joy.
actors, isn't it?
That's what makes
That's
it
why-
amazing.
Yeah.
That's why I love it.
I mean, I don't want to like speak too much on this, but I didn't care for it at all.
Oh, really?
That's my point of view. But like, I feel like you lot are gonna completely disagree, so I'm gonna let you go for it.
I'm going to take a step back from this, similar to Nick here. Whilst I enjoyed the film, don't care about it.
Okay.
Oh, no,
Okay.
I'm
So
passionate
I'm
about
gonna
it.
let you three discuss it because
I agree. I am also doing this.
Okay.
I love X-Men.
Yep,
I
same.
can't even, and I know there's been so many films and spin-off films, but this may be one of the best I've ever seen. To mix the cast sometimes, you know, like I said before, when you mix the cast, you just start taking away from the story because you just throw loads of people in it. This adds to the story, because this makes the film. This is the
Yeah.
reason for the film.
I mean, personally, I don't. In terms of the comic books, I don't care for the
Oh,
X-Men, but these films for
well,
me are like amazing.
That's where I got my love for X-Men from.
Yeah.
I think the films have enhanced the comic book love
Yeah.
I had.
And it was kind of a happy accident that they had this old cast of characters. They'd rebooted it and got a new cast, and they realised we can actually do this plot
And
line,
it
this Days of
works.
Future Past, merge them both together. The film looks amazing.
I love the way where it's set.
It's the action scenes in particular, the Quicksilver one.
Oh,
it's
so good.
That for
Brilliant,
me
that.
is the best action scene of any of these films. Like
And the humour that it brings is
Yeah.
so funny.
that Quicksilver scene for me is like revolutionary, like how good it is.
Quicksilver is one
It's
of...
what's his name, isn't it? Who plays the character in American Horror Story?
Evan.
Oh yeah, it's what's the
But
name?
basically,
Yeah.
he...
Evan Peters.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
He that's amazing. That
Yeah.
character's amazing.
Yeah, he
That
plays it
scene's
really
amazing, Really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love that.
Because there's more than one Quicksilver, isn't there? In if you look at the chronology
Yeah.
of
Well, there's one in the Avengers 2, which was Aaron
Which
Taylor
is-
Johnson,
well,
who was
Quicksilver's
not-
kick-ass.
which is not as good.
But
Yeah.
Quicksilver's got a sister as well, which obviously
Yeah.
isn't mentioned in the
Yeah,
film,
yeah.
but
Yeah.
he's the most underrated, one of the most underrated parts of the X-Men story.
Yeah.
No one ever seems to... Like, people bum off the Flash, but Quicksilver arguably is the best of the special talent, if you will.
See, going back to me, I don't care about the characters, just the action scene. I just love that scene
Well,
where, you know,
that's
like,
it.
Yeah, it's great.
That's
Yeah.
because you like the film. I'm
Yeah.
talking about the whole X-Men
Yeah.
as a whole, because I'm trying to compare it to the others.
Yeah, I mean, what I will say is, like, action scenes aside, it's a great film. The only, and I can't stress, the only bad thing I'll say about the film is Jennifer Lawrence. I feel like she plays Jennifer Lawrence,
she's a
not
bit Dutch.
Mystique.
She's a bit
okay,
dull, isn't
okay. I mean, I think it's even worse in Apocalypse. She seems really bored, and like they've got her tied down to this
Yeah.
big contract, and she's just like, I'll turn up for another one of these X-Men films.
I feel like she's a
Yeah.
dull actress. I
No, I don't think she's a dull actress.
I just feel like she
Just
stays
in these
human
films,
too
you know.
long.
Right.
She's just Jennifer Lawrence for Jennifer Lawrence's sake.
Yeah.
She's not Mystique.
No, she's just sort of done it for the sake of doing the film. Not really. It's like, you know, when you turn up to class and you want to fall asleep. That's kind of what she did.
Yeah,
She kind of just fell asleep through the film. Didn't really do much.
I kind of agree with that. She's a little negative part of the film, but
Positive.
everything else about it, just the fact that like Magneto is in jail for killing JFK.
That's
that's so
cool.
good.
And I love the twist on actual history. I
Yeah,
thought that was dead
that's
cool.
what I love about it, setting it in a real timeline.
In a single film, is that the best casting?
Yeah, I think it is.
Single best level of casting.
And
That
like,
is amazing.
It'll never happen again because they had this old cast tied down to a contract. They were really expensive to do, but they had this new young cast who they tied down when they weren't that famous.
Yeah.
Like Fassbender, McAvoy, Jennifer Lawrence. They can't do that again now because they can't afford them.
Yeah.
It cost a fortune to do it.
I get the idea of that. I feel like this is going to be middling in the list.
Oh,
For me, this is
it's top
my
3.
favourite comic book film because I don't count The Dark Knight as a comic book film. It's that good.
Okay.
Like,
It's
This
this for
definitely
me is the
top
most
3.
pure comic book film.
This is going higher in the list by the sounds of the room.
You know I want to be Cyclops. This is it.
This is it. I'm sat here in a room with the five of us in the room. I like the film. Don't feel that strongly about it. Nick, you're not really that asked about it.
I like the film, but I can't rate it highly at all.
The rest of us on the room, Josh, John, and Jono, you all feel strongly about it.
This
So
might
how
sound...
high is this going? And John,
Well, I think this all boils down to how good your arguments are.
Yeah.
I think that's what the whole list will boil down to, because let's be honest, you all said The Dark Knight was brilliant, and I imagine that's why it's at the top of the list. With this, there's only 3 of us saying it's dead good, so I doubt it'll top that.
I agree that I agree that it's a good film though, so it's not like I'm saying it's a bad film. I like the film.
But on that thing, like 3 of you did actually say that The Dark Knight was the top film.
Yeah.
So like, if 3 of you say that is the best film, which I mean, is this?
Well, me and John have already said The Dark Knight was number 1.
It is.
So there you go.
Hang on.
it's
Currently, that's number 1. That could change.
So we can vote another film number 1.
If you wanted to.
I would.
It's a fluid list. We're going to go back through this when we think we've got final 1 and just say, why is this here?
I'll make an argument for top 3.
I would vote number 2, but I mean, I'd love it to be number 1. For me, it's more of a comic book film than The Dark Knight, because The Dark Knight's like a crime drama.
It's
not a better film. It's a better comic book film.
I personally
It's not a
can't
better
vote
film.
on this film, so I don't rate it whatsoever.
I'll
I watched the film, I
Hang on.
enjoyed the film, but I can't rate it highly whatsoever.
Right.
So
Jono?
I've never looked forward to watching a film more than that, and I was not you know when you go to the cinema and sometimes you're disappointed by a film, which we do a lot when we go on our fucking
Every time.
yeah, that I come out and it was better than I expected. That is even, and I was going in thinking this is going to be one of the best films I've ever watched, and it was better.
At the moment, I can't see why that would be above The Dark Knight. I will
No,
happily.
I totally understand.
I will happily put that above the likes of the Avengers, Superman 2, Watchmen. I will quite happily put that above for now.
See, this is why I'm conflicted. Like, I prefer this to the Avengers, but the Avengers is such an iconic what it did, you know.
But this is where do you want to draw the line on this?
I know. I don't know.
Josh,
I would say where it is now, I couldn't be happier.
I'm with you on
I'll
that.
go
Where
with
it is
that.
now. I just feel like the other 3 people made stronger arguments for The Dark
I would
Knight.
never put it above The Dark Knight. But yeah, it's the most fluid, free-flowing,
See, I would, but
relevant
No,
film.
I would
Okay,
put it back,
yeah.
but I don't feel I could make a stronger argument than you guys.
we're gonna move on to a film now, which is gonna.
just one last argument.
This one's
Michael
probably
Fassbender, the guy. He was in First Class as well. Though he was great in that.
But
great in this.
of the top 5 films, he's the single best actor involved in any of the films.
I like Bale.
Are you joking? Is that a joke?
Bale's an acclaimed actor.
He's a great actor.
Compared to Michael Fassbender?
Yeah, he's better. For the character in that, yeah, he's better.
Are you joking?
The,
Is this
the
a
character
joke?
that he's playing in Batman the Dark
Not
Knight.
the, not the character, as a general actor to portray a character.
We'll come back to the argument, but at the moment,
But I love them both.
we're both very high on the list. We'll
So-
come back to it. Let's come on to the next film.
but at this point, is that at number 2? Is that what we're saying?
Currently, that is number 2.
That's
Yes.
fine. That's fine.
You're
The
okay with that?
next film is gonna. We're gonna have to take a little break after this film.
Yeah.
This film, Logan, is gonna be very high on this list, and I don't know why.
We love this film.
See, I love it. Nick,
Right, Logan for me shoots straight up to number 1.
Okay.
I think at this point, Nick, you're drunk.
No, honestly, for me, Logan, it's an all-round amazing film. It's an amazing end for Hugh Jackman. It's an amazing film. Like, not even as a comic book film. It's just an amazing film.
Yeah.
Every scene in it, like I've watched it twice since it came out. Once in the cinema, once not, and every single time I was just so into that film. It was so amazing. Like. Every scene of it just blew me away.
I was literally going to say you can even take this out of the X-Men, and as a film on its own, it's genius. Like it portrays every emotion you could have in watching a film.
Can I what we'll do? I'm gonna just break this point down. At the moment, it looks like Logan's gonna at least join our current top 3. With Batman the Dark Knight, X-Men Days of Future Past, and Logan. It's better than the Avengers. I think we can all agree on that.
Definitely.
I know, Josh, you've not seen the film.
See, I do think it is, but I don't know why I'm holding the Avengers up, and I don't know why I'm doing it.
I know.
Yeah, I get the point you're making. Definitely get the point you're making, because it's a valid point that. But at the moment, let's treat Logan
as its own thing.
Okay.
On its own merit. Let's treat Logan. Like, I watched that film, loved it. We all went to cinema for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was the best trip we've probably ever done film
For a
wise.
film,
The choice of film.
we all came out of that raving about that film.
That was insane.
Like, I personally would rate that so highly. That felt like I have a bit of a almost vendetta against Fox. I think it should all be with Marvel. I've just got a bit of a love for MCU. But they smashed it with Logan. That film it's perfect. Nothing about that film is wrong. That film is amazing. Like the acting, every scene of it just blew me away. Like I felt emotions like every step of the way.
I've got one thing wrong with it. The evil Wolverine. I'm still not totally on board with. Oh, sorry, Josh. You've not.
No, I like.
Sorry.
No,
I like spoilers.
It's
Don't
just
worry,
a,
okay,
a
yeah.
little part.
One at a time.
Yeah, the evil Wolverine. Not that it kills the film for me or anything, but there's just something about it that I can't. You know what I mean? It doesn't totally feel right to me, but you know, it's a 5-star film for me. I absolutely love it.
No, definitely 5-star for me. Yeah.
It finishes off the Charles Xavier storyline quite emotionally. You know, finishes off Wolverine as well in the same
But it's
film.
brutally. It doesn't just do the usual where it finishes them off in this very
Yeah, no,
la-di-da way. It's brutal the way the
it's
finish.
grounded. It's
Yeah,
a grounded film.
It's raw. It's a raw film. It's not like the all of these comic films. They all have some sort of tinge where there's like a protection around them. Like the death wasn't that bad. You know what I mean? When someone dies, then it's like someone dies, but because they've defeated the enemy, everyone's dead happy. Why? Why are you dead happy? Someone's just died. You know what I mean? Like that's what.
Yeah.
This is different.
I get what you're saying.
This
everybody.
stays where it should be.
What I would suggest is that Logan, just a spoiler here, like that's in my top 5 personal list, like
This-
for comic book films. It's in the top 5. It's not number 1 though. It's
Wait
in
there.
the top 5.
This might be in my top 5 I've ever watched, but it's not first.
I think that's a shout. That's too far for me. Sorry, it's your opinion.
It might be number
but
5.
For me, that's too far of a shout for that film to be in my personal ever top 5. It's not there. It's in top 5 comic book films, definitely.
If you want,
but it's an opinion.
If you want every emotion when you're watching a film and you want to be engrossed by something, watch this film if you haven't seen it and tell me I'm wrong.
For me, it's,
You're wrong.
No, you. You're supposed to tell.
For me, for me, out of the list that we spoke of so far, this is definitely number 1. Like it beats it definitely
It's a show.
it
It's a
definitely
show.
beats the Dark Knight. It definitely beats X-Men Future Past.
It does. It beat that.
Definitely beats Avengers. It definitely beats Superman 2. It beats them all. I'm sorry. I'm not even a fan of Fox. If anything, I have a bit of a vendetta against Fox.
Just mentioned it.
And like this film, like it blew me away. This film is amazing.
Can I jump in? Logan is better than X-Men Days of Future Past.
Yes,
by a massive
definitely.
amount. So it should be
I
at
don't-
least
I don't
number
But
do
I
two.
don't see it as
Do you not
that's the
agree?
I'm
reason.
with 3. But I can understand why it would be number 1 though. That's the thing. Like,
I think this should be number 2 in this list. The
Yeah.
way we're talking about it right now.
I don't view it as an X-Men film because it has no. It's not like it in any way.
But like
Doesn't even link. It's not many links.
Can I
between it.
just, sorry, like Nick, I know you want to make a point here, but I want to make the point here that X-Men, I'm fine with. I've got no problem with X-Men. The Wolverine films, don't care about Wolverine. No, hang on, I don't care about Wolverine whatsoever at all. Like, it's not my favourite X-Men. Like, I really do not give a shit. Hugh Jackman plays a good Wolverine. Still don't give a shit about Wolverine. That film for me is still a really high film, but I wouldn't put it number 1. It's still right up near the top.
I will literally allow it to go number 2 because obviously Batman Dark Knight was like you lot have raved so much about that. I'll allow that to stay number 1 for now. But like, I mean, it's probably going to stay number 1. But I will only be happy if this Logan at least goes at number 2. I cannot allow Days of Future Past to go behind Logan.
I agree.
Considering I've not seen Logan, considering there's only 3 people raving about The Dark Knight and it's at number 1, and 4 people have just raved about Logan, I just think it should be number 1.
But I don't put it above the Dark Knight.
No,
and I
same.
was one of the other people that raved about that because if you said to rate it, they're close, but it's not quite.
I'm sorry. I'm going to agree completely with Jono here. Like, I'm raving about that film within limits.
Okay.
I've like it's my Dark Knight love is out like up here, whereas the Logan love is like it's amazing, but it's got a ceiling on it.
I mean, I was Batman tattoo because of that film.
But it's at least got to go number 2.
I totally agree.
It's definitely got to go to number 2.
John, you're pulling a face. What do you think?
2 or 1?
I think Josh and Nick have swayed me here. Like, Logan number 1.
I was thinking number 2. I'm thinking number 2.
Get it in there, like
3 on 2.
Nick's the best comic book film.
To be fair though, we've got 3 people here saying.
And Nick, Josh has cut you both out. 4 of us are raving about it. Forget the limits.
No.
4 of us are raving
I
about
understand what
it.
you're saying.
That wasn't the point, but 2 of the people making the argument were 2 of the people making the Batman argument, and we raved about it.
No.
Batman.
He's got a point though.
I think Josh has cut us out here.
Just you 3 were raving about the Dark Knight Rises. All of us are raving about Logan. That's definitely got to go to number 1.
I didn't even realise it when we were doing it.
I've not seen it. If I'd have seen it, chances are I'd be raving about it.
All right,
No, it's not. This isn't like a fucking psychological thing.
And-
I am raving about that, and so is Jono. Hang on, like with Jono, like we're both raving about that film within a limit that it's not as good as Dark Knight. But I understand the argument we're making that there are more people who
It's
say
a good argument.
there are more people saying it's a 9 out of 10 film than there are people saying the Dark Knight's a 10 out of 10 film.
I know, right?
Oh, I'm saying Logan's a 10 out of 10 film.
But if
5 out of 5.
If I can almost 100% guarantee, if Josh had watched Logan, he would rate that higher than Dark Knight Rises.
To be fair, I wish you had watched it.
To be fair, I rate every film we've talked about higher than Dark Knight Rises.
I can almost guarantee that Logan needs to go above Dark Knight Rises.
Can I make a suggestion?
No.
No, wait there.
You'll like it.
Go on.
2 join first.
No, wait there. I want.
Oh, can we do that?
I will literally allow both of them to go joint first.
I want to put a suggestion across. Rate the 2 films against each other. Which one's better?
Logan's a better comic book film.
No. What's a better
Definitely.
film?
Well, we're talking about comic book films?
The Dark Knight's a better film. This is a comic book film one.
No, you said comic adaptations.
this is a
we're talking about as your
I
personal
call-
preference. What is
I
your
call Days of Future Past a better comic
Tell
book
me
film
your-
than The Dark Knight.
in your personal list?
No, can I jump in here? Like, we're going to be reviewing it slightly differently, so like that is what gives this a bit more texture to the argument, right? Now, what I'm going to suggest here is that it sounds like Logan should be going above the Dark Knight for the moment, and we will come back to it.
So
Let's come back to it. Let's
okay.
come back to it. We've got more films to go through, and I want to put that at the number 1 spot for now.
Okay, I just want to make it clear though. I didn't come into this with an agenda for Logan. These guys have literally swayed me on that.
I'll be honest. I came in knowing Logan was going to be a popular film, and I don't want it as number 1. But this is, like I said, a horse. A camel is a horse designed by.
I understand that, but my point was, as your list, which one would you put higher on your personal list?
Of which 2?
Because it can't be different. You can't have it number 1 on the consensus.
What list am I putting together?
Your own single list of the film.
What?
Of these films. You're not making a 5.
Comic book films.
No, like this is what I'm saying. Like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how you're rating these films. It does not matter whatsoever.
Yeah.
This is our podcast episode. Sorry, this is our podcast comic book film episode, and we're rating and ranking the comic book films. If John wants to use a different set of rules,
that's what he's
to
doing.
What
though.
you're using. That's
the appeal of it.
That's the
almost,
point.
yeah.
Like,
I was just doing it as a film.
No, like I'm doing it in a similar way, Jono. It's like I'm getting that as well, but I can see the appeal of Logan being number 1 at the moment. Whilst I don't want it there.
No.
Okay.
I feel like John's took it in a way where he's spinning it just because this happens to surround comics. It should be as a film.
No. It's.
I'm not like to sort of add suspense. We're going to come back to that.
Okay.
Because this is the top argument at the moment. So we're going to move on to our next film, Weird Science. Now, I've not seen it, so I can't give a strong opinion of it. Josh, Nick, have you seen this film?
I've never seen the film, so I can't.
I've never seen it.
rate
Only heard of it today. Sorry to
Let's-
interrupt.
Yeah, let's move on to John and Jono then.
Yeah.
How high up the list should this be going? Because at the moment it looks like on the strength of not many people seeing it. I know it's an old film, but this is going to be fairly low down the list.
Yeah, I'll totally agree. My point that I was going to put across was just the fact that you definitely need to watch it.
Yeah.
And it's one of them films where it's one of the early Downey Jr. films, so it's kind of like the fact that he was in comics before people think they saw him in Iron Man. He was in this. This is from 1985. It's just that he seems to be forgotten.
Was this before his drug days? Or
Just gonna say he was just developing a drug problem.
Developing it.
Yeah, I heard about that, but I don't really know much about that. But again, for another time.
Yeah. I reckon do you know what? Like, I'm looking at the list of films. We've discussed some killer films. I think Weird Science is below Batman Begins at the bottom of this list.
That's
Oh
fine.
no, I'm not happy with that, to be
You
honest.
just think
But
it's
you're,
rubbish.
you're
what's
a fan of Batman Begins.
What's number 10?
Why do you want to just drop it outside the top 10?
Just interested.
Number 10 at the moment. We've got Logan at number 1 at the moment. Dark Knight, X-Men Days of Future Past at number 3. The Avengers at number 4. Superman 2 at number 5.
Yeah.
Watchmen at number 6. Ant-Man at number 7. 300 at number 8. Guardians of the Galaxy at number 9. And Iron Man at number 10. Number 11 is The Dark Knight Rises.
I put number 11.
You would really put Weird Science that high up the list. I know, John. I know you're looking for an eclectic list, but that film's not. I'm going to go out.
You've not seen it?
I've not seen it.
You've not seen it?
I know.
Aren't we?
Dark Knight Rises is like it's a classic film.
Aren't we?
Dark Knight's number 2.
Aren't we?
That's better. That's the Dark Knight film.
Aren't we as a whole just voting on the top 10 though? Really?
Yeah.
Like we're basically just discussing how.
I don't think as a podcast though, when we put this film list together as a team, I don't think Weird Science can be that high up if only 2 people have seen the film. Like, don't get me wrong. I could have seen like the one film that none of you have seen and say this is the best film ever. It can't go number 1.
No,
just because I've seen
my
it.
only point with this was how many of you knew it was a comic.
I knew it was a comic
I
because
didn't know it was a comic.
I've seen comic covers for it.
That was me putting it forward. It's because it's not known as being one, and if you're not in, you wouldn't have known. But
I know, but for that reason,
I'm not putting it high.
for that reason, it can't go high because you're the only one who knows it's a comic book. Apart from
the
John.
story-
I didn't know, but
John
John
didn't
told me.
know.
But
So, like, I just want to jump in. Like Jono was the one who sort of pushed this to the forefront of the discussion.
Oh, no, it's more of a discussion
no,
for
no,
different
like
points.
Jono's pushed this to the forefront of the discussion. John, it's you pushing it for it to just randomly be number 11. But the rest of the 4 of us are probably saying this is quite low in the list. So I'm at the moment thinking.
you've not seen it.
No, I know, but that's what I'm saying. Like, hang on, Nick. It's like we can't put it higher up in the list if we haven't seen the film.
no, I'll
But we're not
totally.
putting it high, but we're putting it number 11.
Yeah.
But I don't think it should be even at number 11 because you're putting it above the likes of Guardians of the Galaxy and Dark Knight Rises.
No, I'm not. Guardians is number 9, you said, I think.
I think it was literally going.
Yeah, so you are right though.
It was literally going just in front of the Dark Knight Rises, wasn't it?
See, I made my point clear with that. I couldn't care about Dark Knight Rises or Batman Begins. They can go to the bottom for me. I generally feel that way. I don't care.
See, but you're saying you don't care where that falls on the list. I don't think Weird Science should be falling very high on the list at all. Because you're
It's hard to like. I've always loved Weird Science.
So
I didn't
have
even know it until John mentioned it's a comic book film. That's the twist for me. I was like, oh, it can count. Like, you know, it's genuinely a comic book.
Because comic books aren't my favourite genre. My favourite genre of cinema is 80s movies, specifically the director
Like John
of this.
Hughes,
John
yeah.
Hughes, for me, made some of the best films.
Yeah, I mean,
in
make
his
no mistake,
time.
this was massive in the 80s, this
It was
film.
big.
Like, all of his films, Ferris Bueller's Day Off. St. Elmo's
Honestly,
Fire.
if you come to see my collection, John Hughes has his own sort of shelf of
Okay,
things.
what if we drop it at number 12?
What's number 12?
So, like, at number 12, it would drop below The Dark Knight Rises, but it would be above Captain America Civil War, the 1989 Batman, and Superman from 1978.
Oh my
I'm fine
god.
with
This
that.
better be an amazing film.
This better be good.
You either get it or you don't. Do you know what I mean? If you
No,
want
I'm not
to-
on a Marmite film.
Yeah, no, it's not like that.
In
It's not
the-
like that. It's a hilarious comedy.
It is. I
Would you be happy if we put it below The Dark Knight Rises?
I would. I'd be happier above
If
it. But yeah,
John, you're
I'm
not
fine
that
with that.
fussed really on
I'm
where
not
this
saying
would
that.
fall.
I thought it was worth a mention because it.
Definitely
because of
worth
what it
mentioning.
is.
Definitely worth mentioning. I just think that where it's falling now, which is better than Civil War.
That's for you to disagree. That the people who've seen Civil War, I can't agree with.
It's
put it.
John, it falls to you on this then,
I-
because you're the only one
Me?
who's seen both of those.
But
you
you know, I'm biased. You know how I feel about Marvel films.
Can
so-
you convince me that it is better than Captain America: Civil War?
Well, I don't know because I've not seen it. So
I know,
that
but can
falls
you
to John.
tell me what about this film makes it a high ranking
I wouldn't
film?
have put it there.
Like, so,
Bump
no,
it down.
Well, this is what I'm saying. Like, this is what I'm saying. John's not that particularly asked about
No,
where this
it's
film
John. I
goes,
can't
So,
do it.
John,
I love it.
can you tell me why it's higher than Captain America?
It's like,
Civil
you'd
War?
find it really funny, I think.
it is
it's
funny.
the kind of humour you'd find funny. John Hughes, set in like 1985, Downey Jr. is this absolute arse in the film, bullying these two. It's like basically like a story about two geeks
Two
who
little nerdy
make
kids.
like the perfect girl, and they just take.
They use her to make themselves cooler
Oh.
at school.
Sorry, can I jump in? Bill and Ted. You love Bill and Ted.
It's like Bill and Ted.
Yeah.
It's like a comic booky version of that, basically.
Are you saying it's better than the original Batman?
No,
No.
Right. Well, it should be further down the list then.
But I think 300's better than Watchmen, and that's further down the list, so it doesn't
I know,
work. It
but
doesn't work that way.
We can't get too far
No.
into this because
Yeah.
it's going to go on for a
I
while.
dragged it into this list so I could make you aware of it because it should be watched. I feel like it's you have to watch.
I'm cool with it after Dark Knight Rises if that's what you want to do.
Yeah.
I feel like for now, as a compromise, we put the Weird Science between The Dark Knight Rises and we put it above.
And just one final point. It's got the best theme song ever written.
It's pretty.
Oingo Boingo.
Right. Okay, you've picked.
Honestly, just listen to it. It's fun.
Okay,
If you want fun from a film, watch it.
For now, let's put it sort of preliminarily at number, I think it's
12.
11 or 12.
Yeah,
I think it
I'm
was.
I'm
Okay.
fine with that.
Put it there for now.
It wasn't the
Cool.
top 10 for me. It was just
Let's move on. I'm gonna bring up the film Deadpool. All right, Josh, you've perked up, so have I. Deadpool for me should be in the top 10. Now I will accept it not being in the top 10 because I understand the strong feelings about it.
No.
Josh, you.
Wait. I just want to point out why it shouldn't be in the top 10 for you. You gave it 3.5.
Yeah.
And you're putting the top 10 coming
Yeah.
up.
Oh,
films of
yeah,
all
yeah,
time.
yeah. But like,
You gave it 3.5 out of 5.
No. I've thought about this long
you
and
can't
hard.
go back on this.
No. I've thought about this long enough before this podcast. Like, there's a different. I can give the film 4.5 or a 4-star. I might think Guardians of the Galaxy 2. I prefer over Guardians of the Galaxy 1. But I
You
didn't
gave that
put it-
3.5.
Yeah, but I didn't put Guardians of the Galaxy 2 into this list. I thought.
It didn't have as much meaning as the other
See,
film.
I enjoyed it more. It was a better film for me. But
Yeah.
Guardians 1.
I just want to point out, you want to put a film in the top 10 comic book films of all time.
But
You
you
gave it
can't
3.5 out of 5.
Yeah.
An average film.
I gave it.
No.
That's all I wanted to point out.
You can
Carry on.
You can sit back and drink your beer there, John. Pretend you made a good point.
Every film I've argued for is a 5 out of 5 for me.
See, yeah, but I give 5 out of 5s much more rarely than you do.
But this
This isn't an argument. Hang on, this isn't a discussion about.
I just wanted to highlight that. That was all I wanted to do.
But I could enjoy a film that I would rate more average than a higher rated film because I enjoyed it more. It doesn't mean like I know a film. I can look at a film and have an opinion on it where I enjoyed it more, but I don't think it's as good as another film that I didn't enjoy as much.
Because it's not.
Because
I would argue for any film to be in a top 10 list if it's not 5 out of 5.
I reckon that this top 10 list will not be made out of 5-star films.
It is for everything I've argued for is 5 stars.
Okay, let's go to Nick.
Right, I love this film.
Yeah.
I think as much as John might not agree with this, I think the comedy is on point. I think the film is just amazing. I think the action scenes are amazing. Again, it's a Fox film, so I have a bit of a vendetta against that.
Yeah.
But like, I still wouldn't rate it top 5 at all.
No.
I'll probably put that behind Superman 2, probably.
I'm cool with that.
But you know the thing I don't like about
Alright.
it? The slow down scenes where they slow down some of the scenes. I'm not a big fan of that.
I'll be honest with you, I watched it once. I can't remember
They slow
much about
stuff
it
down.
now.
I'm not a huge fan of it. It's like to add comedy to the value. Like a man goes over on a bridge and a man
I know
jumps
what you
over on
mean.
his bike and he pulls his like boxes
Yeah.
over the back of his head or
And
something.
like the credits are all slowed down.
I don't.
Yeah.
I'm not too keen on that. And I know it goes hand in hand with that anti-hero breaking the fourth wall, making comedy out of something that's not supposed to be. Like
I get that the comedy doesn't hit for everybody. But what I'm going to ask is like, if you looked at films based on comic books, now I know the feeling in the room is quite strong for like the likes of 300. Is Deadpool better than 300?
no.
Yes.
I
No.
think I also.
No.
I don't
way.
think it is.
So we're getting outvoted here, Josh.
I would
So
not agree with that.
I think Deadpool sits probably around the same level as Guardians of the Galaxy.
I'm cool with that.
Because
You know I don't like it, but I'm cool with it.
Deadpool's something I've never read as a comic. Neither was Ant-Man. But the point you made about Ant-Man before makes me want to. This I know I've seen and it just.
I think
It's
Ant-Man
not there
does
for me.
what Deadpool does. Like it's sort of comedy.
It sounds like in a
superhero.
better way though.
Possibly, but
Because he's an
depending on-
actual superhero. He's an anti-superhero Deadpool. So it's not
Anti-superhero.
And not in the other way, but Deadpool's like this anti-hero. He doesn't like super. He kind of makes jokes and references the X-Men, and it's kind of like why.
Let's say Deadpool fell below Guardians of the Galaxy for
To be
now.
fair, Deadpool, like, all of it is taken directly from the comics. It is a comic book film in its core. That's what it is. But like, it's not. It's funny. I enjoy the film, but I still wouldn't rate it as highly as any other. Like I say, Superman 2. It'd probably go behind that.
So Josh is a big fan.
Well, it's not that I'm a big fan. I just think in the title of this podcast, comic books, I think this should be in the top 5 because I think in regards
Not let's
to
finish.
in regards to the rest of superhero movies, I think they're so serious when they're not serious. I think sometimes they need taking down a peg, and Deadpool does that. Deadpool absolutely just takes it down a few pegs by breaking the fourth walls, and just...
I think you've swayed me a bit there, to be honest, Josh. I like Deadpool. I wasn't seeing in sort of the top 5 or anything, but I can see it in the top 10.
The one thing, like Josh mentioned there, that it's catching me out kind of thing, I've been saying it's a comic book list. This film is a perfect adaptation of that. I don't like the comic book, but it's a perfect adaptation of that.
So in your
it
world,
does just what
sorry, John, in your world, this is number 1.
No, because I don't like it.
I'm just saying, like, if you're gonna call me out earlier on the episode, John, I'm gonna call you out. If you're gonna rate these based on the comic books and the film adaptations to it, Deadpool is your favourite film.
I'll give it that. It's a good adaptation of that humour from the comic book.
Yeah.
I don't personally like it, but as an adaptation, it's successful. Made a shit ton of money,
I've got a point. Why reference the X-Men at all?
Because it's Fox.
I know, but if
Because
you're your
it-
own thing, you don't need to reference
Oh no,
these
but
other
I
points.
think he was part of the X-Men at one point,
He
wasn't he?
was an
Kind of.
X-Man. He was an X-Man. That's the whole reason he was mentioned.
I know, but he keeps mentioning it, and isn't the part in the film where he just goes and sees 2 random X-Men?
But do you know,
Yeah.
like,
I know-
like, that's the appeal that Deadpool can only get hold of 2 shit X-Men. Like,
But
that's the appeal.
why do you have to mention someone else? If you're your own thing and you used to be part of him, but you're not anymore, why do you have to reference back to the X-Men? And,
I don't
and
like
have
that.
them in your film? I hate that.
I don't like that argument though. I don't think it matters. Like, that's part of the joke though, isn't it? That he's got 2 shit X-Men in the film.
No,
Yeah.
no, that's not
all
the
they can
point. That's
afford,
not the
like.
point of
Like-
making the 2 shit X-Men.
I mean-
Why reference them at all?
That is the point though, that they could only afford those 2 X-Men. That's the joke.
I don't see why they needed to be in
But
it
for
at
me
all.
personally, like I'm a big fan of the X-Men films. I like that. That's the one of the bits of the film. I
Yeah.
think, I'm like, oh, it's the X-Men. Like I like that.
He makes jokes about fucking Patrick Stewart or James McAvoy.
Yeah.
He literally
Well, yeah,
mentions.
yeah, I don't
I know you're not a fan of the 4th wall breaking.
I think like the fact that he mentioned them was like he had to do it because like it's part of the Fox. So I'm gonna just coin this this saying. It's part of the Foxiverse.
Well, I'll give you that.
Oh dear.
Sponsored.
You know what I mean? Like he kind of needed to say like I'm part of this universe. Like maybe one day you can see me with.
It's the fact that the
X-Men.
comic's not strong enough on its own merit.
Oh, I
It's
think it
not-
is.
No, if
I
you have
think
to
it
reference
is.
something big like the X-Men to try and make people understand that you are part of them, then clearly you're not big enough on your own right.
I think you missed the point though. That's
I've
not
not
the
missed-
point. That's not the point.
Yeah,
It is about the Foxiverse. If you're trying to show you're in the same universe as the
This
X-Men,
podcast is
then
brought
and
to
you have
you
to
by-
drop it, then
Alright, I'll take your point, John. John, you've
in
got-
terms of that, like, why wouldn't Fox do it? They've got a whole franchise there of really popular films. Like Days of Future Past was massive.
Fox have
box
done
office
it
wise.
because they know how shit the comic
No,
was.
no. Why wouldn't they think let's coin in it? Let's link it into this universe we've already got. This makes sense, doesn't it? You
De-
don't think?
No.
Josh.
Let's just not forget, dead quick, let's just not forget one of Deadpool's powers is 4th wall breaking.
Yeah.
Literally.
That is funnier to me than anything in the film.
I feel like the whole reason that they had to bring him in is like it was all right as a standalone film purely because like the whole reason the film was made was because like the fans wanted it to be made. They made like a shitty little like what I don't know what it was, but they made a film and people were like, I want to see that film.
Yeah.
That's why the
How
film
many
was
years
made.
did it take Ryan Reynolds
That's
to get
why
the
the film was made though, because people wanted it to be made.
No, but Ryan Reynolds was a fan, and he's a big name in Hollywood, but couldn't get the film made for years. Why is that?
Because it's such a controversial
Exactly.
superhero character to get the backing to do.
Yeah.
Like I went to see, when Deadpool came out, I went to the Manchester Comic Con, and I'm not messing. Deadpool was the most dressed up character.
Oh,
you
yeah,
saw
absolutely.
around there. Everybody loved Deadpool, and Deadpool for me
Do you know what that
should
is?
be in this top 10.
I agree.
Fickle, fake comic people.
And what at the Comic Con? At
Why?
Manchester Comic Con.
Doesn't
It's not
matter.
a
Anyone
fickle
could go
people.
Manchester Comic Con. You can walk in from the street and pay for a ticket on the door.
But you're not
Doesn't
going to
mean-
go Comic Con if you're not a fan of comics, and most of the people there were dressed as Deadpool.
No, but some people just like to make a scene and like to be dressed up. It doesn't matter who you are, when it is. It could be fucking New Year's Eve.
I disagree with this argument.
Deadpool was relevant to the time of the Comic Con, so they dressed up as that. Give him a few years and tell me there's still people going as Deadpool.
I think they will. I would place money on the fact that they will.
I'm not sure. To be fair to Jono, I think like when I went a couple of years ago, it was all Bane, like the Batman film.
They-
just come
they-
out. They've
to
all
the
died
time-
off now, kind of thing. But I just can't believe that you all know how much I hate Deadpool. You guys are actually winning me over here. And Jono's take up the mantle of hating Deadpool. I can't believe it.
I'll be
What
honest,
swayed you over?
a bit pointing out that in terms of a comic book film, it is a really successful comic book film. Isn't it? I can't argue with that. You know,
as its own merit, is it ever going to be an iconic thing? In 10 years, is anyone going to even remember what Deadpool is?
Definitely.
New people.
I don't know. I'm happy with Jono on that. I think it might get forgotten about.
It's a forgotten person.
Oh, this is what
It's the new Green Lantern, the new Daredevil.
I was going to mention Daredevil.
It is.
No.
Right,
No. I'm sorry. I'm
Calm
sorry,
down,
but
but-
no. Deadpool will not be forgotten in 10 years. In 10 years' time, that will still remembered as an iconic film. It will be.
It'll be a classic. Sky will have their own movie channel.
Sky Deadpool.
But like you are winning me over a bit. I do agree with what John was saying a bit there. I think in 10 years it might be a bit like swept under the carpet kind of thing. But going back to our discussion from before, you were saying to me, is The Dark Knight a better film than Logan? Yeah, it's a better film. I don't think Deadpool's particularly a good film, but as a comic book film on a comic book film list, I can't argue against it.
Top 10. Right, let's just cut through all bullshit now.
Okay.
Is it top 10?
Yeah.
Yes.
I think it is.
Well,
It's definitely top 10.
I'm going to use both.
It's without a doubt top 10.
3 on 2. 3 strong.
I'm out altogether, so...
Would you put Deadpool above Ant-Man? Maybe.
Yes.
I mean, I think I would. Whilst I enjoy Ant-Man, I wouldn't put it above
You
Watchmen.
Well, you have done.
That's
Yeah, don't put it there.
that's the exact place I would place it. I would put it at like number 6. That's exactly where I would put it as number 6.
Wow, I conceded a film I loved before, and I have to sit and let this go as number 6.
Which one was that?
I love Weird Science, but I let it go because it goes over the head of these
I
three.
fought for it more than you did.
Because I'm trying to convince 3 people that have never seen
No,
it.
that's fair.
No, hang on. Didn't go over the head of the 3 of us. We just haven't seen it.
That's
So
the-
as a
really
podcast
difference.
group, we can't put it any higher if most of the podcast haven't seen it.
Yeah.
Can we-
I didn't see Watchmen or Logan, but I rated that high based on the arguments.
Yeah, can I be with John away then? We'll give you this. You can have Deadpool wherever you want it, but
Number 1.
you can have him wherever you want him. But bump with Sans up to number 11.
I'll put Weird Science up for the sake of having Deadpool film.
And that's only because 3 years
Yep.
haven't seen it, so me trying to convince one person's fine, trying to convince 3 different opinions.
Yeah, John,
I
you're
will,
not happy with that?
Yeah? But it's just that
Weird Science will put above the Dark Knight Rises. I
Deadpool
don't
is
like that,
one
but
of
we'll
the
do it.
worst
I am more than
comic
happy
book
with
films I've
it
seen.
going above the Dark Knight Rises. That's more than happy. I'm more than happy.
Deadpool at the moment is number 7 in our list.
I'm
fairly happy
with that.
What's up, calm down.
See, this is what I'm talking about.
Well, we can come back. Let's come back to it. Let's move on to another film and then come back to it.
Okay. Yeah.
What's next?
Yeah, we've
Can I have
got
that,
3 more
I am
films on the
without,
list.
but
Okay.
Got 3 more films on the list. Sin City. Right. This is a highly rated film as well.
This
Okay.
might throw a spanner in the works. This one.
I'm going to throw a spanner.
Because I think this is a really good film.
So do I. Yeah,
I love the black and the red, the black and white and the red aspect to it. That is amazing for me.
I've got one question for all of you.
Yep.
How recently have you watched it?
About 5 years
Probably
ago.
about 3 or 4 years.
Within 1 year,
Right.
but it stayed with me.
Hang on, Nick, do you want to answer
His
John's question
take
there as
stayed
well, like the rest of us?
I've not watched it pretty much since it came out.
John, why did you ask?
My only point is I watched it when it came out, loved it. Absolutely loved it, great, 5 out of 5. Watched it about 2 years ago when the new one came out and I was like, this hasn't aged as well as I thought it would. It's not,
Do you not feel like it's aged well?
I still like it, but it's
Yeah,
just not a 5-star film.
No, but like me and John watched it 3, 4, 5 years ago.
Yeah.
We still both really loved it.
I know, but like if you to watch it, like John said, like if you watched it a year ago, how
no.
would you have rated
But
it?
if we're doing that comic based on a comic book thing,
I still like it, really like it, but it's just not where it was for me, kind of thing. I mean,
I'll accept your points for now.
just watch one final point. Tarantino directs like a third of this film.
Right.
You know how much I love Tarantino.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
you can tell.
Josh, your point.
For me personally, this is, and bear with me, number 1 on this entire list. Absolutely number 1. Because I think some of us are forgetting the title of this podcast. It's comic book movies, and this is literally a moving comic book.
But hang on,
Josh is
hang on.
bringing the reels in.
No, right. I understand your point, and like Nick, I know you've got something to say about this, but this is not the best comic book film ever.
This is not my favourite film
No,
on this
but it's
list,
the
not by
argument.
far, but it's the best comic book.
I
Film
think
on this
based on
list.
that argument, based on the point you just made, it should not be number one.
I think Nick has a counter
Yeah,
argument.
Nick, you've.
This is
Fine.
categorically not number one on this list. Categorically, I'm sorry, but that is a great film, Sin City. Like,
Great.
from what I remember, it's an amazing film, but it is categorically not number one.
Why?
This is going behind maybe. Let me have a look. It's probably going behind like 300, if I'm honest with you.
Well,
Okay, Nick's thrown an idea out there.
I've
Jono?
got an argument. I totally agree with the comic book thing. I love the way it has it in like little snippets when it's going through the film. That in itself is amazing. That completely engrosses comic book people.
And some of the acting is amazing in the film. Benicio del Toro
Yeah.
is great. Clive Owen, I think, is in
Yeah,
it.
Clive Owen's in it.
Mickey Rourke.
Mickey Rourke
as Marv
makes
is
that
amazing.
film, so-
Like, yeah, lots of great performances. I mentioned Tarantino directed a third of it.
Yeah.
Frank Miller, who wrote the comic, directed a third of it. And Robert Rodriguez, who did like
Yeah.
Planet Terror, The Faculty, you love The
Blood
Faculty.
Faculty.
He did a third of it as well.
Are we saying Sin City is better than 300?
I do.
For me, they're very similar. They're both Frank Miller. So
I think it is better, to be perfectly
Yeah.
honest.
It
I'm
could be,
cool
yeah,
with
and I'm basing this on like we're doing this comic thing. As we're saying, if it's about the comic, the way it flicks through, like it's flicking through the pages of a
Well,
comic.
it's how do you feel about Jono? Like,
I-
you're going to rate it differently to what Jono rates it. Do you think Sin City should be above?
Yeah, because I love the cinematography of it. That's different. That's not even me watching the film. That's the way it plays out, the way it looks, the fact that the little bits of red in the black and white.
The
I love that.
cinematography and stuff like that is great.
It's superb. That's why I love it, because I get engrossed in it.
Nick?
It's fine. You just put that above Ant-Man, and I was
Yeah, I don't.
I'm not okay with that.
I
But
would
it's
literally-
gone down the list now.
I would literally put it next to 300.
I'm
Personally,
sorry, Nick. I'm with Jono on that. Sin City's
It's
probably
kind of
above 300, but it's probably not far
just
off.
only
like,
just though.
personally, I would put 300 above Sin City, if I'm honest with you.
It's so
Josh,
close.
I think Sin City is I think 300's a much better film than Sin City.
Josh, how do you feel?
I agree 300 is a better film
It is
than
better
Sin
film.
City. I couldn't agree more, but Sin City is a comic book film so much more than 300 is. I could tell by far that Sin City is a comic book film. I only found out today that 300 was a comic book film.
I know, but if we were rating this on whether it's a comic book film or not, this list would be completely different. I'm sorry, but
Sin City-
No, I agree.
Sorry, let's come to John, because John, you need to give your opinion on Sin City.
I'm with Nick. I mean, it's all very similar, but I put 300 above Sin City. But I don't feel that strongly about
No.
it. But I
Should
do. I probably prefer it. But they're both.
Should
I
we
like
vote
them
as
both.
to which order we want it in?
I mean,
It's
it
equally-
sounds
it
like
should
Sin
be
City
basically
should be
fair.
higher.
But again, what are we
I'm-
voting on? Because I
Well-
think 300 is a better film than Sin City.
But that's it.
But
though.
this is how, hang on, just
What
jump
would
in.
you
I know
prefer to be
everyone's like got their hands up and everything. Like Josh, the way that people are viewing this, it's how they want to sort of. This is the podcast's list of comic book films. It's up to you how you want to pull that together. If you think Sin City is a more accurate portrayal of the comic, and you think that's a better comic book film, you can rate it however you want. But it's up to you what you want on it.
Okay, sorry to interrupt.
But I do feel 300 though. It is actually a great comic book film as well. It has all the slow motion stuff, all the blood, like Spartacus, blood splattering everywhere.
I can see the
It has a
similarities.
comic book look to it, and it has all these weird orcs almost that come up to the fight and stuff.
I feel like as much as you say Sin City is definitely categorically a comic book film, we're not voting on whether it is a comic book film. We're basically voting on whether it's a good film or not.
That's
'Cause otherwise, I'm sorry,
it's
but
your-
this list would be completely different if we were.
That's
voting.
what- that's my
it's
point
how
on
you-
it.
It's your own personal taste in it,
It's
kind
your
of
own
thing.
review.
I know, but
Yeah.
Josh's reason for that being higher than 300 was the fact that it's a better comic book film.
But this is what John rates most of his films on.
Yeah,
it's
I
down to
didn't agree with
personal
that
taste.
before.
I know, but that's John. Like Josh is literally putting the higher purely because of the fact that it's a comic book film, and this would be completely different if we all voted on that.
I know, but we're not all voting.
Why
on
don't we
So
vote?
however you want
I don't
to
want to
do
be a
it,
stickler. At all.
I'm going to ask.
If I'm
a
voting
yes/no
wrong, tell
question
me.
here. I'm gonna give you a yes/no question. I'm just giving you one word as we go around the room.
Okay.
And we'll move on to the next one. Should 300 be above Sin City? I think no. Nick,
I think 300 should definitely be above Sin City. Yes.
above.
No.
Yes.
So at the moment, we're coming down to you, Jono. What do you think? Because I don't feel that strongly about which one should be higher. I really don't.
No, to be fair, I don't care. They're
Go on.
equally as good.
Yeah, that's why I was thinking. I'll just go 300 is better
I'm
because
quite happy to go along
I'm
with
more of what is the better film.
Yeah,
I'm quite happy
and
to
I
go
agree.
along.
300 is the better
Because
film.
I can't be a hypocrite before John because I based my argument
I
against
didn't
you.
call you a
No,
hypocrite.
I didn't say you did. I said I had an argument with you before based on the fact that I said it was all about the film, not about.
Oh, right, okay.
So I can't go against that.
No, no, no.
300,
Yeah,
300.
I appreciate that.
I can't go against that.
Yeah, we're moving on.
Yeah, again, maybe I'm voting wrong, but I'm happy with how that went.
No, it's down to you,
It
Josh.
felt, it felt right worthy for
I'm quite happy with that. I don't really have too
Yeah.
bad feelings about that. We've got 2 last films on this. Now, I'm wondering how this is going to go. We have The Amazing Spider-Man, which is the Andrew Garfield's first film of Spider-Man, or Superman 2, which, whilst I've not seen the film, like I've mentioned earlier, this is highly rated in
Superman 2.
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man
Sorry.
2. You called me out on a previous podcast about getting those 2.
Sorry.
We got The Amazing Spider-Man with Andrew Garfield, which is his first outing of Spider-Man, or Spider-Man 2, which is Tobey Maguire's second film, which, before I move on, I can't remember that film, but that is such a highly rated comic film. It's in a lot of people's top 5 list of comic films ever. So I would like to get opinions on this and where they should be falling in this top list.
This might sound controversial, but the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man 2, take Tobey Maguire out of the film, is a better film.
I don't want to argue about Tobey Maguire though.
But that's what I mean.
not interesting.
That's why I took him out. And I've said, I don't know, I've just said Spider-Man 2 is a better film than The Amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah, I agree.
Without doubt. Because I'm going on based on films, it is.
But it's a better comic
That's
book
why I
film.
said forget about Tobey Maguire and anyone's feeling. As a film and the context and whatever,
Yeah.
it's a better film.
I mean, Josh, Nick, how do you feel about putting Spider-Man 2 above The Amazing Spider-Man first?
Never seen Spider-Man 2, so I can't have too much of an opinion.
I think
The
me and you
Amazing
are in-
Spider-Man, I really enjoyed it. But, again, never seen Spider-Man 2,
Again,
so
like if these are telling
so
us
do
that
I.
Spider-Man 2 is the better film, I can't really.
then I
I'm-
can't disagree.
I'm an Amazing Spider-Man fan. Andrew Garfield, definitely a better Spider-Man, but for some reason the other film's better.
Okay.
Can we come with some Nick? Nick's not giving an opinion on these 2 yet.
Right.
Have you got an opinion?
I love The Amazing Spider-Man.
So do I.
I think Andrew Garfield was amazing in that role. I think the film in itself was an amazing film. Spider-Man 2, like I've seen it years ago, can't freaking recall it if I'm honest with you. It's not in my memory because I just don't care. I would probably, if I'm honest with you, in the list that we've got right now, I'd probably keep them 2 pretty much down there, right at the bottom.
19 and 20.
Yeah, I wouldn't put them any higher than that.
Would you swap them around or keep them as they are?
I personally, I would put Amazing Spider-Man at number 19.
But then I would say, based on the arguments that are getting made, Spider-Man 2 should probably be above The Amazing Spider-Man.
Like I say, I'm more than happy to concede on this one, but personally, I would put those 2 at the bottom of the list we've got. But
So let's like me and Josh look like Josh. I think me and you looking like we sort of agree with that.
I
Yeah,
agree.
no, I agree.
Like Josh, sorry, Jono,
be right.
Jono, you agree. John, how do you feel about
Well, I don't.
Spider-Man 2?
For me, Spider-Man 2 being in the top 10 easily, but
Do you reckon?
I haven't got the. I
energy.
can't be bothered arguing about it.
I want this to be. This needs to be a legitimate list, though, John. So it's like you need to
To
tell
be
us
legitimate, you've got to have that in the top 10.
Spider-Man 2.
Because
Yeah.
can you explain how it's better than any of them films got? Even just normal.
Sorry, yeah. Can I?
Better than
I'll
what
run through
films?
I'll run through the name of films
Yeah.
that I got in the top 10. You tell me Spider-Man 2 is better than any of these.
Spider-Man 2 is a great film, but I can't put it above them because.
Above what?
I'll read
Superman,
them out.
maybe
I'll read them out. Right. Spider-Man 2, is it better than Logan? I'm talking to John only here. So John, is it better than Logan?
Personally, I might. It'd be up there
Just
for
a
me,
yes
but
or
I'm
no,
not.
John.
Well, yeah.
You think Spider-Man 2 is better than Logan?
Yeah, I think it probably is.
Okay. Do you think it's better than Batman the Dark Knight?
It's a better comic book film than Batman the Dark Knight.
Do you think it's better than X-Men Days of Future Past?
No, I don't.
Do you think it's better than The Avengers?
Yeah. Yeah, I do, yeah.
So at the moment, you're putting Spider-Man 2 right at the top.
I know, but
Because this is
I
his
haven't
personal list, isn't it?
I haven't got the passion to argue it because I know you're not going to go through it like so.
From the sounds,
It's amazing. Like it's Sam Raimi, Evil Dead director.
All right, John. Let me throw some lighter arguments at you. Do you reckon Spider-Man 2 is better than Batman Begins?
Yeah,
Do you reckon it's better than Superman from 1978?
yeah.
Do you think it's better than, let's say,
Basically, until Days of Future Past, I thought it was the best comic book film.
better than Captain America: Civil War?
Yeah.
Are we all happy if we move Spider-Man 2 up a bit?
I am a Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I'm a Spider-Man fan.
Because I like Spider-Man, I just don't
I
remember
mean,
this
it's
film.
got the best. For me,
I can't get behind it being moved up that high.
for me,
I can get behind it being put in front of Superman 1978. I can get behind it being put behind Batman Begins and even Batman 1989. But like I can't see it getting put any higher.
Like higher than Captain America: Civil War, Dark Knight Rises, Weird Science.
like for me though, the villain in this film, Doctor Octopus, the best comic book villain ever in a film. Like better than Heath Ledger's Joker, better than all them.
What?
It's sympathetic. You've got to watch it. You've got to watch it again.
Like,
It's
no,
amazing.
no.
hang on, I can't just like make a point. Like Dark Knight, you love that film.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that film. You're telling me I've not seen
Doctor
Spider-Man.
Octopus is a better villain than Heath Ledger's Joker.
It's
It's not even that. The old Penguin. How is he better than the Penguin?
How is he not better than the Penguin?
Alright.
You can't counter
Danny
that
DeVito with his underwear. I'm not. Doctor Octopus is definitely ahead of him.
John, if I parked Spider-Man 2, probably what looks like 15th in this list or like 16th in this list.
That's
No,
not
I'm
me.
still in
mean-
the top 10, but
Just saying, you are rising it purely based on John's.
I'm basing it.
Hey,
opinion.
Can
Like,
can
I
I
know.
say-
I know. That's why I've not got the
it's-
passion to argue.
No,
for
no,
it,
that's
so
it. Like,
it's- no, but like
I'm fighting a losing battle.
Who's 10? If John thinks he's in the top 10, who would be
to be
dropped
fair,
out?
to be fair though, like we
No,
are
but
we are voting on a top 10 list here.
No,
I'm just thinking,
I haven't got the passion
who's
to
10th, and is it
fight
better
for
than that 10th film? To even make
Well, I
that?
think
Like-
for legitimacy purposes, it should be in there, but you
But
know,
I
that's-
get
that's
what
on
you,
the-
no, I get what you're saying because I know that it's one
if
of
you
the
check
most.
like Metacritic, it's one of the highest
I
rated.
know, John, I'm
comic
not
book
asked
films.
on
But they
Metacritic, but I agree.
critic-
Hang on. Hang on.
Metacritic's based on critics, not general people. Critics don't.
It's one of the biggest box office films ever, comic book
No,
films.
but John, before you reply to that, it's like I understand what John's saying here. It's like Spider-Man 2 is known as one of the most critically acclaimed comic book films
Yeah,
ever.
by
but,
critics.
But then like
We're not
critically acclaimed
critics.
and box. No, I know, but like I feel
No,
like
I
where
say
it
it's
is
cool.
in the list now.
I say it's cool. I don't want to fight for it that much, like you know.
I just mean this is our list. We're not critics.
I think
we're just
I'm
doing
trying to just get a
amateur.
fight out of you, really, John. So, like,
Yeah.
He's super.
I'll leave it there. I'll leave it here for now.
Too many builds have gone by now.
Let's go from 20 to 1 in the list, and we're gonna go slowly one by one, right? And you're gonna tell me, or anyone's gonna tell me here, they don't like what that number is at.
Okay.
So at the moment we got number 20, The Amazing Spider-Man.
I don't like that.
You don't like that.
We've not even spoke about that. We've had like 10 minutes talking about just Spider-Man 2. We've barely touched The Amazing
Yeah.
Spider-Man.
Let's go for it.
Talk about it.
Oh, no, don't look at me like.
You are the one making the argument for this.
You know what, to be fair, again, I might just be biased because I've not seen a lot of the films on here. I really liked it. I think for modern day, I think it was a great film.
So did I.
I'm almost. It deserves so hard to be above as Batman Begins.
They bang on. They got Spider-Man banged on.
Yeah.
Like it should be a goofy, nerdy. Do you know what I mean? He almost needs to look so young. Tobey Maguire was like 30 and looked it.
Yeah.
Andrew Garfield was 30.
I know that's what I mean, but didn't
No,
look
he was
it.
literally 30
He
when
was
he made that
literally, but
film.
doesn't look it.
No, I'd go as far as saying that like the general feel of this room, I think that is number 20 in this list.
Really? Does everyone else agree?
I
I'll go with everyone else.
I would genuinely push Amazing Spider-Man up a few there. if I'm
I'd put
honest.
it above Batman Begins. If
I
you
would
want.
put Batman Begins at the bottom.
I put because it's not like I said. It's nothing more than just a crossover.
John,
A stepping stone for
Stepping
next
stone.
movies.
That's all.
John,
it is.
can I look at you here? What's your opinion on
We'll
that?
keep moving.
Well, I
Because-
think.
He doesn't really like
I
it.
mean, yeah, I think it's probably the worst film on the list, but it's so weird. Batman Begins being 19.
But this is it.
This is the
We're
thing,
going,
innit?
we're going
This
through
is
the-
Let's
us, though,
compromise,
isn't it?
haven't we? Yeah. So.
this list we got up to now, which is The Amazing
Like
Spider-Man.
I
Is it the
fought for
top
Weird
10 that
Science earlier.
counts?
Yeah, but we're trying.
We'll have a top 20 list out of this.
I'd
Like,
put
this
it
is
above.
like I've said twice before on the podcast. The camel is the whole designed by.
I'll put-
That's the thing. I mean, I'm feeling regretful now because before
Yeah,
I,
but
didn't,
John, we
I
can-
didn't care about Batman Begins. I fought for Weird Science, and I'm thinking, what have I done? Batman Begins is 19.
Yeah, but like the heart to fight for Batman Begins to be higher is not there for most of us.
No, I agree. I'm just saying personally. I'm thinking like, what have I done? Like,
To me, like it sounds like The Amazing Spider-Man should be above Batman Begins because three of us call it forgettable.
I'm cool with that.
Like,
I did say before, I don't care about Dark Knight Rises or Batman
Yeah.
Begins.
let's be honest. The numbers 11 to 20 are the
the booby
more-
prizes, aren't they?
Yeah, the booby prizes. We got so like let's just switch around there. Batman Begins is the number 20 film on our list.
That's fine. I was just saying I'd switch that.
Perfectly fine with that.
Yeah, I'm happy with that.
with I mean personally, it's probably in my top 15.
What is?
Batman Begins.
Batman Begins, like I said before, doesn't it makes it the two, but there's no relevance in it being in the top 10 or 15.
You can watch the next two films in that trilogy without watching the first one. Personally, that's what I think.
Also,
No, because you're missing a large
Begins.
part of the.
no, you couldn't watch the third one without
You couldn't.
the whole Ra's al
A lot-
Ghul
you
stuff.
need-
Sorry, you got Liam Neeson
I
on here.
disagree.
Yeah.
It makes
okay.
the story. That's what.
I actually watched the second and third film without even knowing that there was a first film.
But you don't like the third one, so
I
you might not
know,
like
but I
it.
went back
Builds
and
the
watched the
story.
first one and then watched them all in order, and that first film is awful. It
Let's-
is just a bad film.
I can't agree with that.
We're leaving it at number 20.
Yeah.
It's,
Well,
it's
I'm cool with
anchoring,
that.
it's
That's
anchoring
fine.
this list. We're all happy with that.
Yeah.
Amazing Spider-Man has dropped to number 90, or like it's moved up to number 90.
Yeah.
We're all
Yeah.
pretty much happy with that.
Yeah.
Superman 1978 has found itself at number 18 on this list. I've not seen the film, so I don't care.
Nope, I've not seen it. Don't care.
I've seen it, but I'm happy with that.
I'm a
Yeah.
massive fan, and I'll let it stay there because
Okay.
that's where it
And
should
we've
be.
got part 2 further up.
Well,
so-
that's where that one is.
Yeah, let's move forward with it. Batman 1989 version. That's at 17
Yeah.
on the list.
I'll take that.
Is everybody happy with that?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's one of them, like, I'm not happy with it, but it's like, where else would I put it, you know?
There's
Nice.
nowhere else
We've gone
where
through all,
you
yeah.
compare it.
Spider-Man 2 is at number 16.
Yeah.
Now, John, you were the one fighting for that, and we've just been
Yeah.
talking about it. I think number 16 is probably a fair place for that. It was
I
highly
think it should
crit-
definitely be top 10, but
I know
I'm
what you're
not
saying,
gonna
but
fight
like,
for it,
for
so-
our podcast one, I feel like that's where it has to fall.
No,
I
Taking
think-
into account what you're saying and how it is, that's probably where it needs to
Well, I
be.
made an argument before for it.
I don't care for the film, but like, I'm happy with 16.
Yeah, I made an argument for it before, but I couldn't put it any higher than that. I've let it go above Batman
Yeah.
because
Well, I think
it
it's
means
better
more
than
to you. Yeah.
Moving on.
Moving on, we got Captain America Civil War at number 15. I'm quite fine with that at the moment.
I've not seen it, but
Okay.
I'll watch it. I mean, it's not. It's just taking note as to what I'll go and watch.
That's where it fell at the moment. It's number
That's
15.
fine with me. I don't know.
I'm quite happy with that.
I'd put it above things, but I'm not going to argue.
No, are we all
I'll
happy
go with the census. I'll go with everyone.
At 14, we've got Batman: The Dark Knight Rises, which is for me too low on the list, but I will deal with that for the sake of the
Right,
list
It's
being
general
a
consensus, isn't
general consensus list. This has to be a general.
Almost.
What's
I know I'm almost breaking the fourth wall here, but right.
We have a fourth one.
I don't like the film, don't care for the film, but from what you've said, I'd probably put that above Weird Science. I'm not gonna lie to you.
I put Captain America Civil War above both.
Well, let's look at the three then.
Okay.
Let's look at Iron Man and say Iron Man's better than those three films below it,
Yeah.
which is Weird Science. Hang on, let me give it the point across.
Okay.
Weird
sorry.
Science, The Dark Knight Rises, and Captain America: Civil War. They're the three films we're looking at. Are they all worse than Iron Man? Because I think they are. Well, I say that not having seen Weird Science.
I mean, it's a flawed argument because that should be like number 3 or something, but I'm only
Sorry, yeah,
put it
I-
there because
Sorry, I didn't really mean to make that point. Like for the Dark Knight Rises for me is in my personal top 5.
Yeah.
But for the sake of this list, it should be below Iron Man.
I think Captain America and Weird Science should swap.
I would be happy with that.
I mean, I'm not happy with it, but
Well, again, I've not seen Weird Science, so I guess my argument is completely
Well, again,
biased.
the argument was made for Weird Science. Do you really want that above the Dark Knight Rises and Captain? Well, I know you've not seen Captain America: Civil War, Jono, but would you really want Weird Science?
again, it's a flawed. I don't want it above Dark Knight Rises, but I don't want that low. You know.
But it's you and Jono who've argued the Weird Science point up. So if you are going to say Dark Knight, because you've both seen Dark Knight Rises,
Well, what about
That's in
then?
the question you're asking. Do you want that above that?
ignore
Which I don't want.
ignore Captain America: Civil War for now.
Well, what about then if there's a compromise?
Like what?
Move Weird Science below Captain America and bump the other two just up.
Move Weird Science below
Isn't that
Captain
what
America.
we're saying?
Yeah.
Well, I was saying swap Weird Science and Captain
So I
America.
did
but
that.
No, I'm happy with that.
So I've swapped the list around.
I'm
Weird
okay
Science
with
is.
that.
yeah, I'm happy with
I'm
that.
happy with that.
I'm cool. I thought you're bumping it down now. You were the one who brought it. I've been fighting for a film you brought into it. You're bumping it down.
You were bothered by the other one dropping. I'm doing you a favour here. I'm doing both of yous want a film above mine, and I'll let you have that film.
No,
above
I'll
them
give you
both.
that.
So I'm
I
moving.
can't argue against you. You brought the film into it.
All right.
I know.
Yeah,
You're passionate about the other film, so
No, that's cool.
Let's move.
I've been won over by a lot of arguments today, especially when Nick said in regards to it's fan service, Civil War. It's complete fan service, but it's a great film. But no, I'm happy with the list so far.
Yeah.
Okay, well we've got
Okay.
Weird Science coming in at number 15.
Is that okay then?
Yeah.
I'm happy with that.
Yeah, good.
Captain America: Civil War at number 14. I'm also happy with that. It's roughly where it should fall for me.
Yep.
Number 13, we have The Dark Knight Rises.
It's a
Well,
bit
for-
low.
Yeah, me and John will probably think this is probably a bit low, but
No, I do myself, but
We'll cover
like-
it.
for the sake of this list, I think
Yeah.
it's where it should be.
But like 40% of us don't like the film at all, so it's kind of fair, isn't it? It's about
Yeah.
halfway down.
Iron Man at number 12 and Guardians of the Galaxy number 11.
Yeah.
I'm also happy with that.
I'm glad
Yeah.
I watched these two films. I'm glad. I definitely deserve to be there as well.
So are you Josh, Nick, are you both happy with that?
I'm perfectly fine with that.
Yeah, seems good to me.
Alright. Well, this is our current top 10.
Okay.
here we go.
Sin City at number 10. It's reached the top 10.
I'm happy with it being in the top 10, to be fair. I'm very happy with
I'm
that.
happy with that. Are we all happy with
Yep.
Sin City?
Don't care where it is. If it's in the top 10, I'm happy.
300 at number 9.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Do you know what's funny? I thought
Yeah,
it'd be
ma-
higher, but the films above it, you can't.
I pretty much had the same reaction as Josh there, which was whatever. Like it's a good film, but
I
where I fall on it, I'm not.
I made the argument before that Sin City should be above 300, and I lost, and that's fine.
I same here.
I don't want to make it again, so
Same
that's
here.
absolutely. I'm happy.
But
Leave-
Deadpool's higher than I expected, so
Well, we'll come to that.
that's covered.
Ant-Man at number 8. I quite like where
Yeah.
that's at.
I think.
I like where it's at. I personally think it should go a bit higher, but like as a whole, we've decided on it going lower. So
I don't like
You've not-
Deadpool. Would you swap it with Deadpool?
I would definitely swap it with Deadpool.
I'll take
would
that
you?
as a
Okay.
as a win if I can get it.
I would definitely swap Ant-Man with Deadpool.
Because I want to watch Ant-Man later, and I know for a fact I'll like it more than Deadpool.
It's like I'm not going to disregard Jono's opinion there, but I'm saying like the people who've seen Ant-Man and Deadpool.
All right, I'll go
Yeah.
on then. Yeah.
Like the people who have seen both of those films.
I would
There's
definitely.
4 of us here who would see. For me, I really wouldn't care which order they were in. So it comes to a free man vote here between 3 people who've seen both of those films. Which one out of Deadpool and Ant-Man would you put higher?
Nick?
So like Nick, would you put Deadman?
I would definitely put Deadman above Ant-Pool.
Would you put Deadpool above
No,
Ant-Man?
I'd put Ant-Man above Deadpool.
Josh,
I put Deadpool above Ant-Man.
John.
What did you vote?
What? I've said that I'm not really that fussed, and I've seen both. Jono's not seen both.
Well, you know
It's
what?
between me and Nick,
Disregard,
and you've got to
yeah.
decide your vote.
I'm the lesser of two evils because I don't like Deadpool and I hate the MCU, so I think you should just be the final.
I know, but
one.
no, right. Of the 2 films, John, Ant-Man and Deadpool, which one would you put
I
higher?
don't like either of
I
them.
know, right, no, that's not the point, John. Which one would you prefer? Because, like, personally, I would put Ant-Man above Deadpool. Josh would put Deadpool above Ant-Man. Like,
I'd put Ant-Man above Deadpool, but begrudgingly.
I'd begrudgingly agree with you.
Okay.
Okay, I'm happy with that.
Sorry, Josh.
Sorry, I'll
I
just
can't
fucking
vote,
burn the house down. Whatever.
No, I wasn't saying disregarding your opinion entirely there, John. I was just saying that with me not being that particularly bothered which order those 2 fell in, it basically falls into these 3 as well to sort of discuss which one should be higher because they've seen both the films. They're very similar films, and you sound excited to watch Ant-Man, which you should be because you're a fan of Paul Rudd.
I think it's because it's a different, like a hero film as opposed to this anti. There's a difference.
Okay. So that was number 8, Deadpool, and Ant-Man at number 7.
Yep.
We all happy with that?
Yep.
Yeah.
We've got Watchmen at number 6. I'm sad that it's outside of the top 5, but I will begrudgingly accept it.
I'm sad that it's in the top 5. Well, in the top 10.
This is a film you did rate 4.5 out of 5.
You rated
I
the
told
comic,
you. No
the
top,
comic.
other than 5-star films should be in this list.
But it's not. It's not in the top 5 though. At least if the
Nope.
5's
No.
made up of 5.
John, are you giving this? Well, all right, if you had your own personal list, I'm sure your top 20 wouldn't have any less than 5 stars. But
It does
No,
Spider-Man
Watchmen would be
2
in it.
top level, isn't it?
are we like for the people who've seen Watchmen, people who've heard the arguments about Watchmen?
6
Is that
sounds-
sat where it should be?
Compared to the other
Because
films, 6 sounds fair.
it's a polarizing.
I'm
film.
happy with it being where it's at.
Yeah, it sounds fair to me.
I will deal with it, and I will.
I probably would prefer it to be higher, but
That's all right.
I'm happy with it being at 6.
I mean, what I don't like is that Superman 2's at number 5. Now I haven't seen the film.
Oh, well, it is good.
I'm not going to lie to you.
How good?
I'm not going to lie to you. As much as I'm an MCU fan, I'm thinking Superman 2 should go over Avengers.
Okay.
I definitely think it should go
It's
one
got-
higher.
How come?
Because
It's just a better film.
It's
It's
got
got the
this
villains like,
and it ages well.
and like that's what I mean. I
Watch it
watched
now.
it not long ago, and it's amazing still.
Okay.
Avengers probably will just like.
So sorry, can I just put in and basically just put the
30.
marker down that from 6 to 20, we're pretty much agreed they're where they should be
Yeah.
in our group list.
Yeah.
So we're looking at the top 5, and we're looking at Superman 2 being a number 5 at the moment, And Nick, you're trying to say it should be above the Avengers.
I'm genuinely.
Do you want to know
saying
why?
what's happened, yeah.
Because it's a 39-year-old film, and you could watch it and it'd still be relevant.
Okay, that's a good argument.
Josh, have you seen Superman 2?
Nope.
See, I've not either.
But I like the argument that's being made.
And Chris,
I like the argument, but I'm worried to put it any higher than 4th.
No, I'm happy with it being 4th. I think that's
that
where
was
it
it.
goes
It was just
with the
switching.
It sounds like they're going to switch.
I'm happy with it. Are you alright with that, John?
very
I
happy
can't
with
do
that.
that vote because
I'm happy with it moving above Avengers, definitely.
I love the Avengers film, like the
No,
first
I know.
one, but
Like
judging
I've-
on those
think
arguments,
it's
Like I've said, I'm a massive fan of the MCU, but like Superman 2
You have
definitely.
to watch Superman 2 because you've got that T-shirt on.
that's true. I'm wearing a Superman shirt as we speak.
Just in terms of, like I've mentioned comedy before, Superman 2 is hilarious. Like some of the stuff in that film, there's a bit where General Zod's using his like evil breath to like blow people down the street, and then people on rollerblades, roller skates going whoa, and a guy with an ice cream that gets blown into his face.
I would say that then we've pretty much agreed then the Avengers needs to be number 5 and Superman 2 needs to be number 4.
Yeah.
Yes.
Are we agreeing on that?
That's right.
Yeah.
We are down to our top 3 films. It's going to come down to these top 3 films.
Okay.
I am so happy with this.
Yeah, I'm happy
Our
with that.
top 3 films, I'll give them in order from 3 to 1 at the moment, but this could possibly change.
Okay.
Number 3 is X-Men Days of Future Past.
Yeah, I'm happy with that.
Number 2 is Batman The Dark Knight.
Yep.
And number 1 at the moment is Logan.
Okay.
Now I'm going to say I quite like the 3 of those films being the top 3, but I personally do not agree with the order of those.
I'm happy. I love the top 3 of those films. And again, I've not seen Logan, but from what everyone has told me, it's brilliant. I don't want this to turn into a DC versus Marvel, though. And I feel like that's where it might go in regards to The Dark Knight, right? The Dark Knight, because personally, I wouldn't even have it in the top 10.
Okay, sorry, Nick, I know you've got a point here, but it's very interesting that we've got a Marvel film, a DC film, and X-Men Days of Future Past would have been what, a Marvel Fox film.
Well, Logan,
Fox.
Marvel Fox.
Is
Yeah,
Logan
I'll go.
Marvel Fox as well?
Yeah.
Our
Shut
top,
my mouth.
our top 3 are literally 2 of Fox's films and a DC film by Christopher Nolan.
So
So
our highest Marvel Disney film would be The Avengers,
it would
Yep.
be, yeah.
and then Superman 2's from
I-
the 70s.
And I'm a big fan of the.
Sorry,
I'm
I'm
a
sorry,
big.
my right.
I'm a big fan of the Disney Marvel films, but like I've rated that down. Like, you know what I mean? Personally, I couldn't give a crap about The Dark Knight
Yeah,
and
I agree.
Days of Future Past. I couldn't give a crap about either of them films. But I like as per the discussion we've had, I'm happy with that order we've got. I think Logan should definitely stay at number 1 though.
Like Jono, can I get your opinions on whether, let's say X-Men Days of Future Past, do we all agree that should be number 3?
Yeah.
I do.
John?
Yeah.
Okay, then because we could just lock that in as number 3 now.
Yeah,
and then-
definitely.
if it was-
Definitely.
yeah, I agree. If it was up to me personally, I'd change it to number
I just
2.
don't. I don't think
But-
it's quite on the level of the other 2.
Yeah, I
So
agree.
I class it as 3rd.
Let's X-Men Days of Future Past locked in. Number 3.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah.
We've now got a discussion on our hands, which is going to be a tough discussion to have, which is Logan, which 4 of the 5 of us have seen. Josh, you've not seen it, but you've heard the arguments.
Yep.
And The Dark Knight,
Which all of us have seen.
which you've seen.
And
And
me and
we've
Nick
all-
don't like.
We've all seen, and 3 of us, am I right in saying, think it should be top of this list?
Well, Dark Knight.
Yeah.
So to me, Nick, to make
I'm
a
right
counter
down the
argument.
middle.
Are you
Yeah,
sure?
right
That's
down
the
the middle.
problem.
John's bit.
See, at the moment, it sounds very much like me and John are on the side that The Dark Knight should be the top film. Josh, Nick, you're both on the side Logan should be the top film. John, you're straight down the middle at the moment.
I'll be honest, the thing that has swayed me is Josh and Nick caught us out before. There were 4 of us raving about Logan. There were 3 of us.
No.
You know,
The point entirely was 2 of the people involved in both arguments rate one over the other.
That's
same
not
film.
the point though. Like just like all 4 of us have like really raved about Logan. That was an amazing film. Only 3 of you have actually raved about The Dark Knight.
I totally get what you're saying, and the idea that there are more people who are more positive about Logan than there are. If you weighed up the actual, if we all rated the stars, Logan would be higher if you averaged out the stars. I agree with that point, but for me, Dark Knight is like it's that much better, and it's that much as one of the best films ever that we need to be discussing it. We are discussing it as
Why?
being the number 1 or 2.
Why do you think it's the best film
I think.
ever?
Okay, I think.
can I just jump in there before
Sorry.
we do that?
John,
Just-
jump in and then.
You've got to take into account as well, you've got The Dark Knight, this massive scale crime drama, like, set across Gotham. You know, like a massive, huge scale story. Then you've got Logan, small personal story about one guy. I just think you've got to take that into account when you talk. You know what I mean? When you're comparing them.
How?
Not that one's better than the other, just that they're two very different stories.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
that's we weren't saying that.
No, that's what
It's
it's
just
to
like
highlight that.
No,
you know what
I
mean?
I totally get the argument for that, but what I'm saying that The Dark Knight is genuinely like it's one of those like perfect films. Like I really, for me,
It's bang
Josh
on,
and
like.
Nick, I know you don't particularly agree with that, but I'm looking at John and Jono here to basically say you would both rate this 5 stars, as would I.
This would be my number one
This is my number 1 on this list.
in my own list. If you were going to go that way.
Nick,
All it is for me, right? Everyone's going on about what their top film is, what their top comic book film is. Logan it's a perfect comic book film. It's a perfect representation of the comic that it was made from. It's also an amazing film. Like, it doesn't even need to be considered as a comic book film. It is an amazing film in its own right.
you say the same about Dark Knight.
I would not say that. I don't like that film. I don't think it's that good of a film. Like, apart from the fact that Heath Ledger was an amazing Joker. I don't care for Christian Bale as Batman. Like Batfleck is just fantastic in comparison.
Can I get what you're saying, Nick. I'm just going to jump in. Like, there are some scenes in Logan which are good scenes. Don't get me wrong. I love Logan. I've made that obvious. The Dark Knight has some iconic moments. So I'll mention some of the iconic moments. It's where Batman and the Joker are in the interrogation room and Batman starts beating the shit out of him. Really good. Yeah, let me listen.
Oh, I'm sorry.
There's a bit where the Joker's driving away in the police car and he's got his head out the window and there's no sound, there's no music or anything. It's just him and his head out the window. Really cool moment. A lot of these moments are involving Heath Ledger as the Joker because he was the driving force behind that entire.
It's nothing to do with him being dead either.
Can I,
No, hang on.
Jumping in
Let me-
backing up your point as
Great,
well.
go on.
One of the scenes where Batman's on his little bat pod,
Yeah.
racing towards the Joker, and you just hear like Heath Ledger's audio, like just quietly like, do it.
Yeah.
I want you to do it. I want you to do it. He's just talking to himself. Like,
Incredible.
It's
He's stood
amazing.
there going, just do it.
I want you to do it.
It's like he's looking at him and he's basically saying, like, just kill me. But there's no sense of fear in the way he's even playing that.
He literally wants Batman to kill him to prove him right. Like
He does.
that is amazing.
It's like that entire scene. Like, I've watched that film recently. That entire scene is amazing because that's the one that ends with him being arrested.
Yeah.
But then there's the other scenes where he goes and speaks to Two-Face, like Harvey Dent, after he's had his attack, and walks out of the hospital after starting loads of explosions. You see bricks flying out, and he's walking out in a nurse's uniform, which is iconic in itself.
Like,
Right?
that for me, though, it's only iconic because he wasn't even aware that was happening when he was acting that scene. That was completely...
But that's fantastic.
That's purely because of Heath Ledger's acting, though. Like, that's purely
But
because...
it's still part of the film, though.
Purely because of, like, the fact that, Heath Ledger's so amazing. That's
It's
the
still
only-
No, but like that's
it's all part of the
it.
film.
That's part of it.
It's not a negative thing.
I
it's-
still would rate Logan so much
No,
higher
no,
than
no,
that.
like, the way-
like these bits at the end where like he's been held, he's holding his like the little girl's hand.
What are you on about here?
Like in Logan, he's
Right.
he's holding the hand and stuff, and I think in the comic there's a bit where like someone tells, I think it might be in the previous film, someone tells Logan that like she's seen him dying with his heart in his hand, and then like he's literally dying with his daughter in his hand, kind of thing. It's very touching, that film. Like it brings all the emotions out.
I found it emotional, Logan.
I didn't.
That end, you didn't.
I enjoyed the points, but I was like,
That
I
ending
wasn't-
got me big time.
I'm not even trying to say it to just be like counterproductive to
No,
the points
that's
you're
cool,
making,
yeah.
but it's like I watched that and I was like, oh, I enjoyed that, but it wasn't for me. It didn't hit me.
Really?
Like, I don't care about Wolverine.
Because this might go on all night, and there's equal points. Have we not decided that they're equally?
I've got to admit, I was thinking
I
that.
can't.
You
I was
can't-
thinking Joy
Let me just
first,
make
like-
one argument, just one argument. Like, based on everything that everyone said, yeah, they're both absolutely brilliant films, but I feel like I honestly could watch an episode of Luther and see the same criminal acting.
Luther's amazing.
Like, you know, or an episode of The Bill and seeing that, well, maybe not that.
Well, you can't compare Dark Knight to the Bill.
and see the same criminal acting
I-
again.
I-
I want to ask you all: is it because he died? Is it the same reason
It's-
everyone loves
right.
I
Nirvana?
don't think it is.
It's not because he died. I love that
He's a
film.
genius
I love
actor.
that film. I love that actor, but it's not because he died. It is
Yeah,
a good
I
film
agree.
in its own right.
Maybe because, to be fair, I saw The Dark Knight during towards the end of the hype, and I was disappointed because the hype was so high. I was disappointed.
I watched it after as well. I watched it quite a bit after just to sort of.
Right. At this point, right, like we're not getting anywhere with
No,
this.
I-
We're literally not getting anywhere.
No,
I'll
like
take
the-
him as joint.
I feel,
We're not having it as joint. We're not having it.
But-
as joint.
well,
Okay.
well,
We're not having a
right.
list where we have a
thing
joint.
is-
Joe's the mediator.
The thing is, though, I don't think the Dark Knight should go above Logan. I just don't. I think Logan should be number one in this film.
At the moment, we've got two people saying Logan should be above the Dark Knight. I'm currently saying Dark Knight should be above Logan. Jono, what?
Same.
It's the same. John, it's.
I'm
not having you as-
Switzerland. I'm on the fence. Like.
This is
I
why
feel like
we've all got to be happy with the top 5. Would it not make a consensus happy if
Someone's not going to be
joint.
happy with this.
Someone's not
gonna
like,
be happy with
like,
this.
half the room is essentially going to be
Yeah.
happy with this.
I would like
Not gonna be
before
happy.
before I make the sort of final point on this, and we can like sort of finish this off. When I was talking about the bit when he walks out of the hospital and all stuff's going off behind him, and it's the bit where I won't lie, Heath Ledger drives this film. Like he is the
Yeah.
main point of this film. And so when he's like pressing the buttons and there's no explosion, he's like, what's going on? And then just everything starts blowing up. But it's the fact that it's just so well written, it's so well directed.
there's a lot.
There's a lot in that film that is just incredible. Now, Logan, I'm just going to throw this out there before we move forward. I think there's a recency bias with Logan. I think you've seen this film recently and you are feeling that like this film should be higher than it is, because I think Logan should be in the top 5, absolutely. For my personal list in top 5, but I think there's a recency bias with it.
I could counter argument there's a nostalgia bias.
I watched this the other day.
Yeah, you're lying.
I literally watched it like a couple of days ago to gear up for this discussion, because I knew I loved that
Can
film.
we try and like whittle this down anyway? I want to get to the end of this.
Who would be more happy? Someone's not going to be happy if you put one above the other. The only thing I was doing was trying to make it a lesser.
Personally,
lesser
right?
option.
I would either be okay with Logan being number 1 or joint number 1. That's as far as I'm
See,
going.
at least it's a better of two evils. Like
I don't think Logan should definitely go below.
All right, let me jump in. We're all gonna have our chance to give our number 1 film, number 2 film, blah blah blah. We're all gonna have our chance to do that on the Twitter. You can find it at the STE podcast. What I would suggest is that if we looked at this as a group, like nobody's gonna be 100% happy with this list, right? Nobody is. Logan is a standout film, right? Now, if I looked at the 5 of us here in this room, me, Nick, Josh, John, Jono, I think Logan is probably, if you combined it, I'm not happy with it, but I would accept it as the first place.
I'm perfectly fine with that. I'm happy with Logan being number 1.
I was just swaying the other way then.
Fuck.
No. If you want to do that, I'm cool with that.
I don't, well, no, John, if you're going to sway the other way, like,
No.
I'll fight for that.
I can't be having this discussion going on for ages.
Oh no, because I was just going to say, look, because you're going to give placings in your own list, aren't you? And mine would be Dark Knight 1
You
and 2.
said it before,
So if
so
you was to
you
add
said
the
it before,
numbers
so I
up,
was gonna
the
cut in,
lesser
so
number,
I've-
so
I've-
Logan would win.
I said it before,
Okay.
that if you average those two films,
If you average the numbers out, that Logan would
the
win.
Logan is the higher number.
Are we saying Logan is number 1?
Yeah.
We are
Yeah.
saying Logan is
Yeah.
Because
Logan's number
if
1.
you're based on the numbers, I was going to vote them as 1 and 2, the other way around. But as a general number, you vote the Dark Knight really low, so the numbers actually work out better in Logan's favour. That makes sense.
No, I'm cool with Logan. I was going to make a point the other way then, but you beat me to it.
To be honest, I'd
So
make this
I'm
point the other
leaving
day,
it on
Logan,
that. So
I reckon leave it on that. We like if you averaged our ratings, Logan will be the
That's-
higher
yeah.
film, because Logan is a great film. Dark Knight is a polarizing film in this room, which I find strange, but I'm not going to argue with it.
Yeah.
Like people have different opinions of it. If you looked at the 5 of us and said, if you put it together, what would our collective favourite film of this list be, or favourite comic book film ever? I choke a bit when I say that, because it should be The Dark Knight, but I'm going to accept that it's Logan for the sake of this.
Because I'm accepting a
podcast
win
list.
from Superman being in the top 5 for me. Superman 2.
Yeah, see,
Because I
yeah.
never expected it before, because I didn't think people would appreciate
Let me do a final rundown of the
So we're
list.
saying, are we doing our top 5 here?
Well, no, we're not going to do them personally.
No, I mean, are you going to do the rundown of the top 5?
We're going to do the rundown of the top 20, Nick.
Oh, okay.
Like
Number
top of the
20. Number 20. Batman Begins. Number 19. The Amazing Superman. Number 8.
Superman.
box.
I've done it! That's the third time in like 2 episodes I've done that. So number 19, The Amazing Spider-Man. This is the Spider guy. You know which one it is. Love the king. Superman at number 18. The 1978 version. At number 17, it's Batman from 1989. Number 16, Spider-Man 2, Tobey Maguire. At number 15, it's Weird Science. At number 14, Captain America, Civil War. At number 13, it's Batman The Dark Knight Rises. At number 12, it's Iron Man. At number 11, Guardians of the Galaxy. We got the top 10 coming up here now. At number 10, Sin City. Number 9, 300. At number 8, Deadpool. At number 7, Ant-Man. With Watchmen at number 6. So our top 5 comic book films, as chosen by Don't Spoil the Ending, by committee. Just put The Avengers at number 5. Superman 2 at number 4. X-Men Days of Future Past at number 3. Batman The Dark Knight at number 2. With Logan as our top-rated film, comic book film ever.
Yay!
So well done, guys. We've got through that. We've not all fell out.
I did hear the lump in your throat when you had
I mean,
to say what
I can accept it. I can accept that.
I mean, I do hate you all.
I could not have accepted the likes of X-Men Days of Future Past or Superman 2 being above The Dark Knight. I can accept Logan being above that.
Really, see, I think that's better. I think that's a better film
Right.
than Logan.
We have this.
We've
finish
all
off
had
there.
to compromise.
We've done
Yeah.
this now.
We're all happy with that.
We will post our top 5s
On the
individually.
Jono, would you like to give the social media away and we'll finish this show off?
If you want to contact us on Twitter, it's at DST Podcast. And if you want to contact us on Instagram, if you want to comment on any of our pictures, it's at DST Podcast for the number 4. And then obviously personal ones.
Yeah, YEHITSJOE. Yeah, it's Joe. That's my Twitter handle.
Mine's DST Nick. That's at DST Nick.
And at Taylor1980.
And finally, mine's at Jono88Jono. So any messages, anything, you want to follow us, you want to like some of our pictures, listen to our podcast, do whatever. Even tell us what your favourite films are. Just let us know.
Cool. Josh, have you got on Twitter or not?
No, I haven't actually, but thanks for having me on, guys.
Okay.
It's been fun.
Been fun. I think we've all enjoyed this chat.
It's been very fun, yeah.
Yeah, I come on once every
Concept
month
now.
and it's always a laugh.
Yeah, I think nobody's 100% happy, but I think we can all agree with the list.
I'll go
that we
with
put.
90%.
I'm happy with
Yeah,
what
I'm
we've
okay with
That's enough for me.
Yeah, I'm happy with that. Woo! Well, let's call an end to it, guys. Thanks for listening, and we'll see. Well, we'll speak. Well, you won't speak to us.
You'll
speak
hear
to-
us next time.
You'll hear us next week.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Cheers.
See you,
Cheers.
bye.
Bye.
I'm impotent when it comes to Spider-Man 2.